Chapter 451. Levi unleashed an unparalleled power capable of breaking all techniques. The protective force field surrounding the red flame which flared. Light rippled across the surface as she stubbornly resisted. The power of the golden revolving slash transferred from the 9 golden swords to her barrier. It distorted, twisting under the weight of the revolving force. The stable structure of the field shattered. Levi bellowed the command for the slash to descend. The field crumbled, but the moment it broke, the red flame which sneered. She dissolved into a ball of flames and vanished. She had evacuated her position in a heartbeat. In her place stood the fire elemental spirit. It was the spell she had mastered, flame transfer. It switched positions with the witch within a short distance, taking the fatal blow in her stead. Levi's attack slammed into the spirit. Azura flame soared into the sky. The 9 swords spun, shattering the elemental form. Fiery stardust gathered around the witch. The weak figure of the fire elemental spirit appeared, its face twisted in deep fear. The 9 swords Asura consisted of black gas, and its attacks dealt damage to elemental forms. The 9 swords had already crippled the spirit. A few more strikes would finish it. Levi stood tall upon the island, his expression unchanged as he sighed. He muttered that he had expected as much from a second circle wizard. The witch sneered, her voice cold. What an interesting little fellow. You can actually force me into such a state. I still have something to do, so I will not play with you today. She turned into a beam of light, preparing to flee. Levi laughed, his voice ringing across the island. If you cannot win, just say that you do not want to play with me anymore. Horman, go. Levi surged across the island, his heavy footsteps shaking the earth. Horman lunged, using his massive head to lift Levi into the air. Levi stood tall on the snake's head, his scales sealed tight. Inside the serpent's mouth, terrifying energy brewed, and ice blue light flickered. It was Horman's most powerful ability. Frost breath. Energy erupted. Layers of thick black gold scales protected Levi. The force of the breath launched him like a cannonball. He had reached the peak of strength in his giant form, capable of shattering the defenses of a second circle wizard, but his speed had lessened. He used the black gold scales to withstand the breath, and closed the distance between himself and the witch. The witch shrieked that he was a lunatic. She scrambled away in a panic. What kind of madman was this? He used the breath of a second circle transcendent creature as propulsion. This was suicidal. An ice giant materialized behind the witch. Flames burned fiercely beneath the layer of ice. Scales rubbed against one another, creating the sound of metal colliding. The ice layer shattered. A blood-red tentacle shot out, but the witch's protective force field intercepted it. The mouth bit into the force field and wrapped around her like a long whip, binding her tight. Scorching flames seared the vampire touch, but Levi held on. He discarded the Poseidon trident and grabbed the appendage with his bare hands, dragging the resisting witch and her force field toward him. Veins bulged on his face, and his scales protruded like a black gold-horned dragon. The 9 swords Asura behind him held the witch in his arms with 9 long swords. Levi grunted. You are not a wizard. What kind of monster are you? The red flame which stared at the scaled monster hugging her. Golden scorpions swarmed over her force field, biting frantically. Rings of flame burned around her. High temperatures swept the air. Golden scorpions fell to the ground, charred and dead, yet more rushed forward to bite. Levi exerted all his strength, pulling the woman in the force field against his chest. He protected himself with black gold scales, and allowed the fire elemental spirit to bombard him with spells. He smiled, a cruel and jagged expression. The power of the golden revolving slash gathered on his undying fire claw. In his arms, the witch's force field began to distort, on the verge of being torn apart. The witch struggled, chanting spells in front of Levi. The 5 fireballs technique brewed within her grip. Levi chuckled. Come on, blow it up. The witch shrieked. Lunatic. Pervert. Monster. You are not human. Her 5 fireballs exploded in her arms. She was a spellcaster, so the blast caused her minimal damage. Terrifying flames soared into the sky. Horman watched the midair explosion, stunned. This was Levi. A true monster. He felt like a little brother. The fire illuminated the sea, turning night into day. After the blast, the witch looked at the charred black gold giant. The scales on his body had shattered, and his flesh was mutilated. Burnt marks covered him. Green spell runes flashed rapidly across the wounds. As flakes of blood ember fell around Levi, the burnt areas sloughed off instantly. New flesh sprouted across the wounds like thousands of earthworms crawling from the soil. The witch watched with her own eyes as the monster recovered to its original state. The hideous head, protected by thick scales, remained untouched. Levi opened his eyes and looked at the witch in his arms. Her protective force field had shattered. Her soft body was pressed against his thick, hard chest. Her breathing turned rapid, and the veins on her face bulged. She suffocated under the weight of his embrace. She looked at him in disbelief, eyes filled with fear. She had transformed from a high and mighty witch into a pitiful, weak woman. She gave up struggling and panted, her body drenched in sweat. Her robe had torn during the battle. Her tight inner shirt revealed her figure. Levi muttered that she had a beautiful body. He remarked that he did not think he had hugged a woman since he came to this other world. The red flame witch formulated a plan. She would use a honey trap. She had taken Clore down with a honey trap and her skills before. She would use it again. But before she could speak, Levi sighed and exerted force in his arms. The red flame witch's body shattered against his broad chest with the sound of cracking bone. Her skeleton exploded, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. Finally, the corpse of the second circle witch fell to the ground, and her head rolled to the side. Levi stared at the remains. He stated that she had stolen his house, and that she deserved to die. Chapter 452. On Blackfire Island, Horman gaped, his snake jaw hanging low in shock. Levi crashed to the earth. A low rumble echoed as dust billowed around him. His body began to deflate. The familiar, gnawing hunger overwhelmed him. Levi emptied a storage bag of food directly into his mouth. Only after finishing the entire supply did he sit up in satisfaction. He remained weak after using the red lotus blood. Saint scorpions swarmed forward, feasting on the soul and flesh of the witch. It was the remains of a second circle wizard. Levi sensed that these little creatures would soon undergo another transformation. If the seal of hell could turn a second circle existence into a living dead, Levi would have left the woman's corpse intact. He felt no pleasure in this cruelty. Levi patted Horman's head. Stay here for a few days. I need your protection. He needed the serpent to guard him during his recovery. Horman nodded, exhaling a gust of cold air that froze a massive slab of ice. The serpent coiled atop it. As a frost-type transcendent creature, Horman loathed the sweltering heat of Blackfire Island. With Horman on guard, Levi felt at ease. He turned his attention to the fire elemental spirit drifting nearby. It floated erratically, much like an evil spirit with a shattered body. The creature drifted in a weakened state, its worldview in ruins. The monster before it had completely ignored the fire spells that were its greatest pride. Levi spoke calmly. Why are you not running? Do you wish to fight? The level 1 fire elemental spirit possessed the intelligence of a human child. As the witch's former pet, it surely understood his words. Yet, the creature remained rooted to the spot, paralyzed. It lacked the courage to flee and the strength to fight. It longed to run, but the red flame which held its spirit-binding ring. This special wizard tool forced transcendent creatures into servitude. Levi watched the creature, sensing its hesitation. He directed Horman to keep watch while he approached the spot where the witch had perished. From the pile of gore, he retrieved a silver bracelet. Levi turned the object over. It is this. He had assumed the woman controlled the elemental spirit through a spiritualism spell like nature's secret language. He never expected to find a spirit-binding ring. Had Levi not studied the school of spiritualism to master nature's secret language, he would have remained ignorant of this unorthodox wizard tool. This tool possessed only one function. After defeating a target, the user could forcefully contract any transcendent creature that did not exceed their own realm of power. A spirit-binding ring could only bind a single creature. Even the lowest grade version cost 7 to 8,000 ether stones, 10 times the price of a conventional first circle wizard tool. It cost as much as a second circle wizard tool. Such items rarely appeared for sale in the realm of Azure Cloud. You could not buy one even if you had the stones. The materials required for the tool were exceptionally precious, driving the cost sky high. Typically, only elders within the wizard families of the school of spiritualism prepared these rings for their most promising juniors. Possession of the ring provided a first circle transcendent helper out of thin air. Levi wondered where the woman had acquired such treasures. He knew nothing of the red flame which other than her status as Doug's accomplice and Clore's subordinate. She was clearly a fugitive dark wizard. He remained unaware that she had been Core's mistress, and that her master had provided many of these fine items. Levi stored the spirit-binding ring, erased the spiritual mark of the red flame witch, and replaced it with his own. He turned to the ignorant, frightened fire elemental spirit. You may live if you acknowledge me as your master. Otherwise, I will kill you. The fire elemental spirit nodded frantically. Levi nodded in satisfaction. He forced a kind smile. I do not know if you have a name, but I will give you a good one. You shall be Ace. Ace nodded eagerly, like a chick pecking at rice. Levi was his master now. Very good. The Transcendent Creature Garden on Blackfire Island has gained another general. Our members now include the Poison Firebone Snake, Igor, from Hell, and the Dragon King Whale, Leviathan, from the Endless Sea. We come from across the world. It is fate that has brought us together. From this day forward, Leviathan is your big brother. Igor, you are the second brother. Ace, you are the third brother. You must get along and cause no trouble for me. As Levi acquired more pets, he needed to establish a hierarchy. While Leviathan lacked Ace's raw power, the whale had contributed significantly to Levi's success. Naturally, he earned the rank of big brother. Leviathan seemed pleased by the announcement, reflecting on the blood he had shed and the service he had rendered to his master. The fire bead in Igor's eye socket spun. The bone snake from Hell considered how to please Levi further. He was an extremely smart and cunning creature. Chapter 453. The arrival of Ace stirred a deep sense of crisis within the bone snake. It sensed that its position, second only to Leviathan, faced a grave threat. While it remained the second brother, Ace proved far more talented and powerful. The snake had only claimed the title of second brother by arriving first. Levi ignored the creature's internal turmoil. He sent Ace into the underground magma to recover. Since the fire elemental spirit existed as a purely elemental creature, it suffered no permanent injury. Access to rich fire energy would speed its recovery. Blackfire Island offered the perfect environment for such growth. Perhaps the creature might even advance to a level 2 fire elemental spirit, gaining the combat power of a mid-level wizard. That progression required time, though. If Levi remained trapped at the first circle, the spirit might outlive him before reaching its full potential. Levi sighed, wishing he possessed the blueprint and materials to craft more spirit-binding rings. Such tools would prove invaluable when subduing future transcendent creatures. He checked the condition of the island, ensuring the medicinal fields and the nursery remained undisturbed. The witch had clearly intended to claim the island for herself, leaving his hard work untouched. He avoided a significant loss. He gathered the remnants of the battle, secured the witch's storage bag, and erased the signs of their conflict. With Horman and Ace standing guard, he finally slept for a full day and night. The grueling fight against a second circle wizard, even one in an unstable state, had drained him. He knew he only dared to push forward because Horman stood by his side. The black gold scale proved formidable, withstanding the 5 fireball technique. The combined power of those 5 fireballs exceeded the standard big fireball technique. It was a genuine second ring spell attack. Still, the explosion breached his defenses. A layer of scales shattered, forcing his rock body to the surface. Levi suffered no injury to his vital organs, only burning on the surface of his skin. To any other wizard, such wounds would be fatal. To Levi, they were merely superficial. The blood ember fueled his regeneration, healing the wounds almost instantly. The 5 fireball techniques had failed to claim his life. This realization dealt a crushing psychological blow to the Red Flame Witch. She could not comprehend how any creature withstood the core of such an explosion. Creatures not known for their defense usually faced death or severe injury from such a spell. In the end, this second circle wizard and lover of Chlor died while attempting to flee. Levi reminded himself to remain humble. Fighting a second circle wizard still strained his limits. In 2 years, when the Golden Snake reached level 12, he would possess the strength to challenge ordinary second circle wizards without relying on Horman. He turned his attention to the storage bag he had looted. His face darkened as he examined the contents. Only 3,000 ether stones. He questioned if she truly held the status of a second circle wizard. He grumbled, annoyed by the meager haul. She lacked even a single second circle wizard tool. He had exerted so much effort for such a poor return. The witch lacked any sense of fiscal responsibility. The only items of value appeared to be the spirit binding ring and the level 1 fire elemental spirit. Over the years, the Red Flame Witch had exhausted her supplies to heal her injuries and evade her enemies. Even her second circle wizard tool had been destroyed in a battle with the enforcers, detonated as a last-ditch effort to escape. Though she bore the title of a second circle wizard, she possessed less wealth than many first circle peers. Her glory as Chlor's mistress had vanished, and she died by Levi's hand. A beautiful woman's life, ultimately, amounted to very little. He put aside the disappointment. 1 fire elemental spirit served his needs well. Beyond combat, the creature acted as a mobile furnace, providing a constant spiritual flame. Weapon craftsmen, pharmacists, and alchemy wizards all sought such companions. The spirit could also serve as a power source for powerful alchemical creatures, saving him a fortune in ether stones. Levi's gloom lifted. Upon his return from the Yellow Earth continent, he would refine the first circle alchemical creature, the Corpse Digger. Chapter 454. The Corpse Digger would serve as Levi's ultimate weapon against second circle wizards before he officially advanced himself. If he worked alongside Levi, these 2 giant monsters would stand strong against second circle opposition. The Corpse Digger's strength came at a cost, requiring high manufacturing and fuel expenses. Fighting at full capacity burned through dozens of tons of energy, far exceeding the modest needs of a lightweight alchemical creature like the swordsman Mantis. It might devour hundreds of ether stones in a single battle, burning through his fortune. Yet, Ace changed the equation. Levi planned to have Ace saturate the underground magma beneath Black Fire Island with fire elemental power in advance. Then, Ace would serve as a mobile power source. During combat, the spirit would merge into the activation furnace of the undead digger, replacing the need for expensive ether stones. The stones Levi saved over the long run would amount to a massive fortune. Levi finished his rest and refused to waste another moment. He ordered Horman to return to the Grey Tower alone. With the Tower Master preparing to descend into hell, the Grey Tower needed Horman's protection to ensure no opportunistic enemies took advantage of the situation. Levi left only the Rock Troll couple and the Bone Snake Igor to safeguard his home. He gathered Ace and the 5 generals of his living dead family for the journey. This expedition to the Yellow Earth continent in Area 7 differed from his past travels. This region possessed more power than Area 8 and Area 9 combined, promising the arrival of formidable enemies. He packed his entourage of living dead, keeping his survival at the forefront of his mind. A house could be replaced, but a life once lost stayed lost. Once he finished his preparations, Levi climbed aboard Leviathan and set off. The primary objective of this trip to the Yellow Earth continent involved subduing as many transcendent creatures as possible to provide secret medicine. Upon his return, Levi intended to cultivate his night-breathing technique in peace, striving to hit level 12 as soon as possible. As he drifted past the location of the sea dragon crocodile, Levi cast his perception outward from a distance. The creature remained exactly where he had left it, bringing a wave of relief. He steered clear, taking a wide detour to ensure he slipped away without alarm. Area 9 and Area 7 lay separated by the entirety of Area 8. Levi traveled day and night, leaning on his advanced vibrosensing, spider sensing, and the Black Snake's message to navigate around potential dangers. Less than 1 month later, he crossed Area 8 and entered Area 9. The Yellow Earth continent sat at the border between Area 9 in the outer region and Area 6 in the inner sea. His plan centered on reaching Lion King City first, locating Dinos, and visiting the city of the Jostar family. Above all else, Levi needed Dinos to leverage his family's influence to track down the Colin family. He held on to the Tower Master's mission tightly. The secret realm would open in 2 months, and he had to locate the Colin family before he could gain entry. The secret realm resembled the Shadow Realm, acting as a subdimensional portal plane for this world. Secret realms earned their reputation by remaining fixed in location, having been modified by wizards to serve as their private backyards. Wizards regularly mined resources there for cultivation. Conflicts inevitably arose over these sites, and history proved that a large portion of wizard wars started over the ownership of these realms. As far as Levi knew, intermediate wizards and high-level organizations in the inner circle usually controlled multiple entrances. He had not expected the declining Colin family to secretly control one of their own. If the family lacked true power, he intended to find a way to seize it. Owning a secret realm, even a small one, offered a logistical reserve base that would eliminate his resource worries. The Tower Master possessed too much kindness, refusing to harm his wife's kin, but Levi felt no such hesitation. He cared nothing for the identity of his targets. The Tower Master's instructions, to threaten or bribe them, served as an open invitation to do whatever necessary to achieve his goal. In the month of flowers, in the Holy Brilliance calendar year 1034, Levi finally caught sight of the yellow Earth continent. The border of the continent loomed in the distance. Leviathan waited nearby, so Levi continued to the mainland alone. Stepping onto the land, a heavy, oppressive aura washed over him, saturated with the power of the Earth element. Meditation arts and spells of the Earth faction would surely yield double the results with half the effort here. Since Dinos had provided a map, Levi inquired with local mortals to get his bearings before heading toward Lion King City. He unfurled his blood wings, allowing him to fly with the grace of a bird. His speed proved extraordinary. Despite the name, the yellow Earth continent stood as nothing more than a slightly larger island, and the distance from here to Area 7 felt insignificant compared to his long trek from Area 9. Whenever fatigue took hold, he sought a safe haven where Ace and the others could stand guard. He seized these moments to cultivate his Earth meditation art. His persistence paid off. The Earth meditation art sat one step away from level 5, and he achieved a breakthrough the following day. Levi checked his progress. The Earth meditation art had reached level 5, with 1 point of progress out of 30,000. Now only the Deep Sea, Night Crow, and the Furnace meditation art remained at level 4. Levi felt no rush. As long as he ensured at least one meditation art progressed rapidly, increasing his wizard realm first would pose no problems, allowing him to cultivate the others at his leisure. 3 days passed. Levi spotted the port city on the distant coastline, the Lion King City, lying dormant like a crouching beast. Few would ever guess that such a massive city began its life as an insignificant legendary knight in the wizard world. Chapter 455. The yellow Earth continent stretched out before him, home to Lion King City. The city stood as a sprawling giant, locked in a permanent embrace with the sea. Wizard organizations exerted control over Lion King City and its scale dwarfed Hotwind City. A tall, mighty golden lion statue guarded the perimeter. Occasional tourists paused to watch the landmark. Levi approached, his gaze sweeping over the urban sprawl. His top-tier vibrosencing barely brushed the edges of the massive city. The scent of mortals hung in the air, stirring memories Levi thought buried. The mortal Icewind City, the snow capital city, the holy city, Lantis. All of them bore his footprints. Levi reached the city gate, nodding to the guard on duty. He kept his voice steady. He sought Dinos Jostar. The guard stood as a first circle wizard. The Jostar family maintained their reputation as one of the 3 grand wizard families of the Yellow Earth continent. Even city gate duty required status, and the Jostar family possessed the capital to demand it. The guard offered a professional smile, his posture rigid. The spiritual power fluctuation of a senior first circle wizard registered on the guard's senses. Nearly 70 to 80 first circle wizards resided within Lion King City, so the guard felt no shock at Levi's arrival. Still, he could not show negligence. It would affect the image of the city. "May I know your name?" the guard asked with a bright smile. "Levi Schneider," Levi answered. He wondered if his name carried any weight here. The guard's expression shifted, widening into a grin. "So it is Sir Levi. You finally arrived. Wait a moment, I must inform young Master Dinos." The guard drew a voice transmission conch from his belt. His thumb pressed against the shell as he spoke with urgency. "Quick, call the young master. Sir Levi is here. Prepare for the ceremony." Levi blinked, his brow furrowing. He glanced at the guard. "A ceremony? Do we need that? I can walk in myself." The guard chuckled, shaking his head. "That will not do. The young master insisted we welcome you with the etiquette reserved for second circle wizards." Levi stood frozen, trapped in silence. He wanted to decline, but the sudden crackle of fireworks broke his concentration. High above, explosives erupted, bleeding gold into the sky. The light pulled together, forming a golden lion phantom standing 1,000 feet tall. The creature stretched out a massive, furry claw, gesturing for Levi to enter the gates. Teams of honor guards astride great horned horses clattered forward. They wore mortal aristocratic attire, complete with tall top hats, while a brass band played a lively tune. Levi felt a cold sweat prickle his neck. He never expected the Golden Lion Jostar family to possess such wealth, or such specific creativity. He told himself it was not vulgar, just memorable. A handsome golden-haired nobleman spurred his golden horse forward. Dinos Jostar dismounted with practiced elegance, flanked by his guards. "Sir Levi, you are finally here." Dinos gripped Levi's hand with both palms, his grin wide. Levi glanced at the throng of onlookers, his social anxiety flaring. "Young Master Dinos, this is too grand. You did not have to do this. Dinos clasped his hands behind his back, his expression turning solemn. The Jostar family always pays their debts. I promised that if you came to Lion King City, we would welcome you. A Jostar never breaks his word. Let us move, he continued, gesturing toward the gates. Please follow me back to the Golden Lion Castle. My father waits to see you. Levi sighed, smiling faintly. In that case, I must trouble you. He followed Dinos, feeling completely unaccustomed to the grand display. They arrived at the Golden Lion Castle. The name suggested a fortress of stone, but it stood as a wizard tower. 3 towers rose from the castle grounds. The central structure stretched 1,000 feet into the clouds. The architecture blended wizardry with the decoration styles of mortal noble knights. The Jostar family clearly intended to preserve those noble temperaments. The influence of their first family head, the legendary knight Rhine, remained etched in the stone. Servants dressed in gorgeous attire lined the corridor, bowing in unison. A steward stepped forward, keeping his head low. Young master, the old master has prepared a banquet in the main hall. Levi walked through the halls, his mind drifting. For a moment, he felt he had returned to the mansion of a secular noble. His perception brushed against the halls. He sensed several auras, at least at the second circle level. Intelligence reports suggested the Jostar family possessed 2 third circle wizards and 5 second circle wizards. More than 30 first circle wizards served them. Many organizations hid their true strength, so Levi could not be sure of the total head count. Regardless, they crushed the Grey Tower, which also operated as an organization of third circle wizards. 1 third circle wizard did not equal another. The disparity between organizations with such power levels was obvious. Levi reminded himself to keep a low profile. He wanted no trouble. Yet, he refused to live in fear. His strength approached the second circle level, marking him as an expert in the Yellow Earth continent. The banquet hall felt like a town square. Opposite the massive long table sat a golden-robed aristocrat. He possessed golden hair and a resolute face. Even in his elder years, the man's features suggested a strikingly handsome youth. He stared at Levi, who sat opposite him. Dinos and his siblings sat beside the patriarch. Chapter 456. I have long heard from my son that you are a legendary knight. Now that I have seen you, your aura is extraordinary, much like the portrait of your ancestor the Lionheart Knight, Golden Lion Leon Jostar said with a smile. Senior, you must be joking. Even if a junior like me enters the legendary realm, I cannot be compared to the Lionheart Knight, Levi said, bowing his head in humility. Leon laughed. Indeed, my ancestor stands as a top-notch existence among legendary knights, but you need not be so humble. You are not old, and you remain a first circle wizard. Your future achievements will definitely not be low. Within the Jostar family, no matter how many great wizards emerged in the younger generation, they could not compare to the contribution of the Lionheart Knight to the family. Pride radiated from them, for they viewed the Lionheart Knight as their heroic ancestor, a being comparable to a god, and a foundation of their faith. During the dinner, Leon and Levi talked about many things, mostly centering on knights. Although Leon was already a powerful third circle wizard, he still longed to become a legendary knight. He sought the secret to the legendary realm from Levi. Levi shared what he knew, which benefited them greatly. He also hoped that Leon and his son could become legendary knights, so they could join his Twilight Knights. With a powerful family head of a third circle wizard family, the Twilight Knights would have a good backing and starting point in the wizard world, making their future development much smoother. After they had eaten and drank to their heart's content, Leon spoke directly. Sir Levi, I wonder if you are willing to join our Jostar family as an external guardian. You can enjoy a salary of 300 ether stones every year. This is just an empty position. You do not have to do anything. Levi shifted, embarrassed. Senior, I really cannot afford this. Moreover, I am a member of the Grey Tower, so I am not suited to accept other positions outside. There was no free lunch in the sky. The Jostar family was powerful, and Levi was willing to build a good relationship with them. But a guardian position was different. After receiving the money, even if the Jostar family did not let Levi do anything on the surface, he could not be at ease. This was the logic of eating someone else's food. Moreover, 300 ether stones a year was a lot for other first circle wizards. Most first circle wizards could not earn that much in a year. Levi was different. He had his own business and could hunt dark wizards from time to time to earn extra money. Therefore, he would not tie himself to the Jostar family for this amount of ether stones. Leon seemed to have expected this. He smiled helplessly. Then I wonder if you want to take in a disciple. I want Dinos to be your disciple. Dinos is a very talented knight. He is already a top grand knight, and is not far from becoming a legendary knight. If he follows you, he might be able to break through to a legendary knight as soon as possible. Father, I do not need to trouble Sir Levi. It is not like I cannot become a legendary knight myself, Dinos said, his voice hurried. He possessed his own pride. Do not force yourself. Without the guidance of a master, you can only explore blindly. When will you become a legendary knight? Give me a number, Leon said, his tone cold and unquestionable. Dinos fell silent. He looked at Levi for help. Levi coughed. If Dinos is willing, I can give him some pointers. There is no need for a formal teacher. I am just crossing the river by feeling my way. I am afraid that I will lead Dinos astray. Leon nodded. That is fine. Our family can pay for the guidance. It just so happens that Dinos needs to go to Area 9 often. When he goes, he can go to you. I will have to trouble you to guide him. You are too kind, Senior, Levi said. If it was just a simple collaboration, Levi was willing. He could earn some extra money and build a good relationship with the Jostar family. It would be much more convenient for him to cultivate in the future, especially if he could buy resources directly from the Jostar family without middlemen to earn the difference. After finalizing the terms, the banquet ended. After leaving, Levi stopped Dinos. Dinos, I have something here. I found it in the human world. I was in a hurry the last time we met, so I did not take it. This time, I came to the Yellow Earth continent and brought it with me, Levi said, producing a hammer. This is our ancestors' weapon, Dinos said, his voice laced with shock. That is right. I obtained this from a duke of a kingdom in the human world. It helped me overcome many difficulties. It is time to return it to its rightful owner. Thank you, Sir Levi. I will accept it. I will explain it to my father later, and get someone to send you a thank you gift. This object is indeed important to our family. It was through the maker of this hammer that our ancestors accidentally opened the door to the wizard world, and the Jostar family of the wizard world, Dinos said, his eyes bright with excitement. Chapter 457. Levi waved a hand, dismissing the gratitude, and leaned in. There is no need to thank me. I do have some things that I need to trouble your family with. Dinos gestured for him to continue, his expression attentive. Please go ahead. Levi paused, collecting his thoughts before continuing. I might need to trouble you with a lot of things. If you need me to pay extra, you can tell me. I do not like to trouble others. Dinos laughed, waving off the suggestion with a casual flick of his wrist. Do not worry. As long as it is within the power of the Jostar family, how can we ask for your money? My life is still worth some money. Levi kept his voice low and serious. I need the Jostar family to help me find clues about the Colin family. This family was a second circle wizard family 200 years ago. Now, it has declined. Now that 200 years have passed, I do not know where it is in the Yellow Earth continent. Dinos nodded, committing the name to memory. Colin family, right? I understand. Is there anything else? Levi retrieved a prepared list and slid it across the table. In addition, I need to collect some potion materials to refine potions. I might need these transcendent creatures. I want to trouble you to help me take a look. Are these transcendent creatures distributed on the Yellow Earth continent? Dinos scanned the paper before tucking it away. All right, leave these to me. Give me a week. I will give you an answer. During this period of time, you can stroll around Lion King City. Many of the businesses in Lion King City belong to our family. If you need to buy materials, tell them my name, and get them to give you a discount. It is getting late. Rest early. Levi nodded in agreement. He bade farewell to Dinos and stepped out of the Golden Lion Castle. Though the family extended a warm invitation for him to stay, Levi preferred his own space, choosing instead to secure a room at a small hotel within the city. Levi spent his subsequent days wandering through Lion King City. He was pleasantly surprised to discover numerous knights from various clans living within the city, an observation that sparked a sudden thrill. He realized he might be able to acquire many different night breathing techniques during his stay. He pushed thoughts of the Golden Lion family's ancestral breathing technique aside. That was a treasure to contemplate slowly in the future, letting nature take its course. The market in Lion King City was immense. Levi spent 5,000 ether stones within 3 days of his arrival. A significant portion of that went toward acquiring rare mithril and luminant gold, procured with the help of Dino's influence. He intended to use this opportunity to prepare for the refinement of the corpse digger. He had to gather all the necessary materials now so that he could begin the process once he returned to Blackfire Island. Levi spent every free moment cultivating the earth meditation art, refusing to let a single second of potential growth go to waste. 7 days passed in a blur. Throughout that week, Levi worked through various intermediaries to hunt for new breathing techniques. Beyond those focused on strength or speed, Levi unexpectedly secured a new perception-type breathing technique. Its quality surpassed anything he had encountered before, capable of reaching a maximum of level 7. It was the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique, a third-rate excellent perception breathing technique. Unlike the hearing and vibration-based perception of the night owl and man-faced spider breathing techniques, the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique focused on extraordinary vision. Legend spoke of the Heavenly Eagle as a powerful god bird with a gaze so sharp it could pierce the 9 heavens and reach into the netherworld. It was true clairvoyance. With both the night owl breathing technique and the Heavenly Eagle's vision at his disposal, his capabilities felt complete. His perception dimension deepened, pulling together sight, hearing, vibration, and other sensory aspects into a more refined whole. The Heavenly Eagle breathing technique required no transcendent-level secret medicines, relying instead on simple eagle eyes. Finding an ordinary bird was easy. He knew it would be troublesome to find a transcendent eagle once he broke through to the legendary realm, but since that breakthrough remained a distant prospect, he felt no immediate urgency. Given his current mastery, cultivating this secondary breathing technique came easily. He prepared the secret medicine and mastered the technique after a single practice session. 3 days later, the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique advanced to level 2. At this pace, Levi calculated that he would reach level 7, the maximum, before he departed the Yellow Earth continent. Once he did, he planned to fuse the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique with the human-faced owl breathing technique to witness what new ability might emerge. His Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique also advanced to level 5 during this period of cultivation. He estimated the legendary endurance trait would manifest within 2 years. He intended to integrate the Hunchback Dragon breathing technique with other endurance-based styles to push the Silver Mountain Dragon technique toward the legendary threshold and eventually level 12. Beyond his work with breathing techniques, Levi gathered most of the materials needed to refine the corpse diggers, while in Lion King City. These supplies alone cost him 7,000 ether stones. It was an exorbitant sum, a testament to how quickly the school of alchemy could burn through wealth. Yet, considering the corpse digger possessed enough power to challenge a second circle wizard, Levi felt the investment was justified. That night, Levi returned to the Jostar family estate. Dinos met him with an expression of slight embarrassment. "Sir, I am sorry. I did not find everything on the list you gave me, but I have found clues about the Colin family." Levi had asked for several rare items, including a creature with the undying bird bloodline. Dinos had checked with his family, but they had turned up no useful leads. "It is all right, as many as you have. These things are rare to begin with. I have long been mentally prepared. You can give me the current clues first." Levi heaved a sigh of relief. He had feared there would be no information at all. Chapter 458. Dinos and Levi sat opposite each other in the room. The Colin family was once a second circle family. After our investigation, they are now living in seclusion in the Rogue Rift region in the west of the Yellow Earth continent. That place is very close to the Alhid family. Because our Jostar family does not have a good relationship with the Alhid family, we cannot investigate in detail. Dinos explained the situation, leaning back in his chair. "Thank you. It is good that you know where it is." "The Rogue Rift, right?" Levi asked. "That is right. Strong winds of unknown origin are blowing in the Rogue Rift all year round. If you go there, it is best to prepare a wizard tool to avoid the wind. Although the wind cannot compare to the great hurricane in the endless sea, it does not feel good to be blown on your body. However, with your legendary night body, it should not be a problem." Dinos paused for a moment before continuing. "In the Rogue Rift Valley, the wind element is very strong. The Colin family is dominated by the Storm faction. This should be the reason why they settled down here. Thank you for your reminder." Levi offered a sincere nod of gratitude. "Do you need me to send someone with you?" Dinos asked. Levi considered the offer for a moment and then shook his head. "No need. I am just meeting an old friend. I will not trouble you." "All right, be careful. If you need anything, just let me know." Dinos stood up, signaling the end of the conversation. Levi returned to his hotel. He laid out the clues the Jostar family had gathered and examined them carefully. Beyond the information regarding the Colin family, Levi focused on the details of the transcendent creatures. The Red Sand Ape was a first circle transcendent creature, with the spell-like ability to master earth lightning and sandstorm spells. Red Sand Apes usually gathered in tribes. After reaching adulthood, they possessed the strength of a first circle creature, and their intelligence remained high. It was best to avoid provoking them unless one formed a team. There was a chance of a mutated individual appearing with strength close to a second circle creature. They often appeared in the quicksand sea. The Crimson Fire Dragon Lizard possessed an affinity for fire elements, and lived a solitary existence. It reached the strength of a first circle creature upon reaching maturity. Because it belonged to the mixed blood dragon clan, it remained generally stronger than other creatures of its rank. It wielded the Crimson Fire Breath and the Fire Arrow spell. The creature proved elusive. The few eyewitness records placed it in the Black Flame Mountain Range. That territory belonged to the Alhid family, so searching there required extreme caution. The Three-Horned Dragon King was a second circle creature that once appeared in the ancient forest. As a member of the mixed blood dragon clan, it was immensely powerful. Only second circle wizards could defeat it. Rumors suggested a third circle transcendent creature might live in the ancient forest, marking it as a forbidden area of the Yellow Earth continent. Other than the Red Sand Ape, the Crimson Fire Dragon Lizard, and the Three-Horned Dragon King, the Jostar family could not track the other creatures. Levi remained satisfied with the results. The Red Sand Apes could cultivate the Saint Ape breathing technique, while the Crimson Fire Dragon Lizards could cultivate the Red Lotus breathing technique. The Three-Horned Dragon King would serve the Golden Snake breathing technique, stimulating the growth and evolution of the horn on Levi's forehead. Levi pushed the thought of the Dragon King aside. That creature was too powerful. Defeating it was one thing, but subduing and capturing it alive was another. Killing it meant losing the opportunity to study it, and finding another one on the Yellow Earth continent would prove difficult. I will deal with the Red Sand Ape and the Crimson Fire Dragon Lizard first. I will contract the Red Sand Ape with a spiritual connection spell. For the Crimson Fire Dragon Lizard, I must subdue it first and find a way to capture it alive. I will imprison it and slowly tame it with the dragon affinity and nature's heart, just like how I tamed Leviathan back then. That method will just take a little more time. His spiritual connection spell contract slots remained limited, requiring careful planning. He needed to avoid wasting those slots on mixed blood dragon clan creatures. There was no time to lose. The Quicksand Sea and the Black Flame Mountain Range lay in the west of the Yellow Earth continent, a significant distance from Lion King City. After saying goodbye to Dinos, Levi departed. Inside the Golden Lion Castle, Leon turned to Dinos, his expression stern. "Dinos, seize this opportunity. This person is definitely not simple. Although I do not want to admit it, from the night aura and the night characteristics you described, this person has already exceeded your great-grandfather's description of his ancestors." Leon walked to the window, looking out over the city. "He is not an ordinary legendary knight. Ever since the death of our ancestor, the Golden Lion family has not produced a legendary knight for hundreds of years. This is not a good sign. The Golden Lion bloodline in our bodies is constantly thinning. If this continues, the bloodline will slowly dissipate. Although I am a third circle wizard, I am old. Even if a third circle wizard has nearly 500 years of lifespan, the peak of my knight vitality has long passed. It is almost impossible for me to step into legendary. Besides, I have to worry about the development of my family. Leon turned back to his son. But you are different, my child. Our ancestors have used generations of hard work to pave the way for you. You have the talent of a double affinity. In the future, you will definitely shine on the path of a wizard. It is a certainty that you will advance to the intermediate level. Moreover, your talent as a knight is also extraordinary. As long as you have the guidance of a legendary knight like Levi, you might become the second legendary knight in our family, allowing the Golden Lion bloodline of our family to continue for hundreds of years. In the future, you must remain humble and cultivate as fast as possible. Become a legendary knight and a second circle wizard as soon as possible, and then marry more wives and concubines to help the family continue the Golden Lion bloodline. Chapter 459. Leon spoke with affection. The Golden Lion Jostar family harbored a deep obsession with legendary knights. Dinos offered a confident smile. Do not worry, father. With Sir Levi's guidance, I will definitely reach legendary within 10 years. He spoke with conviction, having witnessed Levi's true power firsthand. 5 days passed. Levi arrived at his first destination, the Rogue Rift. Locating the Colin family took precedence. The Tower Master's mission carried a strict time limit, and he could not afford any delays. The Rogue Rift stretched approximately 2,000 miles from east to west. Strong winds howled through the canyon all year round, sending sand and rocks flying in a relentless, blinding storm. Visibility remained incredibly low within the valley. Levi relied on his snake tongue and his superior perception to investigate his surroundings. The winds battered him, yet they failed to impede his progress. High-speed winds whipped sand against Levi's body, creating a rhythmic crackling sound. For an ordinary wizard, lacking a wind avoidance wizard tool or a protective force field, such gale force winds would have caused severe injury. Levi scanned the far end of the rift with his perception. The violent gusts made flying nearly impossible, so he descended to the ground. His pace, however, remained brisk. Unknown creatures flickered across Levi's biological radar from time to time. He skirted around them whenever possible, reserving his strength for his objective. When confrontation became unavoidable, he eliminated the threats quickly. Half a day passed. The wind intensified, reaching the strength of a level 3 hurricane. Levi possessed the strength to withstand the gale, but fighting against such resistance wasted too much stamina. He sought shelter within a mountain cave to rest. The wind moved in a distinct pattern, weakening for a brief interval before intensifying again. It was a relentless cycle. This place is hardly fit for human habitation, Levi muttered to himself. The Colin family must have nerves of steel to settle in such a desolate location. In truth, the wind elemental power in the rift was significantly denser, nearing a level 2 concentration. It was unfortunate that Levi did not currently cultivate a storm faction meditation art. He already juggled too many disciplines. He decided it would be better to wait until he acquired a wind element affinity talent in the future. As the gale subsided, Levi prepared to depart, but a sudden presence stopped him. He sensed 2 auras clashing nearby. One belonged to a wizard, while the other emanated from a transcendent creature. It is likely someone from the Colin family. I should investigate, Levi decided. He stepped out of the cave. Not long after, a figure was swept up by the powerful wind and hurled toward him. Levi reached out, catching the person before they collided with the rocks. It was an apprentice wizard, already unconscious. Levi peered ahead, spotting a transcendent, snake-like creature swimming through the turbulent air. A winged snake, possessing the strength of a high-level apprentice wizard. Levi recalled the information he had gathered regarding the transcendent creatures within the Rogue Rift. The ungrateful creature charged straight at Levi. Levi did not budge. The winged snake slammed into his body, creating a ringing buzz against his black gold scales. The impact dazed the serpent, and Levi seized its tail with his free hand. He swung the creature down 3 times. The sound of flesh impacting stone echoed through the canyon. Levi reduced the winged snake to a pile of mud. He salvaged the useful materials and set the remaining corpse ablaze. Levi returned to the cave. The mid-level apprentice wizard stirred awake after a few moments, blinking up at the stranger watching him. I was being chased by the winged snake, the boy murmured, clearly confused by the turn of events. I saved you, Levi said, offering a reassuring smile. Upon hearing the claim and sensing Levi's powerful mental aura, the apprentice realized this was an official wizard, someone as powerful as the head of the Colin family. He scrambled to his feet to offer thanks. Thank you, Lord Wizard. My name is Mackin, an apprentice wizard of the Colin family. I do not have anything valuable on me to repay such a debt. Mackin blushed, hanging his head in embarrassment. You are from the Colin family? Levi asked. What a coincidence. I am headed to the Colin family as well. There is no need for thanks. You are merely an apprentice, and I have no interest in your meager belongings, Levi said with a chuckle. Levi maintained the conversation, slowly breaking down the defenses of the world-weary apprentice. Bit by bit, he gathered vital information regarding the Colin family. Levi carefully avoided mentioning the secret realm. Such knowledge surely belonged only to the upper echelons of the family. A rookie like Mackin would know nothing of it. Any mention of the realm risked alerting the enemy. The family head is a senior first circle wizard, accompanied by 2 other first circle official wizards, Levi thought to himself. A starving camel is still larger than a horse. With a resource point like a secret realm, the Colin family remained slightly stronger than he had initially imagined, but they remained well within his control. The young wizard Levi had saved appeared to be ostracized by his own kin. He had been forced to hunt transcendent creatures in the Rogue Rift, hoping to exchange their parts at a nearby wizard market for essential cultivation resources. This isolation stemmed from his late great-grandmother, Stella Colin, who was the sister of a controversial figure within the family. Stella had been the deceased wife of the Tower Master. The Colin family had once been a powerful organization. As a second circle wizard organization, they possessed deep pride. Stella had ignored the objections of her kin and run away with Herman, who had been traveling to the Yellow Earth continent. Chapter 460. Back then, the family had already promised to betroth Stella to a genius wizard of the Flame King's Alhid family. That genius wizard was the current head of the Alhid family, the third circle wizard Lehman, known by the nickname the Flame Prince. At that time, the Colin family was a reputable force in the Yellow Earth continent. Although they could not compare to the three giants, the Wham, Alhid, and Jostar families, there were several second circle wizards in the family who brought them great glory. Stella's actions caused the Colin family to lose all face. At that time, the Tower Master was just an apprentice of the Grey Tower, which was a second circle wizard organization. He lacked money, strength, and status. Even his wizard talent was quite ordinary. Later on, the Colin family repeatedly requested Stella to return to the family, but she rejected them. They personally sent people to the Grey Tower, but the first Tower Master, Salmon, chased them back. The Colin family could not risk starting a second circle wizard war over Stella. Helpless, the Colin family expelled Stella and listed her as a taboo. No one was allowed to mention her name within the family. Later on, the family gradually declined due to the suppression of the Alhid family. After all, although the Colin family had a small secret realm entrance, this secret realm only opened once every 200 years. It was not something they could open just because they wanted to. The resources they had collected during the last time they opened it had almost been exhausted in the past 200 years. After understanding the situation, Levi arrived at the location of the Colin family under the guidance of Macon. The entrance sat within an extremely hidden valley. The wind inside grew relatively weaker, and an array provided shelter and concealment outside. If the kid had not led the way, Levi would have struggled to find it. Macon approached the array at the entrance of the valley. Several apprentice wizards stood guard. Macon stepped forward and called out to the guards, "Please let me in. This is my savior, Sir Levi." The guard saw Levi and sensed the heavy pressure of a first circle wizard. His face turned cold. He glared at Macon, blaming him for bringing a stranger into their home. "Take out your membership card. I need to verify your identity," the guard said. He acted as though he feared Levi might be a dark wizard attempting to infiltrate their territory. Levi showed his membership card, and the guard's expression immediately changed. Macon stood there, stunned by the sudden shift in atmosphere. The guard stared at the card. "Someone from the Grey Tower?" Levi offered a polite smile. "Yes, what is wrong?" Levi had anticipated that they might take issue with his affiliation to the Grey Tower, yet he still held a glimmer of hope. "Sir, please leave. The Colin family does not welcome people from the Grey Tower," the guard declared. "Sir Levi is my savior. He is only here as a guest. Why will you not let him in?" Macon protested. Levi took a deep breath and centered himself. A peaceful resolution seemed preferable to force. He was a law-abiding citizen, not a lawless dark wizard, and preferred to rely on reason. "I am just looking for the head of the Colin family to discuss cooperation. There is no need to be in such a hurry to reject me," Levi said. The aura of a senior first circle wizard spread out as a powerful spiritual wave swept past the guard. "Go back. Although our Colin family has declined, it is not something a first circle wizard like you can shake." The guard sneered, entirely fearless. Levi's voice turned cold as his expression darkened. "So there is no room for negotiation?" The guard flinched under the weight of the aura, unable to make a sound. Remembering the protection of the Colin family, he spoke with a trembling voice. "Wait. I will call the family head and let him decide." The guard feared the man in front of him might kill him in a fit of anger. As a mere gatekeeper, risking his life seemed unwise. Not long after, a blue-robed wizard arrived at the door atop a first circle wizard tool that resembled a kite. He was the current head of the Colin family. He narrowed his eyes as he took in Levi. "I am Dwayne Colin. May I know why you have come to the Colin family?" Levi smiled. "I want to talk about cooperation with your family." Dwayne thought for a moment and answered calmly. "Then please come in and talk." He felt no fear of a first circle wizard within his family's base camp. Moreover, the Colin family was a legal wizard organization protected by the Panplane Wizard Council. Inside the guest hall, Levi walked in to find two other first circle wizards, a man and a woman. They glared at him with unfriendly expressions. "Tell me, what kind of cooperation do you want to talk about?" Dwayne asked. "I heard that the Colin family holds the entrance to a small secret realm, and it will open in less than 2 months. I want you to name a price for me to enter as well," Levi said. The expressions of Dwayne and the others shifted slightly, though they masked it well. Levi noted the subtle change. The secret realm appeared to be real. "Sir, please go back. We do not have a secret realm here," Dwayne stated. "Sir Dwayne, what do you think the 3 aristocratic families on the Yellow Earth continent will do if they find out that a small family like the Colin clan controls a secret realm entrance?" Levi asked calmly. Chapter 461. The 3 aristocratic families were not benevolent figures. Levi doubted their hands remained clean of blood, even for a family like the Golden Lion Jostar line that had risen quickly from nothing. He had performed a favor for them, which ensured their current hospitality. The Panplane Wizard Council's law held some deterrent power, but the three aristocratic families reigned as the local tyrants of the Yellow Earth continent. Exploiting legal loopholes to snatch the secret realm by force or trickery proved simple for them. The Alhid family acted most aggressively. They had long coveted the Colin family, and the sudden decline of that house stemmed largely from the secret obstruction of the Alhid clan. Levi realized that leaking this information would be enough to doom them. Even if the Colin family lacked a secret realm, other factions would refuse to believe it. Dwayne panicked upon hearing this. 8,000 ether stones for a ticket and a confidentiality agreement, Dwayne said, his voice firm. Otherwise, I will sacrifice the secret realm to the Wham family before letting you succeed. The first circle female wizard interjected, her voice sharp. Sir, you cannot do this. The secret realm is our heirloom. We cannot let outsiders enter. Dwayne looked at her, his expression frigid. Then what do you propose we do, Linda? The internal discord within the Colin family was palpable. Levi hid a sneer. Agreed. Let us sign the contract. Clan leader Dwayne possesses a grand vision, Levi offered, his compliment sounding hollow. Money presented no obstacle. The Tower Master would reimburse the expense upon his return. Resolving this peacefully to secure entry into the secret realm was all that mattered. While Levi possessed the strength to crush the Colin family, navigating the politics of the Panplane Wizard Council remained a headache he wished to avoid. Dwayne observed Levi's unwavering confidence and concluded that Levi represented Herman of the Grey Tower. A mere first circle wizard would not command such wealth. He had set the price high. If Levi gained benefits from the secret realm, they would certainly not exceed 8,000 ether stones, ensuring the Colin family turned a profit. The Colin family controlled the entrance, but they lacked the strength to truly explore the depths. They simply collected resources from the safe periphery and retreated. They never dared to step into the inner core, where the true treasures lay. The secret realm would remain open for only 7 days. How many valuable items could a first circle wizard find in such a short window? Historically, only intermediate wizard organizations possessed the strength to conduct real exploration. In the secret realm, unique transcendent creatures lurked. These were ancient mutants, possessing immense power. Even when the Colin family stood at its peak, they had failed to eliminate these dangers. Dwayne felt the deal favored him. He gestured, putting away the payment. Remember to arrive on time, Dwayne said, his tone satisfied. I will not wait a moment past the expiration. Levi signed the contract slate, unconcerned about Dwayne breaking the agreement. He departed the Colin family estate and found a secluded spot within the Rogue Rift to establish a defensive array. He needed to focus his cultivation. Like the Shadow Realm, the secret realm promised unknown dangers. 200 years had passed since the last opening. Who knew what horrors had gestured into existence within those depths? Therefore, he needed to increase his power as much as possible. Levi formulated a plan. He would focus his cultivation on the new Heavenly Eagle breathing technique. 2 months remained, which offered insufficient time for other breathing techniques or meditation arts to break through. Specializing in the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique, however, might allow him to cultivate it to the limit before entering the secret realm. Several days passed. Western Yellow Earth continent, Skyfire City. This metropolis, established by the Alhid family, stood as one of the 3 major cities on the continent alongside Lion King City and Wind City. Inside the wizard tower of the Alhid clan leader Lehman narrowed his eyes, deep in thought. A first circle wizard dressed in a special black robe prostrate before him. Lehman calculated his options. The woman before him had raced to the Alhid family overnight, bearing critical news. The Colin family possessed a secret realm. Your family kept this secret well, but you have shown tact, Lehman said, his eyes curving into a smile. Since you desire to join our Alhid family, I will not treat you poorly. Here are 10 spirit accumulation potions. Take them. Help me seize the secret realm and the Colin family, and you will never worry about such supplementary meditation potions again. Advancing to a senior first circle is merely a matter of time. Thank you, Lord Lehman, Linda replied, bowing low. The Colin family is at its end. Dwayne is weak. He was threatened by an outsider. That Levi from the Grey Tower must have been sent by Herman. He has ulterior motives. The name triggered a memory. 200 years ago, Stella had refused to marry into the Alhid line, eloping instead with that wild boy, Herman. Word had it that Herman had advanced to the 3rd circle some time ago, a fact that had soured Lehman's mood for months. Distance had prevented him from acting, but now that Herman's disciple had arrived on his doorstep, Lehman had no reason to show mercy. The Flame Prince reigned supreme in this land. He dismissed Linda, telling her to return to the Colin family and play her part. He walked to the wizard steeple, gazing toward the east where Lion King City lay. A mask of total control settled over his features. With the strength of my Alhid family, we shall extract great wealth from the secret realm. With those resources, what could a golden lion like you possibly use to fight me? 2 months later, somewhere in the Rogue Rift, Levi ceased his final session of the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique and opened his eyes. A brilliant luster gleamed within them. He stepped out of his cave and gazed into the sandstorm. Previously, he had needed to rely on his perception to judge distances. Now, enlightenment washed over him. Amidst the swirling yellow sand, he spotted a wind snake 20 miles away. His world grew sharp and clear. This marked the sublimation of absolute vision. Levi had cultivated the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique to its peak today, manifesting top-notch vision. He unfurled his wings and soared into the sky. Only from such heights could the eagle eye achieve its true potential. Levi's gaze sharpened, piercing through all obstructions. He perceived everything within a radius of dozens of miles, even the individual legs on an ant crawling upon the ground. He opened his proficiency panel. Levi reached the maximum level of 7 in the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique, gaining the special effect of top-notch vision. Chapter 462. The system panel flickered in the mind of Levi, announcing the power of his top-notch vision. He possessed the sharp eyes of a heavenly eagle. Nothing in the world could escape his gaze, and even small obstacles failed to block his sight. This was the special effect created by the Heavenly Eagle breathing technique. Levi marveled at the lack of a secondary ability. In his past experience, perception-type breathing techniques typically yielded 2 special effects. He realized he still lacked a shallow breathing technique to facilitate the fusion of the Heavenly Eagle and the human-faced owl styles, a process he hoped would break his current limits. He wondered what kind of transformation that might bring. Levi descended from the sky, taking a moment to adjust his robes. The time for the secret realm to open neared. He rushed toward the Colin family estate. 10 wizards already waited at the entrance. 2 stood as official wizards, while the remaining 8 were apprentices of the Colin family. Beyond Dwayne, who guarded the family perimeter, the male and female official wizards prepared to enter the secret realm and collect resources. Wizard Yuko stepped forward, his tone dripping with disdain. He remarked that Levi had arrived right on time, feigning courtesy. Linda spoke up quickly to silence him, clearly afraid of inciting conflict. Yuko ignored her and sneered at Levi, hoping he would manage to recover his 8,000 ether stones. He mocked the idea of Levi finding anything of value. Levi remained silent, choosing not to waste energy on an argument. He focused on the 7 days soul returning grass. If he found it, the cost of 8,000 ether stones would pale in comparison to its value. Once the family members gathered, Yuko and Linda led the team into the rogue rift. Levi followed behind in silence, keeping his senses sharp. He worried the Colin family might harbor ulterior motives. They reached the source of the rift, a place dense with wind tunnels. Boundless gales erupted from these openings, blowing with a rhythmic intensity, like the breathing of a giant. Yuko stopped before one of the wind caves. He withdrew a crystal ball filled with a spinning white mini tornado, dense with wind elemental power. It served as the key. The gale died down, and a spatial rift appeared. Yuko looked ecstatic. He acknowledged the 200 years that had passed. He believed this was the chance for the Colin family to rise again. Linda remained expressionless as she invited Levi to enter. Levi agreed, masking his true thoughts. Spider sensing flared on his arm. He detected subtle hostility from Linda, while Yuko remained eccentric, but seemingly neutral. He maintained his guard. The Colin team entered. Levi stood alone at the threshold. Under his robes, black gold scales shifted into place, and his rock body shimmered with a green luster. He cast water shield and golden protection for good measure. Layered in 4 armors of defense, he stepped into the spatial rift. Gravity and orientation vanished in the chaos of the rift. He landed on the other side, finding the Colin team waiting. They did not attack, bound by the contract preventing hostilities. Yuko sneered, asking if Levi would join them. Levi declined and walked away. Without a map, Yuko mocked his chances, suggesting he would only end up as food for the transcendent creatures. Linda urged the group to hurry, reminding them they only possessed 7 days to collect resources. 3 figures materialized at the secret realm entrance. A second circle wizard in a black robe gazed at the rift. He remarked on its hidden nature and credited the woman with finding it. He gave orders to seize the key and eliminate everyone else, while warning against exposing their alliance with the Owlhead family to the Pan-Plane Wizard Council. Chapter 463. All right, Boss Black Flame. We are Black Sun Flame's Dark Wizards. We understand. The 2 subordinates nodded. The black-robed second circle wizard gestured for them to follow into the secret realm. He led the Black Sun Flame organization, a band of underground dark wizards on the Yellow Earth continent. 50 years of experience as a second circle wizard granted him significant power. While he was not a senior second circle wizard, he commanded respect. This was merely his public identity. In reality, Leland stood as the younger brother to Lehman of the Owlhead family. Long ago, he had engaged in questionable acts that led to his expulsion from the family. The public believed he was forced into the life of a dark wizard, but he had embraced it willingly. He operated as a lawless rogue, committing crimes that enraged the wizards of the Yellow Earth continent. His infamy shielded him. In the shadows, he remained loyal to Lehman, acting as the right-hand man for the family's illicit affairs. The Black Sun Flame organization served as the tools for the Owlhead family's dirty work, with Leland playing the villain. The Owlhead family provided a secret shelter, allowing Leland to thrive as a dark wizard in the region. Every time he finished a job and the enforcers arrived, Leland had already vanished without a trace. Large families often employed this method, using a pair of white gloves in the light and a pair of black gloves in the dark. Lehman thought of Leland first for this mission. Leland was a second circle wizard and a dark wizard. His combat experience and fighting style were elite. With Leland making a move, the Colin family and that brat from the Grey Tower would face capture with ease. Failure was not an option. Leland also bore the responsibility of exploring the secret realm within these 7 days to collect resources. The next opening would not occur for another 200 years. Lehman stood on the wizard steeple, his eyes sharp. He thrived on the feeling of being high and mighty, in control of the overall situation. One day I, the Flame Prince, will become the only king of this mainland. Then, I will use the Yellow Earth continent as a fulcrum, and set foot in the Inner Sea region. I will gain a foothold in the Inner Sea region where experts are as numerous as the clouds. I will stir up the entire Endless Sea and become the Flame Emperor of that sea. Lehman held immense ambition. A dual-element machine heart. He was only 200 years old. He still had nearly 300 years of lifespan. Within those 3 centuries, he would advance to the 4th circle, the 5th circle, even the 6th circle if luck favored him. He would become a high-level primordial soul wizard, who played an important role in the entire Endless Sea. The Outer Sea region served only as a sea area where rookies pecked at each other. Lehman felt no interest in such opponents. In the eyes of Lehman, Levi was merely an ant that had intruded into his boring life. The secret realm mirrored the rogue rift, filled with persistent, sweeping winds. Sandstorms raged across the landscape. The plants and animals here possessed extraordinary resilience. The violent winds in the rogue rift likely originated from this secret realm. Wind elemental power hung thick in the air, but the speed of the gales grew increasingly terrifying the deeper one ventured into the space. Their origin remained a mystery. Levi gauged the size of the small secret realm to be less than 1% of the Yellow Earth continent. With his current perception range, he could thoroughly search the entire area within 7 days. He relied on his top-notch vision, top perception, and snake tongue to track the cold pool the Tower Master had described. His snake tongue perception picked up traces of familiar herbs. He stumbled upon them one by one, a smirk playing on his lips. The Colin family expected him to suffer a loss. They did not understand that with the snake tongue, any herb within his database revealed itself through its unique aura factor. The value of his harvest would far exceed 8,000 ether stones. The Colin family might have secured their payment, but Levi would not suffer a loss. Resources lay untouched for 200 years, making them abundant. He collected first circle herbs without hesitation. Without a stable way to re-enter, 200 years was too long a wait. He gathered every mature herb he encountered. By the 3rd day, his storage bag groaned under the weight of his haul. The raw materials alone exceeded 8,000 ether stones in value, including many varieties rare in the Endless Sea. He landed on a steep cliff. His top-notch vision caught another precious wind-chasing grass. This 3rd circle herb served as a primary ingredient for the 2nd circle potion, Devil's Gaze. The single stock was worth 1,000 ether stones. He updated his database and swept the area. He stood as a senior 1st circle wizard now, and he needed to prepare the materials for his advancement to the 2nd circle. Chapter 464. Levi found 3 more stalks of wind-chasing grass in the area. With the one he had previously secured, he now held 4 in total. This amount proved sufficient to refine the Devil's Gaze potion 4 times. He grinned to himself. If the Colin family discovered that he had stripped such precious herbs from this inner area, they would surely choke on their own rage. Satisfaction warmed his chest. With his heightened perception and the tracking ability of the black snake, he navigated the landscape with ease, slipping past most transcendent creatures and avoiding meaningless battles. Miles away, the wizards of the Colin family crept along the periphery. They followed their map with painstaking care, making their way toward an ancestral gathering point in search of meager herbs. Yuko bent down carefully to harvest a plant. "This is not bad," he whispered. "I found a 1st circle herb that we can mark on the map for later." Linda remained calm, her thoughts unreadable. Suddenly, the corners of her mouth curled upward. "They are finally here," she muttered to herself. Moments later, a streak of black light cut through the wind. Yuko sensed an intruder, and his expression twisted in alarm. He froze, his breathing quickening. "How is this possible?" he hissed. "No one else should know about this secret realm entrance. Since Stella betrayed the family, every apprentice wizard with knowledge of this place had to sign a confidentiality contract. Only a handful of core wizards escaped that requirement. Could it be? No, that is impossible. Dwayne would never do such a thing." Yuko turned his gaze to Linda. She remained infuriatingly calm. "Yuko, times have changed," she said with a sigh. "The Colin family is hopeless. Join the great Elhid family with me. Do not make a move. Listen to these people and hand over the secret realm key. Then, you can live." "Does Dwayne know?" Yuko asked. He forced his hand to remain steady, resisting the urge to strike. "If he does not know now, he will never know," Linda replied, her face devoid of emotion. Yuko gripped his magic wand, his hand shaking. Dwayne was in danger. He realized now that Dwayne had chosen to trust Yuko and Linda without requiring a confidentiality agreement, hoping to maintain unity. He and Dwayne had never expected that the woman they trusted most had already betrayed the family. It was too late for regrets. 3 figures descended before them. They were wizards from the Black Sun Flame organization. Yuko leveled his gaze at them. "Are you from the Alhid family?" he asked. The 1st circle wizard sneered. "What Alhid family? Are they even worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as our Black Flame boss? If you do not even know the famous Black Flame boss in the underground world, how did you manage to survive in the Yellow Earth continent?" Yuko's expression turned grim. He snapped his magic wand, and a 1st ring spell, a razor-sharp wind blade, slashed toward Boss Black Flame. The boss did not dodge. He allowed the blades to strike, but they shattered harmlessly against the barrier of black flames surrounding him. "You are courting death," Boss Black Flame growled. He waved his own wand, channeling a 2nd circle black flame spell. Billowing, demonic fire blasted out for dozens of meters, engulfing Yuko. Yuko screamed as the flames consumed him. Linda sighed. "Yuko, I am sorry." She cast a swift wind blade that ended his life, sparing him the agony of the black fire. The first circle wizard fell, with no chance of survival. "You are very sensible," Boss Blackflame said. "Kill these apprentices too." A one-sided slaughter began. Boss Blackflame calmly stripped the storage bag from Yuko's corpse and retrieved a crystal ball. It was the key to the secret realm. "Do you have any incantations?" the boss asked. Linda shook her head. "This key does not have an incantation. It will only provide a hint when the secret realm opens, leading you to the entrance. The entrance is random, but it is generally concentrated in the Rogue Rift region." "I see. Then you can die too." Boss Blackflame unleashed another second ring spell. A wave of fire swept out to swallow Linda. Flames exploded, but one of Linda's defensive wizard tools shattered, absorbing the brunt of the attack. The protection saved her life for a brief moment. She caught the wind, desperate to reach the secret realm exit. "Did Lehman ask you to kill me?" Linda screamed. "You went back on your word." Leland sneered. "You are quite vigilant. Stop struggling." He cast another terrifying torrent of black flame, drowning her in the heat. Moments later, Linda's corpse lay reduced to a pile of charcoal. "Those who betray their own families deserve to be killed most of all," Leland muttered to himself. He, Leland, had become a dark wizard hated by all for the sake of his family. He had walked alone in dark alleys and risked a precarious life to protect his kin. This woman had betrayed hers. Such a person could not remain alive. If she revealed the relationship between the Black Sun Flame and the Alhid family, the arrangements his brother Lehman had built over the years would crumble. The two other dark wizards had already dispatched the remaining apprentice wizards. "Let us go," Leland said. "For days remain, and that is more than enough time to find Levi. The boy is fast. He has likely reached the core area. The winds there rage like a level 3 or even level 4 hurricane. He cannot have traveled far." Leland led his subordinates toward the inner area. He unleashed his second circle wizard spiritual force, scanning the landscape. Sooner or later, that brat would appear. Chapter 465. The Rogue Rift transformed into a living hell for the Colin family. A black-robed wizard gripped Dwayne's severed head, leaving the man to die with lingering grievances. From this day forward, the Colin family belongs to history. We must retreat and hide at sea. In a few days, the enforcers of Area 7 will arrive. Do not cause trouble during this period. When the storm passes and the enforcers retreat, we will return. The other two black-robed wizards nodded in agreement. One whispered, "I wonder how Boss Blackflame is doing." "Do not worry. That is the boss of Blackflame, the king of the underground world in the western region of this mainland. He has taken the lives of second circle wizards. Dealing with a few first circle wizards is a simple task for him." On the 5th day, inside the secret realm, Levi tallied his gains and allowed a rare smile to cross his face. 8,000 ether stones is a price well worth paying. After completing the mission, I can ask the Tower Master for reimbursement. Levi let out a long breath, marveling at the abundance of resources in the secret realm. The deeper he ventured into the inner area, the more precious the herbs became. He had already gathered several types of third circle herbs, and they were plentiful. Levi utilized his snake tongue to detect the scents of the herbs stored in his database. His top-notch vision allowed him to identify the plants from his mental illustrations. Combining these two senses ensured that nothing escaped his grasp as he moved. Levi paused, his brow furrowing. He had felt uneasy these past few days, and his spider sensing had flared up continuously. Could those people from the Colin family intend to harm him? Logically, the contract prevented them from attacking, but perhaps a dangerous creature lurked within this secret realm. The sense of danger remained dull and distant. Levi decided to continue his search. Once he secured the 7 days soul-returning grass, he would leave the secret realm immediately. Finally, Levi arrived at a canyon. Frigid air permeated the space, and the temperature dropped significantly. He sensed the faint aura of a second circle creature within the canyon. A ferocious beast lay dormant in the shadows. This must be the cold pond, where the 7 days soul-returning grass grows. Levi frowned, realizing the presence of a second circle creature posed a significant problem. Judging from the aura, only one beast resided here. "I will take a look first," he reasoned, formulating a plan. "Perhaps Ace can lure that creature away. Then I will snatch the 7 days soul-returning grass and slip away." Having come this far, he could not turn back. After his battle with the Red Flame Witch, Levi understood that he possessed the ability to challenge a second circle existence. Although the Red Flame Witch had suffered injuries that diminished her power compared to an ordinary second circle wizard, her strength remained comparable to this beast. Taking a deep breath, Levi flapped his wings and took to the air. He did not dare to fly too high. The winds in this secret realm intensified with altitude. At the higher altitudes of this core area, the wind reached the intensity of a level 4, or even level 5 great hurricane. Official wizards could not withstand such gales for long. Finally, in the depths of the valley, Levi spotted a small lake radiating nether cold chi. The area appeared undisturbed, as if no living soul had ever set foot there. An island sat in the middle of the lake. Upon it stood an ice blue ape, 3 stories tall. Levi stared at the creature, momentarily convinced it was Hapes, the great Ice Ape king. However, Hapes lived in the human world, so this could not be him. Still, the beast was an ape-type transcendent creature remarkably similar to the Ice Apes. He remembered his giant breathing technique. The secret medicine for the legendary stage of the giant breathing technique required creatures with frost blood, specifically frost giants, or extraordinary apes with frost element affinity. The creature before him met those requirements perfectly. But taking away a second circle creature posed a massive challenge. Levi shook his head. The task was unrealistic. Even if he managed to defeat the beast, capturing it alive and taming it remained impossible. Furthermore, the first circle nature's secret language could not influence transcendent creatures above the first circle realm. I must kill it, Levi decided. With such a massive body, the blood should suffice to cultivate my giant breathing technique to level 12. The secret realm would close in a few days. Levi could not wait until he advanced to the second circle to return. By then, 200 years would have passed, and it would be too late. His only option was to kill the beast and bring it out of the secret realm. In the center of the island, where the cold aura gathered most densely, a black grass with 7 leaves stood quietly. This is the legendary 7 days soul returning grass. It is exactly what the Tower Master needs. Levi sighed in relief. I can leave after getting this. I still feel like someone is trying to harm me. He steeled his nerves and perked up. He summoned Ace from the bug house. Since Ace was a living creature, he could not store it in his storage bag, leaving the bug house as its only refuge. Ace, lure that beast away. The further, the better. We will meet at the exit of this valley in 3 minutes, Levi whispered. Ace nodded, signaling that it understood the task. Having just joined Levi, Ace needed to prove its worth. This opportunity offered the perfect chance to make a contribution. Ace was a fire elemental spirit capable of elementalization. The massive Ice Ape King likely focused on physical attacks, with frost spells serving as support. Chapter 466. Ace would hold out for a while. The fire spirit's escape speed matched his own, so this presented no issue. Soon, Ace soared above the massive creature. The giant ape, sleeping soundly on the island, snapped its eyes open. Ace unceremoniously blasted a fireball technique at the creature's furry belly, scorching a large patch of fur. This proved to be a superficial wound for such a titan. The provocation infuriated the beast. It beat its chest and stomped its feet. Standing, it launched itself 100 meters into the air, plummeting toward the fire spirit. Ace nearly dissolved in panic, darting away as the giant ape gave chase. As the creatures vanished from his perception, Levi infiltrated the island, retrieving the 7 days soul returning grass and stowing it in a prepared container. The process went smoothly. The acquisition felt like a dream. He held the legendary, priceless treasure in his hands. It went too smoothly, without a single obstacle. This defied logic. Curiosity pulled at him, wondering why such a strange plant grew in this cold pool, but now offered no time for exploration. He flapped his blood wings and climbed into the sky, heading toward the valley. Before they reached the valley, the giant ape crashed toward them with a roar. Monkey fur erupted like ice needles. Ace dangled in the creature's massive grip, looking near death. You idiot, Ace, Levi thought, frustration tightening his chest. You were supposed to run. I had such high expectations for you. Spider sensing flared with sudden danger. Levi dodged most of the ice needles. A few struck home, shattering the golden protection, and tearing through the water shield before piercing the black gold scale, and biting into his flesh. He gritted his teeth against the pain. Flame body. Red flames erupted, consuming the ice needles. Blood ember pooled, and his wounds knitted together. That attack carried immense power. Ace was not too strong. The giant ape simply possessed overwhelming might, far exceeding the which he once fought. He spat an ice arrow directly toward the giant ape's massive eyeball. The giant ape brought its hand up in a reflexive block. Ace used the distraction to tear free from the beast's claws. The beast had trapped the elemental form of the spirit, proving the depth of the giant ape's power. Ace reformed as a flame, flickering behind Levi. A cautious, burning head peeked out to assess the situation. The giant ape lacked the ability to fly. It crashed back to the ground, shaking the earth. Levi flapped his wings, climbing higher. The fact that the giant ape could not take to the air provided a fleeting moment of relief. He refused to drop his guard. Even without flight, such a terrifying second circle creature possessed the means to drag him from the sky. He surged forward, fleeing as the giant ape pursued. The beast launched itself into the air, fists swinging, but Levi's top-notch vision allowed him to evade the blows every single time. The blood beast breathing technique was truly remarkable. It served as the nemesis for most terrestrial transcendent creatures. Transcendent creatures often lagged behind wizards because first circle wizards mastered flight spells. Upon reaching the second circle, their aerial mobility improved even further. Levi possessed blood wings, yet the giant ape remained relentless. It kept pace on the ground, launching ice needles through the air that threatened to pierce his skin with the slightest lapse in concentration. The ice needles caused little damage, yet their penetrative power remained immense. They struck with focused force, piercing even his level 11 black gold scale. Fortunately, the powerful recovery of the rock body and the blood ember mended his wounds quickly. The ice needles lacked poison, which spared him from a much worse fate. While Levi fled, the 3 wizards of the Black Sun Flame rushed toward the core area. Boss Black Flame's expression shifted. He sensed 2 transcendent creatures in pursuit ahead of him. No, not both were transcendent creatures. One of them seemed to be a wizard. Levi's monstrous knight characteristics often led wizards unfamiliar with legendary knights to mistake him for a wizard of the life school of thought. Was that Levi from the Ocean faction? Could someone else be in this secret realm besides him? The leader of the Black Flames pondered the question. This person had to die. The secret realm belonged to the Alhid family, and no one would take its contents. Boss Black Flame led the 2 wizards to ambush Levi's escape route. Levi, flying high above, detected an unfamiliar wizard aura through his golden snake's letter before the ambushers sensed him. His top-notch vision revealed 3 black-robed wizards lying in wait. Though he did not recognize them, the spider sensing confirmed that these 3 ill-intentioned individuals were the source of the danger he had sensed over the past few days. They were not the giant ape or the Colin family, but these 3 strangers. Chapter 467. 1 second circle wizard and 2 first circle wizards lay in wait ahead. Levi focused his attention. If they wanted an ambush, he would beat them at their own game. He had a big surprise ready for them. He did not dodge. Instead, he flew directly toward the location of the second circle wizard. Black gold scale, wind spirit shelter, rock body, water shield, and giant demon bind defensive spells manifested around him one after another. In a valley more than 10 miles ahead, Boss Black Flame lay in ambush with his aura restrained. He smiled. The kid clearly failed to notice him. He had been overthinking the situation. With a mere first circle perception, the boy could not possibly sense his existence. Boss Black Flame began to cast a spell. Terrifying black flames ignited at the tip of his magic wand. The gap closed. Levi plunged into the valley below. The giant ape leaped high into the air in pursuit. It struck out, forming an ice palm 30 feet in diameter. The attack pressed down on Levi with a freezing aura. Meanwhile, the black flames from the boss swept toward him with intense heat. Terrifying second circle spells filled the air from both directions. The black flames and the ice palm converged on Levi. The attack was unavoidable. A shockwave erupted. A loud bang echoed through the valley. A stream of green smoke rushed out of the fire and ice. It deposited a sealed box of herbs beside Boss Black Flame before fleeing into the distance. Levi had used the green smoke escape. This technique from the School of Death reduced the damage. The combined attack of 2 second circle spells left no room for error. The terrifying black flames instantly destroyed the defenses of his first circle spells. Only the black gold scale held firm. The green smoke escape faded. Levi reappeared. Circles of black flames clung to the outer layer of his scales like maggots. He frowned. This spell did not resemble the authentic burning faction. It felt like the signature style of a dark wizard. The initial impact of the black flames lacked force, but the effect proved long-lasting and vicious. Fortunately, he possessed the flame body, though his fire resistance remained finite. After discarding the affected scales and utilizing the blood ember to heal repeatedly, the flames finally subsided. He escaped the second circle attack unscathed. He looked back. Boss Black Flame did not give chase, occupied instead by the fight against the giant ape. Boss, the box contains the treasures I took from that big guy's island. It is yours now. I will leave first. Levi shouted at Boss Black Flame from afar. He guessed the giant ape chased him so relentlessly because he had taken the 7 days soul returning grass. He wanted to see if he could use the herbs to incite the giant ape against the black-robed wizard. The plan succeeded. After the giant ape landed, it engaged the black-robed wizard. This damned human snatched the treasure I protect, the giant ape roared. Who is your boss? The black-robed wizard shouted. Damn it, this is not good. The kid framed me. You discovered me long ago. This is impossible. Boss Black Flame watched Levi fleeing in the distance and understood the deception. You are dead, kid. When I get rid of this beast, I will kill you. Boss Black Flame cursed in anger. You too, chase after that brat. Do not let him escape. Boss Black Flame shouted. The 2 first circle wizards immediately pursued Levi. After flying for about 100 miles, Levi landed. He turned to face the 2 first circle wizards. He paused and spoke. I have no enmity with you. Why are you chasing me? Levi remained calm, showing no signs of panic. The Black Sun Flames do not need to explain ourselves to you. Try to kill us if you can. One of the dark wizards sneered. He launched a first ring spell at Levi. Black Sun Flame? I have never heard of it. Forget it. I will just kill you and be done with it. Levi grinned and flicked his snake tongue. One opponent was an ordinary first circle wizard, and the other was a senior first circle wizard. Even if they worked together, they stood no chance against him. Ace, it will not be a problem to deal with the weak one, right? Do not disappoint me. Levi looked at Ace, who had just emerged from the bug house. Ace nodded. His body expanded until a 5-meter-tall flame giant took shape. Fire elemental spirit? You possess such a valuable thing. Then I cannot let you live. This treasure belongs to Boss Black Flame. The dark wizard's expression turned ferocious as he engaged Ace in battle. On the other side, Levi revealed his true form. Frost arm, flame body, ostrich feet, sharp claws, and whale back. He released various inhuman forms, shot forward, and attacked the senior first circle wizard. It is so ugly. What kind of stupid thing is that? The dark wizard cursed. The monster before him appeared hideous. He cast a first circle defensive spell to protect his body, moved, and waved his magic wand. A big fireball technique materialized and smashed into Levi. A bang echoed as Levi crashed into the fireball. He bared his teeth and shot out from the center of the explosion. What did you just say? Die. Levi's expression turned ferocious. He believed his appearance looked handsome and tough. He had not expected this fellow to possess such poor aesthetic taste. Chapter 468. The dark wizard froze, his eyes wide with disbelief. Is this the big fireball technique? He stammered. It is the strongest attack a first circle body of flesh and blood cannot withstand. Doubt flooded the dark wizard. This was his trump card, a strike meant to kill or maim. Levi wasted no time. He flashed forward, his undying fire claw snapping the dark wizard's magic wand in half. The golden revolving divine palm followed, shattering the wizard's protective spell. Claws pierced the man's chest and crushed his heart. The saint scorpions devoured the soul, and Levi tucked the corpse into his storage bag, keeping it as a spare vessel for the living dead. Levi moved with practiced efficiency. He knew the process of killing, releasing the saint scorpions, and storing the remains. Dealing with a second circle wizard defensive field required a bit more effort, but this was easy enough. The advantage of a second circle wizard lay in the ability to select a second circle defensive spell as a continuous force field. Unlike the first circle variant, this was a passive, automatic protection. Even when shattered, it could be recovered quickly through spell power. As long as that field held, a second circle wizard was essentially invincible. This restriction plagued knightly combatants. First circle wizards were different. Once their defensive spells entered cooldown or faltered, they were vulnerable to an ambush. With Levi's current attack power, those first circle barriers shattered with ease. Levi retrieved the spoils of war. Ace had finished the battle nearby. Not bad. It remains useful. He let Ace retreat into the bug house, claimed the storage bag from the other first circle wizard, and watched as the saint scorpions swallowed the remaining corpse. He then turned his attention to the duel between the black-robed wizard and the giant ape. The black flame boss fought with increasing apprehension. The giant ape proved far more powerful than he had anticipated. Dealing with a second circle transcendent creature was proving difficult, even for someone of his standing. The beast must have been an ancient mutant, with a potent bloodline. Retreat is necessary, the black flame boss muttered. We cannot delay. I will deal with that damn brat before eliminating this big guy. If he wanted the resources, the beast had to die. But killing Levi took priority. The black flame boss used a second ring spell to force the giant ape back, then cast a flying spell to ascend, distancing himself from the ground. Moments later, he spotted Levi fleeing ahead. The brat possessed actual skill. He had managed to kill 2 subordinates. The black flame boss wore a cold expression, his mind set on murder. Boss, hurry up, Levi shouted over his shoulder. You are about to be caught. Still acting, the black flame boss growled, his face twisted in rage. You deserve to die. The giant ape pursued relentlessly, launching long-range spells. It could not fly, but its speed on the ground was immense, preventing the black flame boss from shaking it off. A massive ice ball collided with the defensive field behind the black flame boss, causing the barrier to flicker and dim. Hang in there, the boss snarled. He swallowed an expensive defensive potion to recover his spell power and reinforced his barrier. Do not run, he shouted, firing a bolt of black flame toward Levi. Levi had predicted the attack. Top perception allowed him to dodge with ease. I do not believe you can keep flying, the black flame boss sneered. Wings modified by a bloodline modification wizard consume stamina and spell power. You are just a first circle wizard. How long can you last? Levi possessed a pair of blood-red wings that matched the escape speed of a second circle wizard, making him impossible to catch. The giant ape continued its assault from below, leaving the black flame boss desperate and aggrieved. Levi looked toward the exit, his heart soaring. As he neared the threshold, the black flame boss began chanting a long-distance second ring spell. A black flame spear materialized in his hands, condensed, and shot forward. Levi sensed the danger instantly. The black fire spear crossed the distance in a heartbeat, possessed of a tracking function that made evasion impossible. He shifted his vital organs and braced his body, circulating the black gold scale and rock body with all his might. At the same time, the vampire touch collided with the black flame spear. The vampire touch was knocked aside. A jolt of intense pain shot through Levi as the organ took the brunt of the hit. Ouch. This black flame is difficult to deal with. At the tip of the vampire touch, the small aberrations had burned with black flames. It was in poor condition. Levi used the cold air from his frost arm to suppress the fire, then made a prompt decision, cutting off the front half of the burning vampire touch. The broken blood intestine dissolved into nothingness in midair, while the remaining half retracted into the blood sac. Miraculously, Levi's powerful healing ability took over. The aberration's head, filled with sharp teeth, regrew. The smaller vampire touch emerged again. With its assistance, Levi dodged the remainder of the black fire spear and flashed through the exit. Once clear, he released all his living dead, called out Ace, and hid near the threshold. Levi grew taller until a 5-meter-tall giant towered over the area. Behind him, a 7-meter-tall Nine Swords Asura evil spirit manifested, its 3 heads emitting monstrous demonic flames. The 6 arms held long black silk that fluttered without wind, like an ink brush scribbling in the air. Red lotus blood filled Levi's body, and the lava heart burned at full capacity. Thick white smoke erupted from him, soaring into the sky like a pillar. His expression turned ferocious. He flicked his snake tongue. His scales overlapped, and his muscles bulged as he gripped the Poseidon trident and waited in the silence. The paralysis spell of the trembling ring was prepared. If it hit, success would be certain. If not, he was ready to endure. Inside the secret realm, the black flame boss sped up. Damn it, that kid slipped away. But where can you escape to? He charged out of the secret realm. The realm blocked perception, leaving him unaware of the ambush waiting at the exit. As soon as he emerged, a monster with 3 heads and 6 arms struck with unstoppable force. The second circle defensive field around the black flame boss lit up to its limit. Slash. The 9 golden swords used a revolving force to stir the field, twisting and tearing it apart. Die, Levi roared. He moved like a god descended to the mortal world. 9 swords danced wildly. The Poseidon trident swept across, catching the black flame boss off guard. Simultaneously, flames poured from Levi's mouth, drowning the black-robed wizard. Ace and the others swarmed forward, unleashing every attack they had prepared. The corpse of the black flame boss hit the ground, shattered. Levi panted, his face grim. Beep, the paralysis spell is indeed unreliable. Chapter 469. Levi retrieved his storage bag, recalled the Saint Scorpions and the living dead, and cast a big fireball technique to obliterate the crime scene. He departed swiftly. Moments later, massive, furry hands reached from the spatial rift, pausing in hesitation. The giant ape dragged itself from the secret realm. It inhaled the fresh air, sensing the shift in atmosphere, and bared its teeth in an expression of pure excitement. The beast pursued Levi without casting a backward glance. It roared, unwilling to remain in the secret realm for another moment. Levi, banking through the air ahead, felt his blood run cold. He cursed beneath his breath, realizing he had overlooked the persistence of the giant ape. He flapped his wings until his muscles burned. Defeating the creature had been impossible at full strength, and now, weakened by the red lotus blood, victory was utterly beyond reach. The man and the ape ran wildly through the wilderness. By the following day, Levi found the advantage of flight to be the deciding factor. When exhaustion set in, he alternated between spells and the propulsion techniques housed within his wizard tools, allowing Ace to carry him briefly before returning to his own blood wings. Eventually, he shook the massive beast off his trail. Levi flew for one more day, located a secluded spot, established a defensive array, and collapsed upon the earth. He lay there, his mind racing. What happened to the Colin family? Logically, no other factions should have known about the secret realm entrance. If they had, the Colin family would have collapsed ages ago. He could not be targeted without cause. He needed to identify the mastermind to prepare a proper response. For now, exhaustion claimed him, and he pushed all other thoughts aside. 3 days and 3 nights passed. Under the protection of Ace and the others, Levi enjoyed a deep sleep, replenishing his energy and draining several potions. His wounds had knitted together long ago, leaving him entirely whole. This was the true power of the legendary physique. As long as the injury was not fatal, he recovered in no time. Levi remained within the temporary shelter and unpacked the contents of the 3 storage bags to inspect the spoils of war. He hoped to uncover clues regarding the mastermind. Joy surged through him as he tallied the haul. The 3 wizards possessed nearly 20,000 ether stones between them. The second circle wizard alone carried 15,000. Levi stored the wealth away in silence. After expending so much of his reserves in Lion King City and the Colin family, his balance had climbed back up to 30,000. The sensation of possessing more wealth than he could possibly spend brought a genuine sense of satisfaction. Pharmacy was merely a hobby, he mused. If he truly wanted to amass a fortune, he needed to hunt dark wizards. Beyond the ether stones, he discovered a manual for a meditation art of the burning faction that he had never seen before. It was titled The Black Sun Meditation Art. A realization struck Levi as he stared at the scroll. Why did this feel related to the Black Sun Steeple, or Black Sun Atom? Most wizards of the burning faction practiced the sun meditation art. It was easy to acquire the subsequent chapters for that technique. The sun meditation art was divided into 11 chapters, corresponding to the apprentice stage, the first circle through the 9th circle, and the legendary chapter. As long as one had the coin, one could purchase these materials from the burning faction. Furthermore, the sun meditation art had been tested and proven to reach the legendary realm. After all, the blazing sun god wizard Edmund practiced it. Levi had never heard of the black sun meditation art before. In any case, he had no desire to learn it. The sun breathing technique was sufficient. Levi tucked the black sun meditation art away. This manual also contained corresponding spells. For instance, the second ring spells used by the boss of the Black Flames, such as the Black Flame Spear, were undeniably powerful. One had to cultivate the Black Sun meditation art to master those specific spells. However, Levi had already resolved to cultivate the fireball technique to the absolute limit. He possessed no interest in learning other spells. He certainly did not want to cultivate a meditation art that was potentially linked to a notorious dark wizard just to unlock a few unorthodox abilities. Levi also uncovered 3 wizard tools. The 2 first circle wizards each carried a 1-ring wizard tool. Levi held no interest in these minor items, so he stored them away to sell on the black market at a later date. The only item that stirred a flicker of excitement was the black, sword-shaped wizard tool found on the body of the second circle wizard. The spell runes etched into the metal were dense and profound. The purpose of the tool eluded Levi, and he had no idea how to wield it. He resolved to find a specialized wizard tool appraiser in the future to determine how to use the device. Finally, in addition to a vast pile of raw materials, Levi found something familiar. The key to the secret realm. A transparent crystal ball rested in his hand, though the white tornado inside had vanished. This signified that the entrance to the secret realm had closed. It seemed that the key required no incantation. He would store it away and study it at his leisure. If the secret realm opened only once every 200 years, the key would hold little practical use, but it remained an interesting memento. The realization struck Levi that Yuko and Linda had almost certainly perished at the hands of these unknown dark wizards. He would need to ask Dinos if he possessed any information regarding the Black Sun Flame. Levi concluded that he had gained a great deal from his trip to the secret realm. The value of the 7 days' soul returning grass was immeasurable. He had spent 8,000 ether stones for the ticket, yet his returns included at least 30,000 ether stones worth of potion materials. Chapter 470. The spoils of war totaled 15,000 ether stones, and a second circle wizard tool, an item of unknown function. Even the most modest second circle wizard tool held a value of at least 5,000 ether stones. Miscellaneous items added significant worth to the haul. The head of the black-robed wizard, suspected to be a dark wizard, also sat in his possession. Levi opted against collecting the bounty for the moment. As a first circle wizard, the ability to defeat a second circle adversary invited unwanted scrutiny. Others might covet his secrets. The situation remained unclear, and Levi avoided exposure. He kept the head stowed away. He concluded that he had secured a massive profit. He wondered about the fate of the giant ape. He hoped it survived. Once he reached the second circle, he would return to the yellow earth continent to subdue it. He pondered the giant ape that resembled Hapes. Perhaps Hapes was a descendant of the giant ape clansman, who had wandered into the human world. Their similarities and frost-type affinity suggested a connection. He would rely on this giant ape to cultivate the giant breathing technique. For safety, Levi remained in the shelter for several days. He waited until the weakened state faded and his strength returned to its peak. He then set a course for the Quicksand Sea. Once he subdued the red sand ape and the crimson fire dragon lizard, he would complete his expedition to the Yellow Earth continent and return to the safety of Blackfire Island. Area 7 possessed too many dangers. A few days later, news spread across the western region. A first circle wizard family, protected by a second circle powerhouse, had fallen to a dark wizard. The Black Sun Flame organization stood at the forefront of the storm once more. When the Star Tower enforcers arrived, burning black flames remained as the only evidence of the conflict. A young first circle enforcer stared at the scene, rage etched on his face. He is too arrogant and lawless. An older second circle enforcer standing beside him puffed on a pipe, coughed, and offered a weary reply. You are still young. You will grow accustomed to such sights in time. The two served as enforcers sent to investigate the matter. The elder functioned as the teacher, while the younger served as his disciple. The young enforcer gritted his teeth. This is the 8th time the Black Sun Flame has committed a crime in the past 10 years. The situation worsens every day. I believe we must invite the high-level enforcers to investigate and bring these villains to justice. The older wizard sighed, shaking his head. Do you have any idea how busy a high-level enforcer remains? You intend to alarm him with a minor matter in the outer ring? The young wizard lowered his head, discouraged. Does no one intend to take care of it? The elder exhaled a cloud of smoke. Be content. Before the Panplane Wizard Council established order, do you know how chaotic the wizard world remained? It is much better now. Humans are selfish by nature, and many wizards are merely evil thugs. You have just joined the army. Wait until you see more of the world in the future. Does this Black Sun Flame organization really lack any allies to roam free in the Yellow Earth continent for so long? The older wizard chuckled. I have caught small shrimps and big fish. However, larger fish hide behind the big ones. When the fish grows to a certain size, the magic net will no longer suffice. The young man looked up, suspicion crossing his face. Is the Alhid family behind this? The older wizard waved a hand. What? I never said that. Do not make wild guesses. Report the case here in a few days and see if you can invite the higher UPS. Meanwhile, in Skyfire City, within the Alhid family estate, the wizard tower of the Flame Prince loomed. Lehman stood with a gloomy face. Flames burned in his eyes, and golden tongues of fire rose in the void. Between his brows, the phantom of a flaming demon with wings on its back flickered into existence. Lelin is dead. Lehman held Lelin's soul jade. The moment Lelin died, the connection severed. Lehman sensed it instantly. However, he hesitated to act. He feared that his enemies or enforcers might use the death of his brother as bait to lure him into a trap. The Colin family was already destroyed. It is impossible to kill Lelin. Only 3 possibilities exist for his death. Either he died among the second circle creatures in the secret realm, he died at the hands of the Star Tower enforcers, or, in a highly unlikely scenario, he died at the hands of Levi. Lehman clenched his fists. Just you wait. I will investigate this matter thoroughly. I do not care about other places. I will not let the person who dared to kill my younger brother on the Yellow Earth continent escape. Lelin was not the only black glove under his command, but he was his younger brother, and his strength was formidable. Lehman preferred using him above all others. Lelin had never failed a mission, which was why Lehman entrusted this task to him. He never expected this mission to cost Lelin his life. Quicksand Sea. Levi, the culprit who had killed Lelin, hovered in the air above the desert. Relying on his top-notch vision and perception, he located a small red sand ape tribe. 5 red sand apes lived in this group, including 4 adults and 1 juvenile. Every red sand ape tribe followed a leader, who possessed the most strength. Levi scanned them, a hint of disappointment crossing his face. No mutant appeared among them, as he had hoped. I will simply grab the strongest one to contract. He swooped down, accelerated, and landed in the center of the tribe. The earth trembled as dust billowed into the air. The members of the Red Sand Ape tribe had been lazily catching lice for their companions. As the dust settled, they realized their leader in the middle had vanished. High in the sky, Levi held the leader of the Red Sand Apes. The creature had fainted from the force of his kick. Levi flew away with a relaxed expression. Chapter 471. His current strength barely allowed him to kill a second circle transcendent creature, so these first circle creatures posed a smaller threat. The Red Sand Ape stood small, measuring roughly 4 meters tall. It towered slightly over the great Ice Ape King, but against the giant ape from the secret realm, it appeared as nothing more than a tiny dot. Levi estimated the giant ape from the secret realm possessed the strength of a senior second circle wizard. He found a deserted place. Levi used the chains prepared earlier to tie up the red sand ape leader. While the beast remained unconscious, Levi cast the nature's secret language. His current realm made forming a contract with the leader simple. A green leaf pattern appeared on the forehead of the red sand ape leader. Levi watched the mark fade, confirming the spell succeeded. The red sand ape leader blinked, confusion clouding its eyes upon waking. It had been basking in the sun, humming songs at home, and enjoying the service of the female apes. Now, a massive object had fallen from the sky and knocked it unconscious. The power of the contract from nature's secret language bound its life to the man standing before it. "I will call you Rhett from now on," Levi said with a smile. The ape barked a soft, mournful sound of agreement. The red sand ape possessed high intelligence and learned with ease. This marked the first time Levi had used nature's secret language. A tight connection formed between him and the red sand ape. Through this bond, he could order the creature to perform tasks. He felt, however, that the connection remained loose, as if he needed to maintain it through frequent interaction. Nature's secret language functioned differently than his blood contract. The blood contract demanded total slavery and loyalty. This bond with the red sand ape required constant interaction to build affinity, a task that would consume significant energy. This necessity explained why the wizards of the school of spiritualism chose a single life spirit beast to nurture and train. After subduing the red sand ape, Levi returned to the Black Flame Mountain Range. The territory belonged to the Alhid family, so Levi searched with extreme caution. He could not afford a single mistake. The Crimson Fire Dragon lizard moved unpredictably. Levi found nothing during the first week. Patience remained his only option. He could not leave the Yellow Earth continent without his prize. He waited another month. Finally, he discovered a Crimson Fire Dragon lizard. Levi lunged, beating the beast until it could no longer defend itself. After binding the lizard, he fled the Black Flame Mountain Range under the cover of night. The Crimson Fire Dragon lizard measured 7 to 8 meters long. Its body emitted a scorching aura, and it exhaled red flames. While less powerful than Levi's red lotus breath, the fire remained extraordinary. The beast exceeded the size limits of the bug house. Levi and the red sand ape had to carry the creature themselves. After half a month, they reached the seaside. Neither the Crimson Fire Dragon lizard nor the red sand ape could swim, and the bug house remained too small. The Leviathan could not carry all these large creatures. Levi contacted Dinos. Dinos would leave for Area 9 in a few days. Levi secured a ride. 3 days later, the moon ship set sail from Lion King City toward Area 9. Inside the cabin, the red sand ape and Ace guarded the restless Crimson Fire Dragon lizard. A metal cage covered the lizard's mouth. The creature's breath could destroy the ship, a cost Levi could not afford. Dinos stared at the magical animals in disbelief. "You are not a transcendent animal researcher, are you, Sir Levi?" Dinos asked. Levi nodded. "Something like that. I enjoy studying transcendent creatures." Dinos offered genuine praise. "Amazing. I know the strength of the Crimson Fire Dragon lizard. You captured it alive with such ease. I am impressed." Levi kept his true strength hidden, but Dinos understood that the man before him remained terrifying and unfathomable. Levi had killed a senior first circle dark wizard in the blink of an eye. This strength approached the second circle. Levi was not much older than him. Dinos, the so-called genius of the 3 aristocratic families, realized he had truly lived a mediocre life. "By the way, Dinos, have you heard of the Black Sun Flames?" Levi asked. Dinos stiffened. "Why do you ask? Did you meet the people from the Black Sun Flames?" Dinos remembered that the Black Sun Flames had destroyed the Colin family a few days prior. A few months ago, Levi had also investigated the Colin family. Dinos did not know the reason for Levi's inquiry. He wondered if Levi had become involved in the matter. Still, Dinos believed Levi held no connection to the Black Sun Flames. Levi shook his head. "No, I did not. I just happened to hear someone mention them in a tavern a few days ago." "That is good," Dinos said. "This organization is one of the famous dark wizard organizations in the Yellow Earth continent. They are often active in the western region. Although I suspect this organization has ties to the Alhid family, I do not dare to say anything without evidence." Chapter 472. Levi nodded. The Jostar family and the Alhid family maintained a hostile relationship, so Dinos' words carried an inevitable, subjective weight. Dinos looked at Levi, his expression somber. "Oh right, a few days ago, the Colin family that you investigated was destroyed. The murderer is the Black Sun Flame that you just asked about." Levi felt his heart skip a beat. This outcome exceeded his expectations. The arrival of dark wizards in the secret realm seemed premeditated rather than coincidental. "This organization is arrogant," Levi said. Slaughtering a family in broad daylight was no small matter. "Yes, dark wizard organizations that survive in the wizard world all have powerful backers," Dinos said. Levi gazed at the sea, his voice calm. "If you learn more about the Black Sun Flames, you must tell me in the future. After all, the Colin family is the family of the Tower Master's wife." Dinos nodded. "Understood." Levi knew the Black Sun Flames might relate to the Alhid family, but he chose not to press for more information. He remembered that the Tower Master's wife, Stella, had refused to marry the current family head of Alhid, Lehman. If that was the case, a genuine enmity existed between the Alhid family and the Grey Tower. Levi, a wizard of the Grey Tower, had visited the Colin family, perhaps prompting spies of the Alhid family to submit a report. These remained merely guesses. The real situation might differ from his imagination. At the time, the situation had been too urgent to capture any of them alive for questioning. Furthermore, the Alhid family used ruthless methods, and these people likely would not have spoken the truth. Forget it, I probably will not go to the Yellow Earth continent before I reach the second ring anyway. No matter how powerful the family is, they will not be able to reach Area 9. Along the way, Levi and Dinos often chatted on the deck when they were not cultivating. Levi learned a great deal about the grudges and disputes plaguing the three major families on the Yellow Earth continent. All in all, the Jostar family and the Alhid family were like fire and water. If not for the restrictions of the law, they might have already started a third circle wizard war. On the surface, the two families remained civil, but the conflict in the dark was severe. As for the Wham family, the Storm faction remained relatively neutral, though they still clashed with the two major families from time to time. In short, the Yellow Earth continent existed in a three-legged stalemate where each side restricted the other. The smaller forces depended on these three magnates to varying degrees. After I find out who harmed me, I will settle this score one day, Levi muttered. Along the way, Dinos remained in a good mood. He felt the communication with Levi over these days provided more value than a month of training. Therefore, to become a legend as soon as possible, Dinos determined to stay in Area 9 for a while longer. That way, he could spend more time with Mr. Levi and learn more about the experience and techniques of breaking through to a legendary knight. Levi had already found a more suitable teacher for Dinos. That person was Emperor Mew. Emperor Mew was impoverished, and his talent as a wizard remained average. After many years, he had barely stepped into the realm of a high-level apprentice wizard. Compared to Levi, he was far inferior. In order to save up for the travel expenses and tuition fees for the Life School of Thought, Emperor Mew worked himself to the bone every day. Therefore, Levi determined to help his guild member by giving Dinos, the wealthy landlord's son, to Emperor Mew to serve as his tutor. Emperor Mew had become a legendary knight through his own efforts, so he held more authority than Levi regarding the path to the legendary level. With Emperor Mew teaching Dinos, the outcome would likely prove positive. Also, he could let Dinos participate in the establishment of the Twilight Nights in the month of flowers every year so that the young man could experience the battle of a legendary knight. Levi did not want to take in any disciples, but he wanted to turn Dinos into a real legendary knight. That way, his Twilight Knights would gain new blood and indirectly secure the Jostar family as their backer. It was the year 1034 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, month of harvest. In the human world, the night air hung heavy with moonlight. The streets of Flower City were quiet and peaceful. A patrolling soldier dozed off against the city wall. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed past. A pair of bat wings appeared to cover the moon. A thin humanoid monster that stood about 10 feet tall descended from the sky. It gently crushed the head of the patrolling soldier, before pouring the remains of the soldier into its deformed mouth. It is really not bad. The juice is really delicious. The human-shaped monster spoke in broken, substandard human language. Its speech became more fluent as its figure shifted. In the end, it turned into a thin, tall young noble who was about to leave. So it is you, dog, who is causing trouble. Unknowingly, Andrew had appeared in the alley. His face darkened and his body trembled, but he stood his ground. Recently, dozens of murder cases had plagued Flower City. The heads of the dead were all pulled out with cruelty. As a secondary Blood Clan member, Andrew knew that the Blood Clan had perpetrated these crimes. During this period of high-intensity patrol, he had finally found the culprit. It was a primary Blood Clan member. Chapter 473. The original vampire sneered and mocked Andrew. He told him he was too weak and should not meddle in other people's business. Andrew ignored the taunt. He informed the vampire that he would not care if the vampire destroyed the city, but the vampire had chosen the wrong place to commit crimes. Andrew's body began to shift and grow. In the blink of an eye, he revealed his true Blood Clan form. Andrew roared and rushed forward. He launched a sudden attack. The primary Blood Clan member did not expect such aggression, and Andrew successfully pressed him against the city wall. The original Blood Clan member let out a mocking laugh. He called Andrew interesting and accused him of overestimating himself. The vampire claimed Andrew dared to attack him, Anti-Lizenba. When Andrew received the surname Lizenba, his expression shifted instinctively. He ignored the name and commanded him to die again. Two terrifying Blood Clan monsters fought on the edge of the city wall. Andrew was not a match for the powerful original Blood Clan member. Beyond the initial sneak attack, Andrew was crushed by this native Blood Clan member called Anti in terms of speed, strength, and other attributes. A loud crash echoed as Andrew slammed through the city wall. He flew 100 meters away. On the ground, Andrew lay badly mutilated. His body began to recover rapidly. The Blood Clan member in the air would not give Andrew the chance to heal. His sharp claws extended like the claws of a wolf. Blood-colored flames emerged from his fingertips, making his movements look strange and bewitching. He intended to crush Andrew's bones and burn him to ashes, rendering him unable to revive. A secondary Blood Clan member was dead once killed. Suddenly, a flash of cold light tore through the air. The Wolverine claw shattered under the impact. A blood-red greatsword stood between Andrew and the Blood Clan member. Anderson smiled from behind the blade. He told Andrew that his cultivation level was not high enough, and advised him not to try to stand out in the future. Anderson reminded him that his master did not want him dead. Andrew turned around and hid behind Anderson, calling him Elder. The primary Blood Clan member recognized the Blood Knight. He called him Brad and complained about his presence. Brad told Auntie not to go too far with the Demonic Feast Alliance. He warned that the Luzenbach clan and the Felma City clan had gone overboard recently, which brought trouble to Blood Clan members who preferred seclusion. He explained that the Church of the Seven Nations had dispatched true powerhouses to hunt down Blood Clan members everywhere. Brad questioned whether Auntie's unbridled behavior was worth involving Blood Clan members who only wanted a peaceful life. Auntie scoffed. He called the Blood Knight a second-class inferior race who was not even a real Blood Clan member. He asked what right Brad had to speak to a noble Blood Clan member like him. Auntie declared that natural selection, survival of the fittest, and respect for the strong were the iron laws of the transcendent world. He saw nothing wrong with eating weak humans as food. He asked if Brad really thought a legendary knight could frighten him. Auntie licked his bloody tongue and claimed it was time to teach Brad a lesson before charging at the Blood Knight. Metal clashed against bone as the blood-red sword hit the Wolverine claw. The sound echoed in the dark night. The Blood Knight did not use his blood race abilities. He restrained himself. After exchanging letters with Levi, the Blood Knight's understanding of legendary knights had deepened. He had cultivated the Blood Beast breathing technique, so his strength had improved. The Blood Knight stood his ground against the primary Blood Clan member, and the battle reached a stalemate. Auntie realized he could not take down the Blood Knight quickly. His body turned red as his aura surged with the Blood Feast ability. The Blood Knight's expression shifted. He revealed his Blood Clan true form. Andrew joined the fight to help. Even with the power of the Blood Feast, Auntie was shocked to discover that he could not defeat these two lowly inferior Blood Clan members. The Blood Knight was more terrifying than before. Auntie wondered when legendary knights had become so powerful. He did not want to continue fighting, as a wise man knows when to retreat. Auntie turned into a blood-red hurricane, bounced away from the two opponents, and bolted toward the dense forest. A loud crash shook the earth. Trees snapped and fell, and dust filled the air, startling the sleeping birds. Auntie let out a miserable cry from within the dense forest. The Blood Knight smiled as if he had expected the outcome. He led Andrew into the hall. In an open space within the dense forest, a knight sat atop a handsome black-scaled warhorse. He wore black armor, a black cloak, and a ghost mask. Behind this mysterious knight, a 5-meter-tall minotaur evil spirit with wings on its back and 2 horns on its head panted heavily. The primary Blood Clan member lay firmly held down by the minotaur evil spirit's large hand, unable to move. The evil spirit exerted its strength. The primary Blood Clan member was torn apart. Violent black gas swept out and poured down. In an instant, the vampire turned into a blood mist. A faint blood light shot into the sky and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 474. The mysterious knight sighed, his posture slumping. As expected, with the blood river will around, these primary blood breeds really cannot be killed. He ignored the dumbstruck Andrew and addressed the veteran fighter. Long time no see, Blood Knight Brad. The Blood Knight laughed, clapping a hand on his shoulder. Black Knight Blake, you are finally here. Oh right, just call me Anderson from now on. Let bygones be bygones. In the name of the Vice Commander of the Twilight Knights, I represent the guild leader, Sir Levi, to welcome the Black Knight into our Twilight Knights. From now on, we are a family. At the same time, in the Azure Realm, Levi had already returned to Blackfire Island. Dinos went to complete his trade mission first before meeting up with Levi at the Grey Tower. After returning to the island, Levi found a cave and placed the Vice Commander inside. He tied it to a huge pillar with an iron chain. Ace, Rhett, you two keep an eye on this guy. Taming the Crimson Fire Dragon Lizard was not a task that could be completed in a day or two. Levi needed time to slowly endure the process. After settling down these extraordinary creatures, Levi checked his Blackfire Island and found that it remained unchanged from before he left. Blackfire Island sat in peaceful silence. No intruders had breached the perimeter during his absence. This realization made Levi heave a sigh of relief. If a stranger appeared in his home every time he returned, the situation would be intolerable. During this trip to the Yellow Earth continent, Levi solved the problem of the secret medicine for the Saint 8 breathing technique and the Red Lotus breathing technique. Now, he could start to concoct the secret medicine. However, now was not the time. After Levi confirmed that no thieves had raided his house, he took the Leviathan and rushed to the Grey Tower. He had to hurry up and give the 7 days soul returning grass to the Tower Master, hoping he had not delayed his pressing matters. Inside the tower, Levi found Ms. Marlene standing at the front of the classroom, preparing to begin her lesson. You are back. Did it go well? Marlene asked with a smile. Everything is going well, teacher. Is the Tower Master here? He has not come back yet. Marlene stopped in her tracks and gestured for Levi to follow her to her room. You know that the Tower Master went to hell, right? Yes, teacher. What is wrong? The Tower Master has been in hell for 3 months and has yet to come out, Marlene said, her expression solemn. Hell is very big. Perhaps he was delayed on the way, Levi suggested. I hope so, Marlene sighed. Did you succeed in your mission? Levi nodded. Up until now, only he and Marlene knew what the Tower Master was doing. The other wizards remained unaware of the situation. It is a success. This is the 7 days soul returning grass. I will have to trouble you to pass it to the Tower Master when he returns. Levi solemnly took out a small box and handed it to Marlene. All right, we do not know how to enter hell, and our strength is not enough. We cannot help the Tower Master. Sigh. Marlene took the box, her shoulders sagging. It is okay, teacher. I believe in the Tower Master. I believe that Stella will be resurrected, Levi said with a warm smile. A vision flashed in his mind of two spherical alchemical creatures holding hands, a scene that felt undeniably strange. Marlene carefully put away the 7 days soul returning grass and placed it in the safest place within her room. While he was in the tower, Levi made up for the lessons he had missed in the past few days. He also went to Manhua to collect some materials. His main goals in the short term involved leveling up the golden snake breathing technique to level 12 and refining a corpse digger. No matter which of these two succeeded, the achievement would bring about a huge increase in his strength. Apart from that, Levi found the package that Andrew had mailed to him in the mail room. He opened it to reveal a few breathing techniques and a letter written by Anderson. Levi read the contents and beamed. As expected of the Blood Knight, only an old antique like him could dig out those legendary knights hidden in the human world. Black Knight Blake, another famous legendary knight, has joined the Dusk Knights. Levi felt a thrill of excitement. He had already recruited 2 of the 7 glittering legends whom he had once admired. Apart from the Snowflake Knight and the Thousand-Faced Knight, Levi also knew the whereabouts of the other legendary knights. So, legendary knights might not be dead. They might just be living in seclusion, faking their death, or even entering the wizard world. This is also to avoid conflict with the church. Even old Anderson held Knight Blake's character in high regard, which made Levi feel more at ease. When Dinos becomes a legend and inherits the title of Lionheart Knight, there will be 5 legends. Levi happily put away the letter and returned to Blackfire Island with satisfaction. In the following days, he began to prepare the Saint Ape potion and the Red Lotus potion. After 3 months of experimentation, he successfully refined both potions. After consuming the Saint Ape potion, Levi managed to cultivate the Saint Ape breathing technique to level 6 in just a month. It was not difficult for Levi to cultivate breathing techniques before level 11. Now that he had high-grade potions, his cultivation speed surged like a rocket. As for the Red Lotus breathing technique, after consuming the Transcendent Grade Red Lotus potion, it had also stepped onto the fast track of cultivation and advanced relatively quickly towards level 12. At the same time, Levi also began to make preparations for refining the corpse digger. In his spare time, he visited all the markets near Area 9 and finally collected all the materials. The 3 arts of array, weapon making, and pharmacy skills also progressed through his dedicated practice. After being busy for so long, Levi did not need to run around for a while. His daily life returned to that simple and plain cultivation routine. During the month of winter, Levi returned to the Grey Tower for class. On the 7th floor of the White Tower, he saw the heavily injured Tower Master. A lot of his alchemy armor and nails had fallen off, and many parts were directly exposed. The only human-like face on him looked exhausted, and the few white hairs on his body had all fallen off. Tower Master, did you succeed? Levi asked, his emotions complicated. The Tower Master did not say a word. Levi felt his heart skip a beat. Had he failed to find the Nirvana Soul beckoning wood? Ha 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 ha. I succeeded. The Tower Master suddenly could not hold back his laughter. He laughed until his stomach hurt and the parts inside scattered all over the ground. I am really happy, really. Stella can be resurrected soon. The Tower Master seemed to be a little delirious. He kissed the sealed amber that contained a piece of Stella's brain. The brain matter trembled slightly, as if it had sensed the Tower Master's call. Thank you, Levi. I will be going into seclusion for a long time. My 100 years of hard work will be put into seclusion this time. No matter what the final result is, thank you for your help. When Levi heard this, his expression relaxed. At this time, the Tower Master still did not forget to tease him. This was not fun at all. Levi bid farewell to the Tower Master and told him to focus on resurrecting his lover. He then returned to Blackfire Island. He also wanted to go into seclusion. This time, the golden snake would not stop until it reached level 12. Chapter 475. After preparing everything to resurrect his wife, the Tower Master immediately set off for the Star Sea. He wanted to find his teacher, Salmon. Salmon was now a 4th circle wizard. He was also a famous figure in the Star Sea area. The Tower Master possessed enough power to handle many things, but not enough to summon souls. He still needed Salmon's help. Salmon had always treated the Tower Master as his godson, and since the Tower Master was his successor, he naturally would not refuse this favor. On Blackfire Island, after Levi heard that the Tower Master had left Area 9, he silently prayed for the Tower Master's success. This level of matter was not something that a mere 1st circle wizard like him could participate in. The Tower Master felt extremely grateful that Levi had successfully obtained the 7 days soul returning grass that he needed. The Tower Master wanted to give Levi a reward of 10,000 ether stones, but Levi did not want to accept it. The Tower Master would definitely need a lot of money to revive Stella. Levi did not lack money for the time being. He only lacked time, so it was useless to ask for it. Moreover, the Tower Master himself was not the leader of a rich 3-ringed organization, like the 3 aristocratic families. He had only advanced to the 3rd circle not long ago, so he had little in the way of savings. In fact, the Tower Master did not have much personal wealth. A large portion of his money was spent on the development and construction of the Grey Tower, alongside the refinement of his alchemical body. Marlene and Levi both knew this. However, since the Tower Master insisted on giving it to him, Levi had no choice but to accept it reluctantly. In the following days, Levi's life returned to normal. He taught in the Grey Tower and cultivated on the Blackfire Island. As for Dinos, Levi had successfully handed him over to Emperor Mew. After discovering the new legendary knight, Emperor Mew, Dinos opened the door to a new world. He had always thought that there were no more legendary knights in the wizard world. After getting to know Levi, he realized that he had been too narrow-minded. He had never stepped into the circle of legendary knights, so he could not come into contact with them. However, not only did Levi know many legendary knights, but he was also the leader of a legendary knight organization. This made Dinos admire Levi even more. The Twilight Knights sounded like an awesome organization. Since the entry requirement for the Twilight Knights was to be a legendary knight, Dinos could not join them for the time being. He could only be a trainee. If Dinos became a legendary knight one day, he would be able to join it. After getting his father's permission, Dinos became Emperor Mew's disciple. Emperor Mew had picked up a rich disciple like Dinos for free, and both parties were happy. It was a win-win situation. After solving Dinos' problem, Levi focused on his own matters. Apart from his cultivation, Levi began to refine corpse diggers. Although the corpse digger was a first circle alchemy blueprint, it presented a monumental challenge. It took Levi half a year to study the blueprints and the necessary alchemical theories. During this period, he did not start the refinement of the corpse digger, but kept preparing. One after another, he made the parts. For the alchemy deck of the corpse digger, as well as the giant shield and giant axe used by the corpse digger, Levi used as much mithril as possible. However, the amount of mithril and obsidian gold was limited, so in the end, he still used brass as the main material. In the end, the ratio of brass, mithril, and bright gold was about 100 to 10 to 1. The body of the corpse digger was too big. Even with such a ratio, the cost price of these alchemical metals alone cost Levi almost 8,000 taels. As for the corpse digger's alchemical energy drive device, Levi had also refined it according to the strongest configuration under the first ring system, which was another 3,000 ether stones. In addition to other scattered expenses, after calculating, Levi realized that the raw material cost of the corpse digger was as high as 20,000 ether stones. Buying a small wizard ship was only 30,000 ether stones. However, considering how powerful the corpse digger was, Levi gritted his teeth and continued. In fact, even if an alchemical creature like the corpse digger could not keep up with its realm in the later stages, those metal materials could still be melted again. They would not be wasted. Levi had earned quite a bit in the Yellow Earth continent some time ago, which was enough for him to finish refining the corpse digger. He even asked a broker to sell all kinds of materials and magic tools that he could not use in the black market. In the end, he got more than 10,000 ether stones. As for the herbs he obtained from the secret realm, Levi kept them for himself to use in refining potions in the future. After half a year of preparation work, Levi would spend some time every day refining corpse diggers. Refining a corpse digger was a huge project that usually required the cooperation of several first circle alchemy wizards. Levi had to do it all by himself, so he had to take it step by step. This was bound to be a protracted battle. In the process of refining, Levi's alchemy skills broke through to level 4, reaching the level of a first circle alchemy wizard. He estimated that as long as he could complete the refinement of this corpse digger on his own, he could directly advance to a first circle senior alchemy wizard, because the amount of work involved was too huge, including almost all the processes needed for the first circle alchemy stage. In Blackfire Cave, Levi's alchemy room, as time passed, the skeleton of an alchemical creature gradually formed. It was a 5-meter tall metal monster. Levi busied himself, tapping and drumming, occasionally chanting incantations, and occasionally inscribing alchemy runes with his spiritual force. Chapter 476. The days remained fulfilling. In a separate cavern, the crimson fire dragon lizard remained chained beneath a massive pillar, consumed by boredom. The creature had long since surrendered its ambition. Levi named the beast Drogon. Drogon struggled to comprehend how he had survived the past year. The damnable human would arrive periodically to collect blood and provide a meager meal. Initially, the dragon refused the offerings, intent on starving to death. Yet, every time the kidnapper approached, a strange sense of shame and intimacy clashed with the creature's innate hatred. Unconsciously, the dragon would eat with relish. This constituted blatant abuse. Levi's nature's heart and dragon affinity abilities had begun to take hold. Without the lizard's knowledge, its favorability toward Levi grew. He required more time to tame this giant beast completely. The current Blackfire Island resembled a menagerie of Area 9. A dragon king whale, red sand ape, crimson fire dragon lizard, fire elemental spirit, poison firebone snake, black flame demonic bird, saint scorpion, and red-faced sea ghost spider occupied the grounds. As Levi tamed more transcendent creatures, any enemy foolish enough to invade Blackfire Island would soon learn the consequences of their arrogance. It was the year 1036 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, in the month of grass. Levi had successfully refined the main body of the corpse digger, and the war machine entered its final stage of assembly and refinement. Levi's furnace meditation technique had reached level 5, marking his rank as a senior first circle wizard. His alchemy skills had improved significantly. Levi checked his status. His alchemy reached level 4, with 13,678 out of 20,000 experience points. Level 5 should represent the alchemy standard of a second-ring alchemy wizard. He stood very close to level 5 now. Although both practitioners possessed level 4 alchemy skills, a massive gap existed between someone with a single proficiency point and someone with over 13,000. Still, this difference had not yet reached the qualitative leap of level 5. Levi ceased his meditation and focused on the final sprint. He strove for success on the first attempt. Although he could refine the machine again if he failed, doing so would waste precious time. The early preparation constituted the most exhausting part of refining the corpse digger. He could not permit a single mistake in the creation of the components or the inscription of the runes. He felt the final installation and refinement posed less of a challenge. 1 month later, he finished installing the corpse digger. Standing before Levi, the 5-meter-tall mechanical alchemy creature appeared like a hunched hedgehog. Its entire body bristled with sharp barbs, each engraved with runes. At the crown of its head sat a circle of attack-type alchemy called Lesser Lightning Splash. Through these barbs, it could release electric currents into the surroundings, paralyzing and stunning enemies. Weak foes would suffer electrocution. The front of the monster composed the hardest part of its body, reinforced by a level 1 alchemy enchantment called Elementary Magnetic Field. This spell generated a magical magnetic force, creating a protective barrier that repelled attacks. Most first circle offensive spells could be blocked, along with physical strikes. Furthermore, the steel body of the corpse digger had been tempered and solidified by Levi's runes. It carried a massive shield, also fortified with protective spells. He felt no concern regarding the defensive capabilities of this machine. Except for second circle wizards, first circle practitioners could not break through the defense in a short period. Once the corpse digger closed the distance, the enemy faced an inevitable end. The magnetic force field possessed another function. Levi could operate this alchemy method in reverse. The repulsive force transformed into a powerful suction force. The suction range of the low-level magnetic force field spanned 50 meters. If an enemy remained within 50 meters of the corpse digger, the machine could pull the target toward its body and exploit its close combat advantage. The giant axe in the hands of the corpse digger consisted of luminant gold and mithril. Several zero-circle alchemy spells remained fixed upon it, such as Swirling Swallow Return and Precise Throw. This allowed the corpse digger to form effective long-range damage by throwing the giant axe. Furthermore, the giant axe could return to the hand, functioning similarly to the flying sword of another world. This massive construct, which Levi had spent nearly 2 years creating, featured many other functions. It could fight in all terrains. A floating spell installed beneath its feet allowed it to move quickly and leap through the air in short bursts. It could even dive into the deep sea to engage in underwater combat. Furthermore, Levi had installed a ring of alchemy cannons on the head and chest of the machine. Cannons and mechas represented the true passion of men. Now, it was time to test the results. Levi inhaled deeply. Even with his disciplined state of mind, nerves frayed, he loaded the corpse digger with ether stones. He intended to test the activation first, and then allow Ace to attempt an integration. And moke. A crimson light suddenly ignited within the dark eye sockets of the corpse digger. The sound of an engine starting echoed throughout the cave abode. The magic runes on the body of the machine illuminated one by one. The earth began to tremble slightly, as if a terrifying demon king prepared to emerge. The head of the corpse digger turned mechanically and fixed its gaze directly upon Levi. Chapter 477. Levi gazed into the violent eyes of the corpse digger and smiled. He clapped his hands, satisfied with the result. I succeeded. The corpse digger began to move. At first, the motions were unpracticed, but they quickly turned skilled. The control core of the corpse digger held basic combat techniques recorded through memory spells. These routines were not ornate. They possessed only one function: killing. For wizards who struggled with close combat, these basic techniques sufficed. Any other flourish would have been superfluous. Levi led the corpse digger out of the cave. The bone snake and the red sand ape trembled as they stared at the 5-meter-tall, ferocious metal monster. Their biological instincts warned them of the terrifying power radiating from the construct. It was an aura capable of crushing everything. Levi laughed, gesturing toward the machine. Do you want to try out your new friend? The bone snake and the red sand ape shook their heads like rattles, fleeing one after another to find the crimson fire dragon lizard. Even the strongest of them, Ace, left silently after a brief hesitation. Levi jumped into the sea with the corpse digger. He needed to test its aquatic combat capabilities. Most of the endless sea consisted of water. The corpse digger swam quickly as soon as it hit the water. Levi followed behind at a leisurely pace. At the same time, he monitored the consumption of the ether stones. 2 hours later, the machine had consumed 5 ether stones. Although the ether stone consumption rate is higher than that of the swordsman mantis, it remains acceptable for a machine of this size. The normal form drains very little energy. Levi mused, noting they had drifted far from Blackfire Island. Unknowingly, they entered a dangerous stretch of sea. Suddenly, a massive 2-headed shark emerged from the deep. The creature measured 10 meters in length. Although shorter than the Leviathan, this first circle sea beast possessed immense strength. It descended from the ancient overlord Megalodon, an ancestor comparable to a second circle entity. Its power rivaled a senior first circle wizard. Levi gave no command. The corpse digger crashed into the 2-headed shark. A boom thundered through the water, followed by a violent vibration. Levi watched from a distance. The 2-headed shark shook its heads. Clearly, the collision had not gone well. Both heads spat out a white frost spell, seeking to freeze the corpse digger. The corpse digger did not dodge. It activated and reversed its magnetic field. A powerful suction force surged outward. Caught off guard, the shark was dragged directly in front of the machine. The shark attempted to dodge, but blue electric currents erupted from the body of the corpse digger, paralyzing the beast. The corpse digger slammed its giant shield into the shark without hesitation. A dull crash echoed underwater. One of the shark's heads was smashed off. The corpse digger swung its axe, severing the second head. Seemingly dissatisfied, the machine grabbed the shark's body, tore it apart, and nailed the carcass to its back. With the task complete, the machine stopped and remained motionless. Levi had only loaded 100 ether stones. After the battle, the machine had exhausted all its energy. And this was without the alchemy cannons. This machine truly lived up to its reputation as an energy consumer. Unless he faced a second circle enemy, there was no need to deploy it. Levi looked on with satisfaction. The corpse digger is successfully refined. Next, Ace can fuse with it. Ace will be the pilot. Since you are so cruel, I will name you Tyrant. Levi returned to the island with Tyrant and summoned Ace. Ace, fuse with its power core. Then infuse your fire elemental power into it. Bit by bit, Levi instructed. Ace nodded, then entered the body of the machine he secretly feared. Let us begin. Levi watched the Tyrant's heart ignite with raging flames, mirroring his own furnace heart. Immediately, layers of red flame engulfed the Tyrant, lending the machine a mighty appearance. Levi chanted an activation spell. Red flame flickered in the Tyrant's eye sockets. Because Etherstone energy was chaotic and contained all 4 elements, it held no distinct elemental characteristics. However, Ace possessed fire elemental energy. Once he entered, the entire Tyrant transformed into a flame Tyrant. Levi exerted his will. The alchemy cannon on the Tyrant's chest materialized and fired directly at Levi. A pillar of red flame roared forward. Levi layered his black gold scales, bracing for the test. A boom thundered through the air. The terrifying shockwave set Levi flying, landing in the sea hundreds of meters away. Ace hurriedly crawled out of the Tyrant's body, looking dumbfounded. I did not mean to attack you, Master. Levi laughed from the depths of the water. He hauled himself onto Blackfire Island, examining his burnt scales as they faded away. Not bad. It is nearly as strong as the big fireball technique. This power level suffices for a first circle alchemical creature. Regardless, the Tyrant focuses on melee physical attacks. These long-range blasts are merely icing on the cake. When I have time to study rune language, I will upgrade the Tyrant. It will likely reach the strength of a second circle entity. Chapter 478. Levi lacked the time to master the rune language. He prioritized his breathing techniques instead. With the Tyrant operational, Levi checked his storage bag. Nearly 20,000 ether stones remained inside. This sum provided enough cushion to cultivate in silence for some time. Before he could retreat into seclusion, a seagull from the Star Tower descended onto the island, dropped a stack of newspapers, and took flight once more. That is strange, Levi muttered. The usual delivery time had not yet arrived. Puzzlement clouded his expression. He lifted the slate and probed the information within using his spiritual force. Emergency notification. The slate flashed. The Dark Wizard army led by the Dark Wizard Emperor Asta, and the Chaos army led by the 4 evil gods under the Lord of Chaos had split into 5 groups. They invaded the 5 most distant plane consortia managed by the Panplane Wizard Council, sparking rebellions in each. The evil forces threatened the realm. The Panplane Wizard Council would not wait for death. The entire wizard world entered a state of war, preparing for a new round of plane expeditions. The Congress decided that 5 legendary wizards would lead the army to launch a new dimensional expedition to quell the rebellion. Due to various constraints, the original expeditionary force fell short. The 5 legendary wizards initiated the first wave of recruitment across the entire territory. 10,000 wizards were required. Every official member of the Panplane Wizard Council was eligible to register. 10 new expeditionary forces would form, tasked with eliminating the 5 federal rebels and invaders. Participants in the expedition would receive a wizard tool matching their level. They would also activate the War Legion merit system. By completing Legion missions, they would earn merit points to exchange for cultivation resources, wizard tools, and knowledge inheritances in their respective Legion stores. Outstanding military achievements would earn a corresponding position in the Wizard Council after the war. Those who declined to participate in the recruitment had to pay military expenses scaled to their realm. We have lived in peace for too long, and the illustrious reputation of the wizard ancestor Soren is fading from memory. If this rebellion is not successfully suppressed, the 50-plane confederation under the Panplane Wizard Council will ignite an even greater uprising. This operation carries the codename, the 5-Scepter Expedition. The Panplane Wizard Council, first-year announcement. Levi struggled to steady his breathing after reading the notice. He had always assumed such massive expeditions existed far from his own life, relegated to the pages of history textbooks. He never expected the era of the Great Expedition to arrive with such sudden, warning-free brutality, catching him completely off guard. A sigh escaped him. That is true hell, he murmured. His membership card emitted a sharp, warning beep. He withdrew the card and watched as text bloomed across its surface. Number 9527, Levi. Please choose between expedition registration or military fee. If you choose to register, proceed to the Star Tower Battle Group Preparing Committee within 1 year. To pay the military fee, you must pay 2,000 ether stones in a single payment, calculated according to your current membership level. According to the Pan-Plane Wizard Congress Military Service Act, everyone holds a responsibility to protect the wizard civilization. Refusing to enlist or pay the fees will result in the most severe punishment. Please make your choice promptly. 2,000 I can afford, Levi reasoned. It will be far harder for those ordinary first circle wizards without any background. His thoughts drifted to Winnie and the others. He wondered if they possessed the capital to pay the military expenses. He felt certain Ms. Marlene would prevent everyone from marching to the battlefield. The Grey Tower possessed only a few official wizards. If they left for the front lines, the tower would struggle to function normally. The consequences of refusal remained dire. Levi did not wish to become a dark wizard, hiding in the shadows simply to save this amount of money. During the early days of the Pan-Plane Wizard Council, the sorcerer civilization lacked its current prosperity. Official sorcerers were rare, and the enemies possessed strength that eclipsed those faced today. Back then, during a large expedition, every wizard save for those required to guard their homes had to join the army. No option existed to pay military fees in lieu of service. The current military service bill felt humane by comparison. Generally, according to the bill authored by the wizard ancestor Soren, the price for refusing military service scaled with the wizard's level. In a civilizational war of this magnitude, intermediate and high-level wizards formed the main force. A low-level wizard like Levi served as cannon fodder, or at best, logistics personnel. Soren anticipated that powerful, but cowardly wizards might leverage their influence to escape the call, hence the rule. Ultimately, the recruitment remained voluntary. The council dangled military merits and cultivation resources to lure wizards into the war. Those who wished to abstain could simply pay. In short, under the management of the Pan-Plane Wizard Council, barring those dark wizards who embraced chaos, no escape from military service existed. I wonder how the Tower Master is doing, Levi mused. Thoughts of the Tower Master, currently attempting to resurrect his lover, occupied his mind. Over the following days, Levi continued his cultivation while monitoring the situation. Levi cared little for other wizard organizations. He only hoped that the wizards of the Grey Tower would avoid the expedition at all costs. Chapter 479. While selfish, Levi harbored no desire to witness those people perish on the battlefield. The wizards consistently emerged as the final victors in previous expeditions, but the price of victory remained steep. Nobody cared if these unknown low-level wizards died. Every expedition spanned anywhere from 3 to 5 years, sometimes stretching to a full 100 years. During this period, countless resources and lives vanished into the maw of war. There were a total of 50 plane consortia of various sizes under the Wizard Council, meaning 50 colonies existed in total. According to the Wizard Geography course, if the entire universe functioned as an unknown and dangerous endless dark land, the so-called dimensions acted as crypts that emitted the light of civilization. The levels and sizes of the crypts varied, and the dimensions were divided into different levels. Around these crypts stood thick crystal walls, protecting the crypts from the unknown darkness of the land of darkness. All kinds of civilizations took root in the crypts. Some of the crypts even held subspace lands, the realm of the non-believers. Outside these planes, 2 special non-material planes detached from the material world existed. One of them, the astral world, consisted of the spiritual power projection of all planes. Only gods and some powerful existences entered that space. The other plane was the underworld. Legend claimed that the souls of all living beings eventually returned there after death. Among the many planes, following a long period of exploration and many colonial expeditions, 50 planes remained under the direct management of the Wizard Council. The Wizard Congress called these 50 planes federal planes. The place that Asta and the 4 evil gods of chaos invaded was one of the larger planes. Little needed to be said about Asta. As a frequent visitor to the Pan-Plane Truth Journal, he reigned as the #1 terrorist in the multidimensional plane. He served as the city lord of Chaos City, styling himself the Dark Wizard Emperor. He acted as the spiritual leader for many dark wizards. He once stood as a legendary wizard of the Dark Realm, the School of Dark Energy, and even the Grand Council chairman. Nobody expected him to fall under the bewitchment of the Lord of Chaos in the astral world, eventually becoming his divine son. Afterward, he left the Wizard Council, seized a few planes, established Chaos City, and spread the faith of the Lord of Chaos. The Master of Chaos possessed another name in the 7 kingdoms, the Lord of the Wilderness, the god that the Wilderness Brotherhood worshipped. Although the Lord of Chaos sat outside the 7 orthodox gods in the plane where the 7 kingdoms continent was located, his influence exceeded that of the 7 orthodox gods in many other planes. This existence resided in the chaos wasteland of the astral world. Under his command, 4 lackeys remained active in the multidimensional plane. They carried the title of the 4 evil gods of chaos: Father of Plague, Lord of Doomsday, Lady Famine, and Duke of Death. Although these 4 held no status as gods, and did not dwell in the astral world, their true strength likely equaled that of gods. Observers considered them demigods. The 4 evil gods stirred trouble in the multidimensional planes all year round, spreading plagues, famines, and various other disasters to satisfy their own twisted desires. According to Levi's research on the history of the wizard world, this kind of plane expedition involving legends could last decades, or even centuries. Consequently, Levi felt that the world might not remain as peaceful as it used to be over the next 100 years. He had to increase his strength as soon as possible. If the situation developed into a more chaotic level, Levi intended to return to the human world to hide for a while. He would only return once this expedition concluded. However, a significant problem accompanied a retreat to the human world. A brief stay of a year or two caused no harm, but dwelling in the human world for decades, or even centuries would delay a wizard's cultivation significantly. Moreover, the human world offered no guarantee of safety. Many wizards might harbor the same thoughts. When that time came, the world would inevitably descend into chaos. The outcome would depend on how the church handled the situation. The first year of the five-sector expedition occurred in the year 1036 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, in the month of the furnace. Recruiting activities proceeded in full swing throughout the entire territory. In this expedition, in addition to the established legions under the Wizard Council, 10 new legions required recruitment. The wizards recruited this time would also incorporate into the new battle group to undergo special training. Levi felt relief knowing the council did not recruit any wizards from the Grey Tower. Everyone chose to pay military expenses to avoid the looming disaster. As for Emperor Mew, he remained only an apprentice wizard, so he also escaped the disaster. In this kind of plain war, nobody considered apprentices even as cannon fodder. Therefore, no recruitment included them. Rather than letting them die in vain, the council chose to leave a spark for the future of the wizard world. Thus far, those who signed up most frequently included those who lacked money or power, as well as some wizards from middle rank and high rank wizard organizations. Nomadic wizards lacked the funds to pay military expenses, or they felt attracted by the promise of military rewards. As for the wizards from the middle and high-level wizard organizations, they arranged for themselves to join the army. These middle and high-level wizard organizations did not lack money, but they did lack knowledge inheritance. They worried more about securing a possible position in the parliament after the war. They craved more voice and status. In short, with the current large number of wizards in the wizard world, recruiting 10,000 wizards presented no difficulty. However, whether those recruits could qualify remained unknown. Chapter 480. No matter how chaotic and uneasy the outside world became, Levi methodically absorbed his experience on Blackfire Island. His golden snake breathing technique moved closer and closer to level 12. At this moment, nothing mattered more. He had no idea if the Tower Master had succeeded in resurrecting Stella. He had not heard from him for a long time. During the month of harvest, Levi reached the limit of level 6 with his big fireball technique. It attained the grade A rank attack limit of a first circle spell. As for the body of Ghost Fire, it already reached level 4. Essentially, both of Levi's arms and legs achieved elemental conversion. This left him speechless. The most important part, the final step to achieve full elementalization, remained elusive. After this period of training, Levi's maximum spiritual force reached 35 points. He stabilized his rank as a senior first circle wizard. He remained 15 points away from the limit of a first circle wizard, which stood at 50 points. According to his current speed, he would only break through the limit of the first circle and reach the second circle when he neared 50 years of age. Although time remained before he could reach the second circle, Levi had already started to prepare the Devil's Gaze potion. This second circle breakthrough potion required 5 precious materials, not to mention the substances needed for auxiliary potions. After Levi deliberately collected 4 of the main ingredients over the years, including the wind-chasing grass, he possessed most of them. The only missing item was the final and most important main ingredient, the eyeball of the Devil. It usually only existed in another plane as powerful as the wizard civilization, the abyssal plane. If the 9 hells served as a paradise for the undead and devils, then the abyssal plane acted as the lair of the demons. In history, the wizard civilization and the abyss civilization fought more than once. Each side saw its own victories and losses, but in general, they remained evenly matched. The abyss civilization never gave up on invading the wizard world. They arrived to cause trouble every once in a while. However, the last invasion occurred 2,000 years ago. Levi suspected that the abyssal plane might take advantage of the awakening of the dark wave at the plane intersection to make a comeback. At that time, both the human world and the wizard world would descend into even greater chaos. The wizard civilization possessed high-level and legendary wizards. The abyss civilization also harbored powerful demon lords. So far, explorers had charted 666 levels of the abyss. Each level contained a powerful demon lord. The weakest among them rivaled a high-level primordial soul wizard. The further down one traveled, the stronger the demon lord became. Even the astral gods suffered greatly at the hands of these demon lords. Devils represented a type of level 2 demon. They possessed power equal to second circle wizards and were considered inferior demons. Levi had asked Ms. Marlene about them. After a long period of hunting, very few devils remained in the wizard world. Marlene had purchased one from a wizard who was exploring ancient ruins at a high price. In this world, devils might only exist in some lost ancient ruins. This reminded Levi of the sea map he had previously obtained. It recorded an ancient ruin, the Lost Pan's Labyrinth. He planned to wait until he broke through the shackles of legend and reached the 12th level of the Golden Snake. Then, he would take time to explore the Lost Pan's Labyrinth to see if he could find anything. Apart from that, Levi never stopped inquiring about the whereabouts of the transcendent creatures required for the secret medicine. While Levi quietly cultivated, the dark tide of the wizard world surged because of this sudden expedition. In the western region of the Yellow Earth continent sat the Flame King's Elhid family. In Lehman's wizard tower, the Flame Prince, usually high and mighty, now bowed and scraped while holding an ancient black mirror, with a respectful expression. On the surface of the black mirror, the shadow of a black sun slowly appeared. In front of the shadow, a middle-aged man in a black robe and a wizard had appeared in the projection. Lehman bowed low, his voice trembling with excitement. Lehman greets Teacher Adam. The person appearing in the Alhid Wizard Tower through a projection was the leader of the Black Sun Steeple, a high-level primordial soul wizard, Black Sun Adam. No need for formalities. Adam spoke with a calm tone. Although this was only a projection from a communication wizard tool, Alhid still felt a suffocating pressure in the presence of this high-level primordial soul wizard. High-level wizards acted as the true powerhouses in the entire wizard civilization. After all, even with the 50 federal planes under the Congress, the number of legendary wizards and grand wizards added up to no more than 100. Such existences rarely showed their faces in public. Therefore, to a certain extent, high-level primordial soul wizards represented the peak of combat power in the wizard world in the conventional sense, as they were almost invincible. Lehman hesitated, a cold sweat breaking out on his brow as he asked, Teacher Adam suddenly came looking for me. Lehman was terrified. I wonder if there is anything that I can do. Lehman, do you know why I agreed to take you as my disciple? Adam asked. Lehman straightened his back, his expression brimming with confidence. Because I have a 1 in a million dual element affinity with the earth and fire elements. When Adam heard this, he let out a loud, ringing laugh. Lehman frowned, confusion etched on his face as he struggled to understand the sudden mirth. He bit his lip, keeping his thoughts to himself. Although he knew he could not compare to a true genius like his teacher, he still viewed himself as 1 in a million. He found nothing humorous in his own talent. Dual element affinity. Adam chuckled, shaking his head. In my eyes, let alone dual element affinity, even the children of the elements are nothing. Not even 1 in 100 dual element affinity geniuses could become a high-level primordial soul wizard. The reason why I took you in as my disciple was because of the bloodline in your body. Chapter 481. Is there anything special about our Alhid family's bloodline? Lehman asked. Adam shook his head. No, your Alhid family's bloodline is ordinary, and not worth mentioning. However, your Alhid family's ancestor once formed a demon contract with a high-level demon of the abyss. The result of this contract is the trace of high-level abyss blood in your body. This high-level demon is the demon lord of the 6th level of the abyss, the Molten Mountain Demon Bat. This is a high-level demon lord comparable to a high-level primordial soul wizard. If you can activate this trace of bloodline, your talent will not be inferior to the child of the fire element at all. Lehman's heart raced with excitement. Teacher, what should I do? As long as he could obtain strength, it did not matter if he had demon blood or not. He just needed to be powerful. Lehman had already abandoned his old loyalties. Otherwise, he would not have betrayed the parliament and secretly sided with Black Sun Adam. Kill. Just like the abyss demons, kill, destroy, and end everything. Use your killing will to turn this world into an abyss. Only in this way can the high-level abyss blood in your body awaken, and you can obtain the power of the Molten Mountain Demon Bat, Adam said, his voice dripping with a bewitching tone. A flame mark that looked like a bat appeared in Lehman's pupils. Endless killing desire surged out of his body. However, he remained a third circle wizard. He relied on his powerful spiritual force and willpower to calm down, and asked solemnly, Teacher, is there any other way other than killing? Killing might activate and stimulate the bloodline, but it is easy to be targeted by the Star Tower's enforcers. Adam shook his head and stared at Lehman with a gaze like a black hole. He sighed with the tone of an elder. Your killing intent is not firm enough, my disciple. There is no need to worry about the Star Tower, because they will not be able to protect themselves very soon. The 5 federal rebellions planned by Lord Asta are only the first step in resisting the Pan-Plane Wizard Council. Next, the Endless Sea Wizard Liberation Alliance led by me, and the 100 Beast Berserk which will also rise. The other realm of the unbelievers will be the same. The Pan-Plane Wizard Council has ruled the world for a long time. A spark could set a prairie ablaze. If he could not do whatever he wanted, what kind of wizard was he? We are not dark wizards. We are just liberated wizards who yearn for freedom. What is truth? Power and freedom are the truth. A free world needs to be exchanged with slaughter. When the expeditionary army embarks on the path of an expedition, it will be time for us to resist. Abyss City will fall. The Star Tower will also fall. Next, you Master of Flame's Claw and Morpheus from Whalesong Island will work together to take down Area 7, Area 8, and Area 9. By the way, the supervisor of Area 7, 5th Circle Wizard Tries, is also one of us. He was the one who saved Morpheus from Whalesong Island. However, do not trouble him unless necessary to prevent him from exposing his identity too early. Lehman looked excited. He was overwhelmed with emotions. It turned out that his teacher's ambition was grand. I see. In that case, I am confident. Thank you, teacher. Freedom and power are what I pursue. There is no need to thank me. I am just pointing out a path for you. If you want to strengthen your abyss blood, feed it with the blooming killing flower. After Black Sun Adam finished speaking, the projection disappeared, and the black mirror returned to normal. Lehman's face grew gloomy as he revealed a strange smile. It will not be long before a new era begins. Let some people die and ignite the first fire of this new era. In the Holy Brilliance calendar year 1036, in the month of winter, the 1st and 2nd divisions of the Expeditionary Army stood prepared. Led by the legendary wizard of the Burning Faction, Dragon Flame God, Lager, they set off to support the garrisons of the 5 federations. After Levi cultivated crazily day and night, his golden snake breathing technique finally reached level 12. He opened the proficiency panel to check his progress. The golden snake breathing technique had achieved level 12 with 1 point out of 400,000 experience. The special effects triggered were newborn scales and dragon's intimidation. Chapter 482. Levi realized that the golden snake breathing technique had not reached its maximum limit after level 12. Fusing with the golden horn breathing technique meant that not only could the golden snake breathing technique advance beyond level 12, but Levi could ascend directly to level 13. Breaking through the legendary shackles changed everything. This meant that, aside from a few techniques yet to surpass their limits, he no longer needed to scramble across the world in search of breakthrough materials. Levi knew himself well enough to know he would have Andrew continue the collection. Preparation was always the safer path. Regardless, a wave of relief washed over him. There were a finite number of breathing techniques in this world. If he could only advance a single level with every breakthrough, he would eventually run out of techniques to fuel his progress as they reached higher tiers. He had been overthinking. He checked the proficiency panel. The panel displayed the new effect. Newborn scales. You have already passed the stage of black gas transforming into scales. The bloodline seed in your body has given you the scales of a real golden snake. Although these scales are like those of a newly hatched golden snake, they still possess extraordinary defense. This special effect can be continuously upgraded as the golden snake breathing technique improves. Levi focused on his heart. Outside the furnace heart, the winding golden snake appeared more tangible than before. Its eyes seemed to possess real life and sparkled with vitality. The life seed of a knight was actually a seed of bloodline. Upon entering the night realm, one condensed the extremely weak ancestral bloodline within the body into a life seed. Breathing techniques served to continuously refine the life seed by consuming secret medicine, while utilizing specific rhythms and postures to cultivate, causing the bloodline power within the body to grow stronger. Knights, grand knights, legendary knights. The life seed evolved again and again. At his current realm, the life seed had transformed into a bloodline seed. Levi studied the bloodline seed, which now resembled a tiny golden snake. He could sense the creature's hunger for bloodline power. Only by constantly obtaining bloodlines could the golden snake grow. The breathing technique served as the method, and the bloodline provided the raw material. This yearning was palpable. Levi understood the truth. The new realm after legendary could be called the Bloodthirst realm. If a legendary knight was a blood awakening knight, marking the initial awakening of bloodline power, and the start of transcending humanity, then the Bloodthirst knight was the starting point of actual growth. It was like a newborn baby craving milk upon waking. The golden snake bloodline in his body had awakened and felt thirsty. It craved bloodline power. Legendary was an embryo in its infancy, while bloodthirst represented the breastfeeding period after birth. In this way, Levi defined the true realm beyond the legendary, relying on his own understanding. Bloodthirst Knight. Once Levi achieved a better grasp of the bloodthirst realm, he might discover a feasible method for a legendary knight to advance further. If no path existed for a knight, Levi would become the only guide from that moment on. Now he needed to test the defense of the newborn scales and determine how much protection the level 12 golden snake provided. Levi stretched his muscles. He stood up and flicked his snake tongue into the air. It had grown significantly longer. Where it had once reached only 1 foot, it now extended 3 full feet. This transformation of his supernatural organ occurred after the golden snake breathing technique reached level 12. The range of his snake tongue perception had expanded significantly compared to his status at level 11. Moreover, the accuracy of his perception and the storage capacity of his internal database had increased. Beyond that, reaching the bloodthirst realm produced no new legendary organs. Or perhaps the newborn scales qualified as new legendary organs. The horn on his forehead had also undergone changes. It felt more solid, with circles of spiral patterns etched into the surface. Something seemed to block the horn. Levi attempted to fire a blast, but nothing emerged. This horn clearly functioned as an organ capable of a powerful attack, meaning the bloodline requirement was extremely high. Levi touched the horn. The sensation of touching his own body part felt strange. Legend claimed the horn of the golden horn beast could fire terrifying rays of light capable of annihilating an entire world. Levi trusted that the horn would not disappoint him. Emerging from his chambers, Levi spotted Ace bullying Drogon. After so much time, Drogon had completely succumbed to Levi's influence. Levi summoned the construct. Ace, come here. Ace floated toward him. Ace glanced at the tyrant corpse digger standing to the side. Go inside and spar with me. Ace nodded, not daring to disobey. It burrowed into the corpse digger. Red flames immediately engulfed the machine. It rumbled into motion, causing the ground to tremble. Rhett, Drogon, Igor, Leviathan, and the others watched the spectacle with curiosity. Among Levi's pets, only Ace, piloting the corpse digger, could challenge him. Levi approached the surface of the sea. He waved at Ace. Let us begin. Do not hold back. Attack me with all your might. Levi's expression remained calm as he spoke with total confidence. Chapter 483. The corpse digger nodded. Machinery rumbled as alchemy runes ignited across its frame. The construct launched into the air, shooting forward and churning the surface of the sea into white foam. The 50-ton object slammed into Levi. In terms of pure strength, even Levi, who possessed legendary physical might, proved no match for the corpse digger. The collision shattered the silence, sending water erupting in a violent spray. Levi skidded back 100 meters across the waves. He wiped his mouth, a grin spreading across his face. Not bad, Ace. You and the corpse digger are getting more familiar with each other. Levi's encouragement sparked a surge of excitement in the pilot. The tyrant giant shield tore through the air, whistling with a sonic boom as it hurtled toward Levi. Good timing. Dark golden scales erupted across Levi's right fist, emitting an ancient and barbaric aura. It felt as if these scales had been forged in a time long past. Levi threw a punch, meeting the shield head-on. The impact forced him to retreat again. The dark golden scales buzzed, hairline fractures spider-webbing across the surface. As golden light flickered over the metal, the cracks sealed themselves. The golden light functioned as the golden snake black gas residing within Levi. However, since he advanced to the legendary realm, the black gas of various breathing techniques had lost its monochrome hue, instead taking on distinct characteristics. The corpse digger's powerful shield attack could shatter the spell defenses that almost all first circle wizards relied upon, yet it failed to break Levi's scales. Levi leaped across the sea, stepping on the waves and vaulting dozens of meters into the air. His fists collided fiercely with the corpse digger's axe. Under the tyrant's power, which rivaled a second circle transcendent creature, the giant axe barely tore through Levi's defense. Blood flowed from the wound as the bones in his hand shattered. The tyrant seemed to hesitate. Continue. Levi's command cut through the spray. Many harmless scales peeled away from his mangled palms, revealing torn flesh and ghastly white bones beneath, as well as glowing green runes. Under the tyrant's strongest axe attack, even Levi's scales could not provide total blockage. A first ring spell like Rock Body would only serve to weaken a portion of the force. Someone had once used the corpse digger's powerful close combat ability to forcefully tear apart a second circle wizard's defensive field and claim a kill. Although Levi's newborn scales possessed the defense of an ordinary second ring spell, the ability had only just manifested. It required time to mature. Under the Blood Ember's powerful recovery ability, Levi's mangled hands returned to their original state, and new scales quickly covered the skin. The tyrant's terrifying alchemy cannons fired. The blast sent Levi flying. He stepped out of the wall of fire. Other than his scales being slightly charred black, he remained safe and sound. The first circle alchemy cannon, which had once been capable of blowing off his scales, could no longer penetrate his defense. Levi controlled the tyrant to fight for 100 rounds, then decided Ace had pushed his limits for the day. He ended the battle reluctantly. Based on his testing, the defense of the newborn scales felt equivalent to a grade C second circle defensive spell. As the proficiency of the golden snake breathing technique increased, the defense of the newborn scales would also improve continuously. Levi estimated that when the golden snake breathing technique approached level 13, the newborn scales should operate at the level of a grade A second circle defensive spell. In that state, Levi would essentially match a second circle wizard. He would possess a long-lasting defensive field that required no consumption of spell power, only stamina. He had adapted to the changes following level 12 of the golden snake breathing technique. Levi turned his attention to his other breathing techniques. The Red Lotus, Blood Beast, and Black Whale techniques also pushed toward level 12. Among them, Red Lotus and Black Whale benefited from Transcendent Secret Medicine, allowing for faster cultivation than the Blood Beast. The Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique sat near the maximum of level 11, with the Saint Ape breathing technique following closely behind. I will prepare to return to the human world and meet Anderson and the Black Knights. I can also capture a few primary Blood Clan members and think of a way to transport them back. He now possessed the defense of a second circle entity, coupled with his 3 forms, and the power of the golden revolving slash. His attack power also sat at the level of a second circle combatant. He believed he possessed the combat power of a second circle cultivator. He set aside thoughts of the giant ape on the Yellow Earth continent, which he suspected to be an ancient mutant of immense power. Levi felt he had to advance to the second circle wizard realm to feel confident in subduing it. The sea dragon crocodiles in Area 9 and Area 8 presented the same challenge. As for the cultivation of wizards, Levi's current spiritual power reached only 40 points. Although he considered this high among senior first circle wizards, it remained below the maximum. Over the years, he had not learned any new first ring spells. Instead, he planned to reserve his remaining spiritual capacity for the rune language and the second circle spell model he intended to build. Levi aimed to become a second circle wizard before he turned 50, which would be the year 1040 of the Holy Brilliance calendar. He planned to visit Pan's Labyrinth in a few days. After cultivating for a few more days and consolidating his realm as a Bloodthirst Knight, Levi discovered that after entering the Bloodthirst realm, the effects of the Golden Snake secret medicine he had previously refined had decreased significantly. However, he could still manage to cultivate. Chapter 484. At his current speed, it would take him almost 10 years to advance to level 13. According to Levi's estimation, the level 13 breathing technique should correspond to the third circle realm of a wizard. This speed was neither fast nor slow. It was barely acceptable. If he had the level 2 Golden Snake secret medicine, he might be able to advance to level 13 in 7 to 8 years. Next, he would hurry to upgrade the wizard to the second environmental realm. After mastering some second ring spells, he would subdue the sea dragon crocodile and use the level 2 secret medicine as soon as possible. Levi did not forget about the Grey Tower, even though his strength had increased tremendously. He left Blackfire Island and returned to the Grey Tower to teach. He also needed to gather information regarding the Tower Master. The atmosphere within the tower felt tense since the arrival of the Great Expedition. The Age of War placed heavy pressure on every wizard. This strain turned into motivation, driving them to work harder in their cultivation. Levi walked up to Marlene as she watered her flowers. "Teacher, is there still no news from the Tower Master?" Marlene paused, her watering can hovering over a wilting stem. "There is nothing. This man causes me endless worry. I fear he may have been drafted into the army." Only Levi and Marlene knew the truth of his departure. They carried the secret heavily, fearing a spy lurked within the tower to leak the information. Whale Song Island had remained dormant for quite some time. Levi calculated that their foundation had likely recovered by now. In the coming autumn of chaos, this ambitious organization would undoubtedly make a move. The thought troubled him deeply. "Teacher, I intend to leave the wizard world for a while," Levi said. "Are you returning to the human world?" Marlene looked at him with confusion. "You still have lingering ties there? That place is not suitable for wizard cultivation. Apprentices may fare well enough, but an official wizard, or someone of higher rank, will see their cultivation decline rather than advance. It is no accident that Sauron, the ancestor of wizards, chose the realm of the unbelievers as our sanctuary. Still, if you have made your decision, you must have your own reasons. I will not stand in your way. The human world is chaotic at present," Marlene continued. "If you insist on going, be careful. Do not use your spells in public. Conceal your identity as a wizard. The 7 gods and the Wizard Council have always stood at odds. Although the Church of the 7 Nations remains weak, it has not perished. Do not provoke the Church." "Teacher, I understand," Levi replied. "I am merely heading to the human world for a specific task. I expect to return soon." Levi knew well that wizards were unwelcome guests in the human world. Long ago, Sauron, the ancestor of wizards, led his legendary comrades in a war against a portion of the 7 gods. Since that day, relations between the two groups had been fraught with hostility. According to the Wizard General Education course, the Heavenly Father of the 7 gods demanded the Church of Holy Light fabricate false myths to confuse the populace and discredit wizards. They claimed wizards were merely the product of saintly remains, exiled to the realm of the unbelievers as divine punishment. The truth differed. Wizards had entered the realm of the unbelievers by choice. Following the battle between gods and wizards, the elemental power in the human world thinned and drained away, plunging the world into a doomsday era. Only physical cultivators like knights, who relied not on elemental power, or seal cultivators like the 4 great families, who combined bloodlines and spells, could sustain their practice there. Wizards soon discovered subdimensional portals independent of the human world. These lands were vast, rich in elemental energy, and largely impervious to the influence of the gods in the astral world. They had found their paradise. This was the realm of the unbelievers, the origin of their civilization. The relationship remained delicate. The 7 gods were powerful, with believers spread across many dimensions, yet they could not leave the astral world. They could only intervene in the multidimensional plane through saintly incarnations or by sending angels into the human world. This created a subtle balance with the wizard civilization. The gods would not enter the subdimensional portals to interfere with wizards, and the wizards would not travel to the human world to dismantle the gods' beliefs. Levi's objective for this trip involved capturing Blood Clan members. He had no intention of inciting a conflict with the church. He secured a long leave from the tower. He left his pharmacist duties in the hands of a high-level pharmacy apprentice he had personally trained. He anticipated long absences from the Grey Tower in the months ahead. After bidding his teacher farewell, Levi returned to Blackfire Island to resume his cultivation. Before long, his Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique hit its limit. Levi examined the proficiency panel. Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique, level 11, maximum. Special effect, the Silver Dragon Spine, solid state. This technique had come from the Earl of Silver Mountain. Having cultivated it to its limit, Levi felt he had fulfilled the Earl's dream of elevating the ancestral breathing technique to the legendary realm. After the Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique became legendary, the special effects it granted mirrored the Hunchback Dragon breathing technique. Both bestowed a dragon spine, which represented transcendent endurance. The Silver Dragon Spine simply functioned at a higher tier. It shared the essence of the original dragon spine. The legendary organ born from the Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique was Levi's tendon. Chapter 485. Within Levi, meridians like liquid mercury attached themselves to his limbs and bones. He called them silver tendons. Levi had yet to fully understand the effects of these silver tendons, but the results of his preliminary experiment showed a slight increase in his flexibility, explosive power, and endurance. The effect of this tendon surely went beyond mere physical enhancement, and he would have to unearth its potential slowly. After reaching the maximum level of the Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique, Levi used the Hunchback Dragon breathing technique and the Shallow Endurance breathing technique as materials to break the Silver Mountain Dragon's limit. After breaking through the limit, the Hunchback Dragon breathing technique left behind a legacy in the form of a slightly ugly hump. Like the blood sac, it became a relic of a bygone era. To be honest, the Hunchback Dragon breathing technique was indeed unsightly, so Levi heaved a sigh of relief. Had he focused on that technique for endurance, his appearance would have decreased by at least 50%. Levi had gathered his legendary defense, strength, endurance, speed, and physique. He had only one legendary perception left. Perception-type breathing techniques were rare, and reaching the legendary realm directly was rarer still. Levi left it to fate. With his current top perception and vision, combined with the Black Snake message, he possessed just enough awareness. As a wizard, he could also use his mental power and detection spells to perform perception. 3 months after the Silver Mountain Dragon breathing technique broke its limit, Levi finally understood the use of the Silver Tendon. During a sparring session with the Corpse Digger, he noticed that as he fought intensely, his muscles stretched and contracted. The dense silver tendons in his body began to release light blue electric currents under friction, much like high-voltage wires leaking electricity. The revelation sent a jolt of shock through him. He had become a living electric eel. The function of the silver tendon was to generate electricity. Levi concluded that the current silver tendon released electricity only during high-intensity battles or exercises. The intensity of the current matched a first circle thunder spell. Levi was overjoyed by this discovery and created a new move based on the ability of the silver tendon. He named it Lightning Strike. The key to Lightning Strike was to release as much electricity as possible from the silver tendon through high-speed attacks. While causing physical damage, it also delivered the effect of a spell attack, enough to electrocute or paralyze enemies. Unfortunately, Levi could not find a suitable opponent to spar with. The Corpse Digger remained immune to ordinary electric current attacks, and his other pets were too weak. For a moment, his life became as lonely as snow. He did not waste any more time, and began to prepare for his trip to the human world. Before heading to that land, he had to make a trip to the Lost Pen Labyrinth. Holy Brilliance Calendar, Year 1037, Month of Grass. This was year 2 of the Great Expedition. After more than 1 year of intensive recruitment work, the 10 battle groups stood ready. Under the lead of the legendary wizards, the grand expedition of the 5 realms began. As the 5 rebellious federations lay quite far from the wizard world, this expedition would take a significant amount of time. Even the most advanced spatial teleportation technology in the wizard world functioned only within the current plane or nearby ones. To carry out an expedition across many planes, they required the Sky City of a legendary wizard to travel at high speed through the Land of Darkness. Sky City was the most advanced war fortress developed by the legendary wizards of the Penplane Wizard Council. It served as one of the few means of transportation that could safely cross the Land of Darkness. Currently, such a Sky City existed only among legendary wizards. High-level wizards and above could cross the Land of Darkness with their primordial souls, but they faced countless unknown dangers in that void. The 5 legendary wizards who led the team included the Dragon Flame God Lager of the Burning Faction, Deep Blue Sage Luther of the Ocean Faction, Frost Witch Gulwig of the Frost Faction, Thousand Mountains Immortal Alexander of the Earth Faction, and Mist Sky Guardian Marvin of the Storm School of Thought. These 5 legendary wizards, shining like stars, rode their respective sky cities under the gaze of the entire wizard world. They used the legendary spells solidified on the sky cities to temporarily tear apart the thick crystal wall wrapped around the subdimensional portal, and drove toward the boundless darkness. As the sky cities disappeared into the pitch-black rift, the crystal wall slowly closed. The great expedition has begun. Charge, the commanders roared. Only the wizards are immortal, only the truth lasts forever. The sky cities, filled with the crystallization of the wizard civilization, slowly disappeared. Levi could not help but feel excited. He wished he could immediately set foot in a sky city and follow the footsteps of the legendary wizards to conquer the 5 worlds. This represented the greatness of the wizard civilization. It was not the shine of an individual, but the charm of a group. They rose from humble beginnings to warm themselves. Generations of wizards stood on the shoulders of their predecessors in pursuit of the unattainable truth and reproduced a brilliant wizard civilization. As mortals, they touched the authority of God and performed transcendent actions. Chapter 486. We have experienced the baptism of civilization war after civilization war. We have fought against the gods as equals. We have fought bloody battles with the abyss for 1,000 years. We will not fall, nor will we admit defeat. Because we are wizards. This speech, delivered by the Grand Council Chairman, the Blazing Sun God Wizard Edmund, during the 2 years of the Great Expedition, resonated like the legendary spell he created, the Eternal Blazing Sunday. It burned the blood of every wizard listening. In the boundless Land of Darkness, countless stars shone. These stars were actually planes, most of them chaotic lands unsuitable for life and the birth of civilizations. Only a few were civilization planes. The Sky City of the Dark Blue Sage made its way quietly toward the destination of this expedition. On this battle fortress, known as Dark Blue City, the wizards of the 9th and 10th battle groups, led by the Dark Blue Sage, stared in wonder at a scene most of them had never witnessed before. Among the gathered wizards, 2 spheres hovered, attracting every eye. One was a large ball, and the other was smaller. It was the Tower Master and his wife Stella. Stella, the smaller sphere, hovered close. Have you told them about your participation in the expedition? Herman, the larger sphere, floated beside her. Yes, they will probably receive the news after a while. They will scold me, an old bastard, for being inhumane. They will secretly run away with my wife and abandon the Grey Tower. Stella floated in a frustrated motion. You are indeed not human. I am not human either. We are both balls. Herman, can you not let your aesthetic taste be a little higher? Herman argued, my aesthetic taste is very advanced. According to the research of wizards, spherical shapes are the most reasonable and perfect shapes in the universe. That is why planes are basically spherical. The sun and stars in the land of darkness are also spherical. Stella snorted and rolled to the edge of the sky city, staring into the endless darkness in silence. Herman rolled over. I have thought a lot over the years while I was preparing to resurrect you. Since I have already embarked on the path of no return for alchemy, I might as well go further. The two of us will take this opportunity to go there and sharpen ourselves in battle to pursue a higher profundity of alchemy. What if we die in the myriad machine plane? Then we transform into alchemy remains and bury ourselves deep in the earth. We will sit together and watch the sea change. Back in the endless sea, at the Grey Tower, Marlene held the letter from the messenger, her composure cracking. What? Herman, you old bastard. It was rare for Marlene to curse, and she did it very gently. She read the letter aloud to the empty room. My dear Marlene, forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye. I have already resurrected my beloved wife, Stella, a few days ago. When you see this letter, the two of us, oh no, the two alchemy balls, should have already set off for Sky City in the myriad machine plane. For many years in my life, I have been working hard for the wizard tower that my teacher Salmon passed down to me. I still remember your uneasy and nervous freckled face the first time you came to the tower. I also remember Marco, the unsmiling little boy, and Mr. Tim, the little guy who could get along with anyone. During this period, some wizards came and left. I did not ask them to stay. Only you guys accompanied me for a long time on this remote island in Area 9. I have said so much just to tell you one thing. I will pass on the position of Tower Master to you, little Marlene. Are you happy? Are you surprised? There are so many outstanding wizards in the tower now. With Levi, a young man that I cannot see through at all. No matter what difficulties you encounter in the future, do not be afraid. Face them bravely. Of course, if you encounter danger that you cannot deal with after I leave, please do not stand on ceremony. Do not hesitate to seek help from Area 9 Star Supervisor, Modi. Modi is a friend of my teacher, Salmon. He will help. Herman, 2 years of the Great Expedition. In the Holy Brilliance calendar year 1037, during the month of flowers, Levi stood on Blackfire Island, the letter from Marlene crumpled in his hand. A heavy sadness washed over him. The Tower Master. He started to curse, then cut himself off. He was a heartless man who had abandoned his own territory and people. He possessed no right to cast judgment upon the Tower Master. It was only right for Herman to pursue the life he wanted. Regardless, the Tower Master had successfully revived Stella, and Levi felt a genuine sense of happiness for him. The myriad machine plane, the origin of the school of alchemy. Perhaps the Tower Master, an alchemy genius, will find his own place there. I should be worried about myself. Levi tidied up Blackfire Island. He had prepared enough secret medicine to last him about a year, which forced him to clear out the transcendent creatures on Blackfire Island. Once those creatures recovered, Levi left them to guard the island. He took the living dead, the Saint Scorpions, Ace, and the Tyrant, and departed Blackfire Island on the back of the Leviathan. He traveled toward the Star Sea to use the subdimensional portal to reach the human world. After leaving the human world for nearly 20 years, he had climbed from a low-level apprentice wizard to a senior first circle wizard. He had even broken through the legendary shackles that had troubled so many legendary knights. Now, Levi, the nameless of the wizard world, was returning. Before setting foot in the human world, Levi planned to take a look at the Lost Pan's Labyrinth. Chapter 487. Half a month later, Levi reached a dangerous stretch of sea. This was the supposed location of the Lost Pan's Labyrinth. He consulted his map and reached out with his perception, searching for any lingering traces of the ancient ruins. Sea beasts swarmed these waters, far more numerous than in the outer regions. When he reached the coordinates, the ocean surface stood empty. No island remained. Only endless, dark water stretched out to the horizon. Perhaps the island had sunk. Levi peered into the abyss below. It resembled the mouth of a giant beast, ready to swallow everything whole. His senses confirmed the immediate waters held no threat, only a few first circle sea beasts. He decided to investigate. He hid within the Leviathan's maw and signaled the creature to dive into the deep sea. 300 meters, then 3,000 meters. The depth of the trench defied imagination. 10,000 feet down, the bottom remained out of reach. Spider sensing remained silent, offering no warning of hidden threats. Levi pressed deeper. 50,000 feet below the surface, the water pressure became immense. Even the Leviathan struggled against the crushing weight, as it preferred the comfort of the 10,000-foot shallows. In the sunless deep, all manner of grotesque, transcendent creatures drifted past them. Levi ignored them, focusing his perception on the surroundings. In the absolute blackness, sight offered nothing. After a careful sweep, he located a row of underwater stone formations. An 8-pointed star pattern lay embedded in the seabed plane 10,000 feet below. He refrained from approaching, keeping his distance to observe. He considered descending, but the hair on his arms stood on end. A sharp warning signal flooded his mind. The depths were treacherous. He shook off the desire to explore further, and pulled the Leviathan upward. The uneasy feeling dissipated as the surface waters grew lighter. No natural process could arrange rocks into such a complex, 8-pointed star. Some immense force had manipulated the stone to create an array. Levi possessed the knowledge of a budding first circle array wizard, and the geometric layout clearly functioned as a seal. He decided against further curiosity. This was undoubtedly the Lost Pan's Labyrinth, but it lay far beyond his current capabilities. He sighed and steered away from the sea area without looking back. Shortly after he vanished from the vicinity, a fissure cracked open at the center of the 8-pointed star formation. Dark red light poured from the rift, revealing walls of blood-colored flesh and jagged white bone spikes. A deep, guttural voice echoed through the deep sea, calling out the name of Pan. Holy Brilliance Calendar Year 1037, Month of Flowers. The Leviathan arrived at an island bordering Area 9 and the Inner Sea region. This was Base Island, also known as Kiang Island. It served as a hub for faster, safer transport to the Inner Sea. That region was vast and filled with unknown perils, making it too dangerous for Levi to cross alone. He had prepared coin to purchase passage on an official high-level transport vessel. Upon arrival, he watched a massive ship soar into the sky, already receding from the island. They had arrived too late. The ship was gone, and they could only wait for the next departure. Chapter 488. Base Island served as the most important transportation port for Area 9. Countless sea and air routes converged here. Levi utilized the Thousand Faces technique to reshape his features into the handsome face of White Wolf Geralt. His expression carried the heavy weight of years gone by. Dressed in a black windbreaker-style robe and hunting boots, he moved through the bustling port of Base City with a low profile. He navigated the crowd until he reached the ticket counter for the Witchcraft airship. These vessels relied on advanced wizard technology. They functioned effectively as a super low-end version of a sky city. Very few organizations in the Endless Sea had mastered such complex engineering. Similar to standard wizard ships, the Seven Waters Steeple handled the development of these airships. They came at a price several times higher than conventional vessels. Generally, only mid-level and high-level wizard organizations commissioned private airships for their members. Beyond the initial purchase, the daily maintenance and fuel costs reached staggering heights. These machines required massive amounts of ether stones, much like alchemical creatures. For smaller wizard organizations, such vessels drained resources too quickly to prove cost-effective. The Seven Waters Steeple had risen to become one of the top 5 high-level wizard organizations in the Endless Sea precisely because they controlled the production of these airships and ships. Behind the ticket counter, a witch dressed in blue robes sorted through a stack of documents. Levi approached with a polite smile. He asked when the next flight to the Star Sea would depart. The witch offered a sweet smile, her customer service tone perfectly practiced. She informed him that the next ship would depart in 3 days. Levi requested an economy class ticket. Once the transaction finished, he retreated to a small inn along the coast of Base. The island lived up to its reputation as the transportation hub of Area 9. A quick sweep of his perception revealed more than 20 official wizards in Base City, including a second circle wizard. Levi erected a simple alarm array in his room. He settled into a meditative posture and retrieved the Book of Starforge Runes. He intended to master the Strength rune language first. It ranked as the simplest and most practical rune language contained within the text. He studied the rune structures detailed on the page. His spiritual force reached 37 points, a significant improvement from the day he first opened the book. The fog that once clouded his mind dissipated. He attempted to condense the structure of the Strength rune language within his mind using his mental strength. Simultaneously, he reached out to sense the distant, deep, and mysterious power of the stars. 2 days melted away into the silence. A bowl-like outline of a rune finally coalesced in his thoughts. Levi felt a flicker of realization. He questioned if this represented the embryonic form of the Strength rune language, noting that the task seemed far easier than he anticipated. A long path remained before he could construct the full model structure for the runes. It required time and polish. He chose to remain patient. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction with his current pace. The path of weapon making would develop naturally, just as he had initially planned. He let fate guide the process. By the 3rd day, the wizard airship bound for the Star Sea finally descended upon the port. The 100-meter-long vessel touched down on the surface of the sea. Simultaneously, a voice boomed across Base Island through a wizard tool, announcing the arrival of wizard airship Q648 and instructing passengers to board within 15 minutes. Levi emerged from his meditative state. He decided to continue the construction process once he returned to the human world. He made his way to the boarding gate and gazed at the white and blue airship. Wizards and apprentices filed into the ship in an orderly fashion. He spotted the second circle wizard he had sensed earlier. She was a strikingly beautiful witch with curly hair like a black waterfall, draped in a robe decorated with violet flowers. An aura of prestige clung to her. Under the gaze of the crowd, she glided gracefully into the first-class cabin. Levi saw no reason to envy her accommodations. The ticket price sat at 300 ether stones, a sum he found completely unjustifiable. As the door to her cabin clicked shut, his sharpened perception picked up a conversation among the wizards in economy class. One wizard leaned in to whisper to his companion. He pointed toward the first-class cabin, identifying the passenger as the Violet Witch, a major player from the Star Sea returning to the godforsaken Outer Ring to pay respects to her ancestors. The companion listened, intrigued. The first wizard explained that like him, the Violet Witch hailed from an ordinary, gathering place of mortals in Area 9. Because of her talent in dual elemental powers, a passing intermediate wizard lord discovered her. She went straight to the Star Sea and became a maid to the wizard lord. He remarked on the cruelty of fate. They were roughly the same age, yet she had ascended to a second circle wizard, while he remained an ordinary first circle wizard. A wizard with a weathered face spoke up, his voice heavy with envy. He asked how a talented second circle wizard could serve as a mere maid. A colleague standing beside him noted that she had risen to prominence in the Star Sea as a genius which in recent years. He admitted he did not know her exact name, but confirmed she was a senior member of the Star Tower, only one step away from becoming a high-level primordial soul wizard. The weathered wizard sighed, acknowledging her as a true big shot. He admitted that achieving high-level wizard status felt like a realm beyond his wildest dreams. Chapter 489. Levi closed his eyes, drifting into thought. The wizard airship shuddered and ascended. Waves parted beneath the hull, and Base Island shrank into a tiny speck on the horizon. He possessed blood wings and knew the sensation of flight, yet this metal craft offered a strange, mechanical experience. The craft climbed to a height of 10,000 meters, its speed mounting until it outpaced the swift flight spells of any low-level wizard. Layers of compressed air wrapped around the hull. An invisible array, solidified into the metal frame, hummed to life. The vessel vanished from sight, cloaked against the perils of the high altitudes. 7 days passed. The airship had barely covered 1/4 of the distance. The inner sea region dwarfed the outer ring. If the endless sea functioned as a vast basin, the outer ring sat against the crystal wall at the edge. Even at speeds exceeding basic escape spells, the journey through the inner sea to the Star Sea demanded a full month of constant travel. Should Levi attempt the voyage by wing or swimming, the trip would consume 1/2 of a year. Such a venture wasted time and courted disaster from the monstrous beasts lurking in the depths. Levi upgraded his ticket. The economy cabin buzzed with noise, offering no reprieve for study or rest. It reminded him of the cramped, crowded transport vehicles of his past life. He stepped into a first-class cabin, and the atmosphere shifted. Each suite stood as a secluded sanctuary. Soundproofing and isolation arrays warded off the outside world, creating a quiet space where he could cultivate without distraction. Trusting no one completely, Levi layered his own alarm array over the existing cabin defenses. He returned to the Book of Starforge runes, focusing on the strength rune construction he had yet to complete. During the remaining hours, he practiced the Saint 8 breathing technique. He intended to drive it to the level 11 maximum, then fuse it with the giant breathing technique. He waited for the inevitable mutation to see what power it would yield. The journey proceeded smoothly for 1/2 of a month. The airship remained stable. Unlike the Azure ship, no dark wizards dared to strike. Levi made steady progress on his strength rune model, confident he would finish before he stepped off the ship. The Saint 8 breathing technique approached its maximum of level 11. Then, during the 3rd week, the routine broke. Within the captain's cabin, the man at the helm stared at a wall of wind. A black hurricane materialized ahead, a massive obstruction in their path. A broadcast erupted throughout the vessel. The captain warned of a rank 5 hurricane. The airship required an immediate change of course. The vessel banked hard to the right, angling away from the wall of wind. A level 4 disaster allowed for a forceful breakthrough, but this rank 5 tempest threatened to shatter the spell defenses of any first circle wizard. Even a second circle wizard could not withstand its fury for long. Since hurricanes shifted in intensity, the captain refused to risk a direct path. Levi watched from the window as the wind wall pierced the sky and churned the sea. This natural disaster stretched from the horizon to the ocean floor, an endless barrier of destruction. In the neighboring cabin, the Violet Witch stood by her window, her expression grim. She claimed to be on a journey to pay respects to her ancestors, but a secret mission drove her. An ancient sea map rested in her hands. Its style and material matched the map Levi possessed, though the markings differed. This map did not chart Area 9. It pointed toward a specific location in a distant sea, the Lost Pan's Labyrinth. She had acquired the map from a collector in Area 9. Her master had identified it not just as a chart, but as a key. Clues buried in the dust of history suggested this location belonged to an ancient, high-level wizard organization known as the Dreamland Steeple. Legend claimed they were the first to study the secrets of dreams. Their ambition led to their ruin. They disappeared in a single night. Every member, from the masters to the apprentices, vanished without a trace. Her master had gleaned information from the few surviving School of Dreams wizards. The Dreamland Steeple had likely unearthed something forbidden during their research, or perhaps they accidentally bridged the gap to an unknown plane, inviting their own destruction. Chapter 490. The world had changed. The Dreamland Steeple had long disappeared. No one knew its whereabouts. The appearance of this ancient sea map unveiled an old matter that had been sealed for a long time. Not only the master of the Violet Witch, but many wizards were also looking for the map. Among them were some dark wizards. The treasures and wizard inheritance contained in the ruins of an uninhabited ancient high-level wizard organization were immeasurable. Not to mention that this wizard organization might have an entrance to a plane that the wizards had not discovered. This was the reason why many wizards went crazy. Every new plane that could be reached was an undeveloped blue sea. It was enough to set off a magnificent discovery activity in the wizard world. Whoever was able to enter it first and obtain a place there would be able to obtain the initiative. As for the possible dangers, opportunities were bound to be accompanied by danger. These wizards were already mentally prepared. In the endless wind wall, a black iron curtain revolved and coiled, blocking the terrifying great hurricanes outside. In the surrounding curtain, figures with strange appearances and bare upper bodies stood in the air. These figures had all kinds of wings on their backs, and their bodies were solidified with profound and complicated spell runes. Their beast-like strong bodies contained explosive power. In front of these people, a 5-meter-tall wizard covered in black scales, with dragon wings on his back stood, watching the void in front of him. His eyes resembled the compound eyes of a fly, flickering with light. The wizard with the compound eyes of a fly addressed the giant. Lord Blackwings, did those people discover us? The leader narrowed his eyes. Impossible. With my third circle wizard tool, the black iron curtain, those people definitely did not sense our existence. They simply do not want to pass through the wind disaster belt. The black scale giant had a ferocious expression. From time to time, he spat out his thick and barbed tongue, looking abnormal. The violet witch is on the wizard airship. Brothers, keep your spirits up. She is one of the 24 flowers of the flower witch. Her strength cannot be underestimated. The wizard with transparent cicada wings and a beetle shell spoke up. All right, boss. As long as we use the black iron curtain to guide this wizard airship into this great hurricane, with the ability of us boiling beast blood wizards, it should not be difficult to deal with this mob. They were the wizards of boiling beast blood. The leader of the boiling beast blood, the 100 beast berserk witch, was once a capable disciple of the life school of thought monster lady. However, she colluded with Black Sun Adam, and came to the Endless Sea to become a dark wizard. Therefore, the entire boiling beast blood focused on the bloodline modification wizards in the life school of thought. These wizards looked neither human nor ghost. They appeared rather shabby. However, this organization was based on wildness and violence, so it differed from the aesthetic standards of ordinary wizards. Instead, they regarded the appearance of this mixture of various transcendent creature organs as beautiful. The more transcendent creature organs you installed, the better you looked and the stronger you were. It was said that all kinds of powerful transcendent creatures had replaced the leader of the 100 beast berserk witch. She was simply an ultimate suture monster. Therefore, the wizards of the boiling beast blood could always be controlled by the beast in their bodies and kill for fun. Now, boiling beast blood had joined forces with another evil force, the Black Sun Steeple. These two high-level wizard organizations were the two largest evil strength forces in the Endless Sea. The black iron curtain quickly followed behind the wizard airship, carrying many wizards with boiling beast blood, waiting for the right time to attack. On the wizard airship, Levi focused on the completely condensed bull pattern in his mind. On the bull body, starlight flickered and connected, like a constellation. Strength rune completed. Levi opened his proficiency panel. Levi. Strength rune, level 1, 1/1000. Special effect, Horned Bull Constellation Power, level 1. Horned Bull Constellation Power, level 1. The rune language communicates with the Horned Bull Constellation. The power of stars increases your strength. The current effect is 10%. This special effect can be upgraded. Damn, awesome. Levi could not help but exclaim. A level 1 strength rune language could increase one's strength by 10%. Moreover, from the special effects, there was no restriction that it was only used for wizard tool. Levi studied the bull pattern in his mind, deep in thought. What would happen if I solidified the rune language on my body? This thought flashed through his mind. He already possessed legendary power. If he increased it by another 10%, it would be equivalent to the peak strength enhancement of Favored by the Night. It could take effect at any time. Combined with Red Lotus, Nine Swords, and Giant Whale, he would be invincible. Strength could destroy all techniques, and a palm could shatter the stars. However, the Book of Starforge runes mentioned nothing of this. Therefore, Levi did not dare to try this for the time being. He decided to wait until he had the time to solidify the tyrant body to see the effect. When the solidification of the tyrant was successful, he would use other living creatures to experiment. If possible, the rune language was very promising. This discovery changed Levi's mindset regarding the cultivation of the rune language. Damn, I am going to cultivate it. Levi felt tireless. After meditating and taking pills to recover his spiritual force, he continued to condense the power of stars. Chapter 491. A notification materialized in the air, informing Levi that his strength rune language proficiency had increased by 1. Night descended over the sea. The wizard airship finally reached the right edge of the endless wind wall, and a calm belt materialized before them. The captain exhaled in relief, urging the airship forward with all his might. In the first-class cabin, the Favored by the Night special effect took hold. Levi opened his eyes. He felt his physical attributes surging, becoming stronger with every heartbeat. He pressed a hand against his arm, and the hair there stood on end. This faint sense of danger has lingered for one day, Levi whispered. It is growing stronger now. We have cleared the great hurricane safely, so why does the threat persist? He studied the horizon. His golden snake message and his top perception failed to detect any changes, yet his instincts screamed at him. Beneath the faint starlight, he scanned the distance with his top-notch vision. A flickering shadow caught his attention. Something moves within the great hurricane. The sense of danger does not stem from the storm itself, but from the unknown existence hidden inside. Levi grew alert. Dark golden newborn scales emerged beneath his clothes. He used his snake tongue to probe the environment, but he sensed no aura. It is not that simple. Levi muttered the thought to himself. He exited the first-class cabin and scanned the deck. No one else, not even the captain, appeared to notice the danger lurking within the storm. As he turned to retreat, the Violet Witch emerged from her private room, her hair tied back in a simple style. Their gazes locked for a brief moment before he stepped away. He felt the vast spiritual force radiating from her deep eyes. It surpassed Marlene, who was also a second circle wizard. She is likely a second circle senior. Levi retreated, shaking his head. He watched as the Violet Witch approached the captain. I suggest that we continue to travel for a while longer and avoid the edge of the great hurricane, the Violet Witch stated. Her words mirrored Levi's own thoughts. He leaned against the bulkhead, listening. Having a second circle wizard confirm his suspicions provided him with a sense of relief. Why? The captain asked. The violet witch held up her identification card. Listen to me. I am a staff member of the Star Tower. The captain hesitated, then ordered a long detour. He dared not disregard the assessment of a second circle wizard, especially one associated with the Star Tower. The other passengers grumbled under their breath, dissatisfied with the flight delay, but silence fell upon the deck. No one dared to openly challenge a second circle wizard. Levi did not return to his private room. He waited by a remote cabin door, ready to abandon the ship. If the danger proved real, he would jump. His ability to fly and traverse the sea meant he could escape if necessary. Meanwhile, within the great hurricane, the black-winged wizard hiding in the wind belt watched the airship maneuver. His expression twisted. What is happening? Did those people discover our ambush? He turned to his companions. It is impossible. This black iron curtain is a powerful wizard tool that the organization just rewarded you with. The black-winged wizard spat on the floor. The wizard airship is too fast. We cannot wait any longer. Everyone, prepare your defenses. I will activate the black iron curtain to its maximum speed. He made a prompt decision. He poured his spell energy into the black iron curtain. The device stretched straight like a sharp sword, slicing through the wind belt. Behind the curtain, the wizards gripped the edges tightly as they tore through the air. The black iron curtain caught up to the wizard airship. The leader of the ambush smiled, his expression cold. He spread his wings and transformed into a black whirlwind, landing directly upon the deck of the wizard airship. He drew a black heart that pulsed with alchemical runes. It was a powerful one-time attack tool, a fusion of knowledge from the life school of thought and the school of alchemy. Explosion heart. He slammed the device into the hull. A deafening boom rocked the airship. The attack power surged, surpassing a second ring spell, and the protective shield of the wizard airship flickered before it shattered. The vessel, a low-level model, could only withstand spell attacks below the second circle. The remaining shockwave blasted a gaping hole in the hull. Strong winds roared into the cabin. A wizard standing near the rupture had no time to activate his defenses. The explosion caught him, sending him flying through the hole and into the gale outside. The black-winged wizard grabbed the man, laughing sinisterly. He crushed the defensive spell the wizard tried to raise, and blood splattered across the night sky. The attacker jumped into the cabin, unleashing a barrage of spell attacks. The light of these spells shone through the breach, illuminating the night. The spell runes on the body of the black-winged wizard flickered, and his black scales closed, blocking the incoming first-ring spells. Enemy attack. It is a dark wizard. Panic seized the passengers. They pointed their magic wands at the intruder. The black-winged wizard revealed a cruel smile. Little lambs, do you still wish to resist? The violet witch appeared in the cabin, surrounded by a second circle protective force field. Black wings. It is you. The violet witch of the 24 flowers under the flower, which is indeed as beautiful as the rumors say. The black-winged wizard chuckled, his gaze roaming over her. I wonder how beautiful the owner of the 24 flowers is. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Chapter 492. Black wings swept his wings, summoning violent winds into the cabin that tore into the structure of the wizard airship. The guards scrambled toward the violet witch, seeking refuge as they prepared to attack Black Wings. She was their only defense against this dark wizard. One guard shouted that they should kill the dark wizard together, while another added that their numbers gave them the advantage. Wizards swarmed around her like a protective circle. At the same time, more boiling beast blood wizards arrived inside the ship. The violet witch frowned. A silver-haired wizard from the first-class cabin kicked the door of his room, trying to escape in the chaos. She sighed. There were always people who feared death, men who would not unite in the face of danger. They preferred to flee alone. This, she reasoned, was why single predators could hunt down herds of cows and sheep across the mountains. She refused to force others into a struggle they did not choose. Without another word, she unleashed her second ring spell, engaging the black-winged wizard in fierce combat. An explosion rocked the airship as the spell battle commenced. On the other side of the vessel, Levi channeled the power of the golden revolving slash into a final kick. The door, capable of withstanding attacks from a second circle wizard, shattered under the force. Levi leaped into the open air and spread his blood wings. He hoped the Star Tower would not bill him for the damage, as he could not afford the repairs. A black iron curtain whistled through the air toward him. His expression hardened as he activated Dark Golden Scales possession. The artifact struck, sending him spiraling through the air. He grimaced, shocked by the impact. What level of power was this wizard tool? The force behind it was immense. Black Wings, still locked in combat with the Violet Witch, sneered. He shouted that when the beast blood flowed, nothing would grow, and no one would survive. He controlled the third circle wizard tool, using it to pursue Levi while simultaneously fighting the witch. Levi inspected his shattered golden scales and his torn flesh. His heart remained steady. As the blood ember drifted past his wounds, his skin knit back together in an instant. The wizard tool twisted, transforming into a long whip that lashed out at Levi again and again. The sound of the whip cracked against the air like thunder. Sonic booms filled the sky. Levi tumbled through the air. He resisted the relentless assault, feeling a deep, burning indignation. He had only just broken through the legendary shackles. To be suppressed by a mere tool felt like a grave humiliation. It was an insult to his status as the leader of the Twilight Knights. Another strike sent him spinning. He rolled through the air, dark golden scales overlapping layer upon layer with the rhythmic clatter of metal. His robe incinerated in a blast of scarlet flame, and lava coursed through the cracks in his armor, shedding a scorching red light. His whaleback expanded, the silver dragon's spine shining with a mysterious luster, while his silver tendons pulled taut and surged with lightning. His form warped until he stood as a 5-meter-tall flame demon giant. Levi spread his blood wings, and a streak of blood-colored light cut across the horizon. A 7-meter-tall phantom of the Nine Swords Asura manifested behind him. The phantom appeared more realistic than ever, its form cast in a dark golden light, a manifestation of his 12th-level golden snake-breathing technique. Levi blazed like a beacon in the night sky. He refused to waste more time battling the tool. After another lash from the weapon, he used the momentum to vault into the clouds. He inhaled sharply and plummeted, gravity fueling his descent. A blood-colored phantom tore through the night like a falling star. The wizard black wings retreated, startled. The violet witch took advantage of the distraction, pulling a water prison from the sea to trap him. A fiery meteor, trailing dark golden light, slammed into the sea. Levi landed, his ostrich feet stomping onto the shoulder of the giant as he drove him deep into the water. The Nine Swords Asura spun wildly, shredding the wings of his opponent. The wizard black wings stared up at him, assuming he was a new recruit. He demanded to know why a fellow member was attacking Lord Blackwings. Levi ignored him. Under the combined power of his favored by the night giant whale form and the Nine Swords technique, he drove a fist into the black scales of his enemy with the force of a falling hammer. Metal groaned under the impact. He summoned the tyrant corpse digger, which emerged engulfed in flames, swinging its massive axe toward the wizard black wings. Chapter 493. The violet witch descended to the bottom of the sea. Streams of water coalesced into chains, binding the wizard black wings in place. Other streams transformed into swordfishes that bombarded black wings like guided missiles, while Levi held him entangled. She was a senior first circle wizard from the Ocean School of Thought, and spell control was her forte. On the other side, Black Wings felt utterly frustrated. He frantically controlled the black iron curtain to rush toward the bottom of the sea. The curtain twisted into a ribbon and sent Levi flying. It wrapped around Black Wings as he prepared to escape. The wizard was panicking now. With his third circle wizard tool, he should have been able to deal with the violet witch without any problem. However, with the addition of a bloodline-modified monster like the one before him and a powerful alchemy creature covered in barbs, he had no way to secure a victory. Seeing that Black Wings wanted to run away, the violet witch refused to let him succeed. She swept one second ring spell after another toward him. The more Levi fought, the more violent he became. Terrifying electric currents flashed along his silver tendons, and they poured into the body of Black Wings along with Levi's brutal attacks. Black Wings was a second circle bloodline modification wizard, and his body was solidified with powerful passive defensive spells. He was not afraid of electric shocks of this magnitude, but the frequent pulses still agitated him, affecting his movements. The blood clan touch wrapped around the feet of Black Wings and began consuming his black scales. Levi also activated his dragon intimidation ability. He could tell at a glance that the supernatural organs transplanted by the bloodline modification of the wizard in front of him were derived from mixed blood dragons. Levi recalled a golden snake special effect he rarely used, the dragon intimidation. It was an ability that could only be born from sub-dragons. Behind Levi, the phantom of a golden snake with wings on its back and a horn on its forehead appeared. It coiled around the Nine Swords Asura as it looked at Black Wings with indifferent golden eyes. A terrifying dragon might swept out. Many weak sea beasts nearby fainted instantly from the pressure. This was Levi's dragon might. It came from the phantom of a golden snake that seemed to have emerged from ancient legend. After the dragon might manifested, Black Wings felt that several modified prostheses on his body began to tremble involuntarily. The biological prostheses installed by bloodline modification wizards could not be perfectly integrated with the supernatural organs born from the night-breathing technique. Therefore, the wizard Black Wings knew that this kind of dragon might attack would not be affected by his second circle wizard spiritual force and willpower. However, his dragon wings and scales were trembling uncontrollably. He immediately felt his body become extremely heavy, and he felt the urge to prostrate himself. This was the suppression of the bloodline level since ancient times. Black Wings gasped in shock, realizing the monster before him possessed such a high-level dragon clan bloodline. The third circle wizard tool consumed a significant amount of spiritual force and spell power. After such a long battle, Black Wings could no longer hold on. He grew terrified and only wanted to escape the seabed. However, the seabed was the domain of the Ocean School of Thought. In the battle below, he was firmly suppressed by all kinds of sea spells cast by the Violet Witch. The other monster kept using its immense strength to attack him again and again. Boom, boom, boom. Levi grabbed the left foot of Black Wings, and the corpse digger grabbed the right foot. Blood chi soared into the sky. Machinery roared. Two unstoppable forces erupted. Black Wings was forcefully dragged into the endless abyss. The Violet Witch watched in shock. This individual before her was simply too powerful. He was savage, violent, and ugly. But regardless of his appearance, this person seemed to be on her side, which made the Violet Witch feel much more at ease. She used her control spells to assist from the side, attacking with second ring spells from time to time. With the help of a second circle senior wizard, Levi, and the tyrant became more and more energetic as they fought. They pressed black wings firmly against the cliff of the abyss at the bottom of the sea. Lightning strikes and the giant axe of the tyrant rained down on their opponent. The cliffs cracked layer by layer, and countless rocks fell into the abyss, as if an earthquake were shaking the bottom of the sea. The third circle wizard tool of black wings floated quietly at the side without moving. This occurred because the head of black wings had been shattered by the giant axe of the corpse digger in the chaotic frenzy. He had died long ago. There was naturally no one left to control the third circle wizard tool. He had never been adept at fighting in the deep sea. Now that he was trapped at the bottom, he was completely suppressed by Levi and the Violet Witch. Levi continued his assault until Black Wings was smashed into meat paste by him and the corpse digger. Levi heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at the rock wall in front of him calmly. The tyrant beside him was still chopping at the remains with his axe. "Stop fighting, he is dead." Levi casually grabbed a lucky fish that passed by the area and tore it apart. He roasted it with his flame body and swallowed it on the spot. All the inhuman forms disappeared, and he returned to his silver-haired wizard form. He leaned on the right arm of the corpse digger and burped. The Violet Witch watched all of this in a daze. As a second circle wizard, she had seen many sights, but she had never witnessed anything like this. Levi threw the meat paste of Black Wings into the bug house and let the Saint Scorpions share it. He kept the head separately, preparing to exchange it for the bounty in the future. He did not take the powerful black curtain-like wizard tool. The Violet Witch did not act rashly. The two of them looked at each other again. Levi was the first to break the awkward silence. "Is this a wizard tool?" Chapter 494. The witch fixed her gaze on Levi. She spoke with firm conviction. "This is a precious third circle wizard tool. You can take it. However, you have to give me Black Wings' head. As for the items in the storage bag, we will split them 70 to 30. I will take 70% and you take 30%. Levi tossed the head of the dragonfly eye toward her. "This person's aesthetic sense is really bad," Levi muttered. He welcomed the exchange. Trading the head of a second circle dark wizard for a powerful third circle wizard tool offered immense value. Without the witch's control spells, defeating a dark wizard equipped with such an artifact would have been impossible for him and the tyrant. The split of the storage bag contents remained fair. The most precious asset already belonged to him, and greed would serve no purpose here. The Violet Witch claimed the head, while Levi stowed the tyrant and the third circle wizard tool. Neither spoke further. After dividing the ether stones and other contents of the storage bag, they returned to the sea surface. Levi scanned the area. The total value of the loot from the storage bag equaled a third circle wizard tool. Coupled with the bounty of the dark wizard, neither party suffered a loss. If he had failed to display his second circle combat strength, the witch might not have offered such an equitable division. On the sea surface, the surviving passengers and the airship guards swarmed the remaining boiling beast blood members. When those dark wizards saw the head of their black-winged leader in the Violet Witch's hand, they scattered like frightened birds. The passengers cut them down one by one. Levi dispatched a small fry that rushed toward him in a panic. He threw the corpse into the bug house before stepping back onto the scarred wizard airship. Surviving passengers boarded the vessel. Some wore expressions of joy, having gained much, while others remained in shock. The captain sat in his station, unharmed after being shielded by the crowd. "Can the airship still fly?" the Violet Witch asked. "Lord Violet, this airship can still manage a distance. I have contacted the headquarters. A new airship will arrive to collect us in a few days," the captain replied with a helpless shrug. Levi exhaled, a wave of relief washing over him. He retreated to his first-class cabin to tally his gains. The third circle wizard tool held immense power, and it had battered him into a dizzying mess during their confrontation. It functioned like a mythical armillary sash. It could fly, strike, and defend. This stood as the strongest wizard tool he had encountered to date. Like the longsword-shaped wizard tool from the Yellow Earth continent, he required a specialized appraiser to unlock its secrets. He placed it aside for now. Furthermore, as a first circle wizard, he lacked the capacity to wield a third circle weapon. Beyond that, he possessed 15,000 ether stones, various precious materials, and a few supernatural organs sealed in jars. His ether stone reserves surged past the 30,000 mark. He also gathered several bloodline modification spell books from the Life School of Thought. He planned to study them later to see if they could inspire his own breathing technique practice. Finally, he retrieved a blood-colored crystal ball. He had snatched it from the minion earlier. The object resembled a Klein crystal. Based on his study of the Life School of Thought general education books found in the minion's storage bag, he recognized this as a rolling crystal. The rolling crystal served as a special wizard tool invented by the monster Lady Rolling to assist in the cultivation of wizards within the Life School of Thought. It functioned similarly to the Klein crystal. The famous legendary wizard Klein developed that crystal to help wizards test their mental and spell power. In contrast, the rolling crystal detected bloodlines. It allowed wizards of the Life School of Thought to monitor the bloodline composition of modified monsters, or fellow bloodline modification wizards. Levi erased the original owner's mark. He dripped a single drop of blood onto the crystal. Instantly, lines of blood-colored characters appeared in the void. Unknown Dragon Clan Bloodline 5%. Red Lotus Dragon Bloodline 4%. Unknown Blood Clan Bloodline 2%. Swimming Dark Whale Bloodline 3%. Silver Mountain Dragon Bloodline 1%. Ostrich Mountain Bird Bloodline 0.9%. Frost Giant Bloodline 0.93%. Undying Bird Bloodline 0.9%. Human Bloodline. Chapter 495. Levi studied the numbers, his mind racing to connect the dots. The 5% unknown dragon clan bloodline undoubtedly belonged to the Golden Snake. The Red Lotus dragon trace was clearly Red Lotus. He frowned, wondering about the origin of the unknown blood clan bloodline. He rummaged through his belongings until he unearthed a manual for the rolling crystal that had been discarded in a corner. He read the first note, which explained that all bloodline data was stored within the product terminal. According to the Panplane Wizard Council Wizard Tool Privacy Protection Act, all bloodline testing was automatically calculated by the crystal. The second note clarified that the stored data was limited to the bloodline type database established by Rolling Laboratory during the manufacturing process. Because there were countless bloodlines in the multidimensional plane, the product could not list data that was absent from its internal database. The manual expressed a polite hope that the user understood this limitation. For a more comprehensive bloodline test, the manufacturer suggested purchasing the new model. The third note pointed out that the percentage listed after each bloodline indicated only the similarity between the user's current bloodline and the closest original bloodline. For example, 10% of the Ash Dragon bloodline meant that a certain bloodline in the body possessed a 10% similarity to the ninth circle transcendent creature known as the Ash Dragon. It did not represent the actual percentage of bloodline content. Therefore, the sum of all percentages would not equal 100%. Finally, the manual warned that bloodline modification was dangerous. Whether conducting experiments on creatures or performing the process on oneself, one had to abide by the law of irreversibility of bloodline modification. After digesting the manual, several of Levi's questions vanished. He had initially assumed these numbers represented the actual composition of his blood, but when he realized his human bloodline remained at 100% despite the high percentages of others, he understood his error. The total of these mixed bloodlines had long exceeded 100%. He let out a soft breath, comforting himself with the thought that he should still be human. Of course, this relied on the assumption that the rolling crystal functioned correctly. Since the device had been tested extensively, much like the Klein crystal, there should be no safety or quality issues. After further searching, Levi grasped the meaning of the law of irreversibility of bloodline modification. In short, once one embarked on the path of bloodline modification, there was no turning back. The more impure the bloodline, the higher its level, and the greater the risk associated with further modification. Levi stared at the dense list of bloodlines, lost in deep thought. He eventually set the rolling crystal aside. It was irreversible. He reminded himself that he followed the path of a knight, which differed significantly from their bloodline modification techniques. This law might not apply to him, given the presence of his proficiency panel. The wizard airship continued its steady advance. A chime echoed through the cabin. Someone had rung the doorbell. Levi called out to ask who was there. "I am Violet, a second circle witch," a familiar voice replied through the intercom. Levi asked what she wanted. "I want to talk to you," the Violet witch said. After a moment of deliberation, Levi packed his items and unlocked the door. The Violet witch stood in the hallway with a dignified expression and a faint smile on her lips. Levi stepped back, gesturing for her to enter. "Come in and have a seat," Levi said. His spider sensing remained silent, indicating the witch held no hostility toward him. Furthermore, after the battle they had just shared, Levi had observed enough about her character to feel at ease. "My name is Violet," the witch said. "May I know your name?" "Levi." "Sir Levi, you must be a legendary knight, right?" the Violet witch asked after a thoughtful pause. "Yes. It seems you have some knowledge about knights," Levi replied. "Of course. My master is also a legendary knight. I see many temperaments like hers in you. Moreover, my master seems to be like you. When she uses the power of a knight, she becomes, well, inhuman. To be honest, if I had not seen my master transform, I would most likely have mistaken you for a bloodline modification wizard," Violet said. "Your master is the flower witch Elena?" Levi asked. During the battle, he had heard Blackwings mention that Violet was one of the 24 flowers, implying she served the flower witch. At the time, he had been focused solely on survival, but the memory returned now. He recalled how Emperor Mew had told him the flower knight had adopted the identity of the flower witch upon entering the wizard world. "I guess you know something about my master too," Violet said. "Of course. Your master is a famous legendary knight in the human world. She represents the most beautiful flower knight in existence. Our best wishes for a man are, may your future wife be as beautiful as the flower knight," Levi said with a touch of emotion, his mind drifting back to the human world. Violet laughed softly. "My master has never talked to me about this. Indeed, there is no woman more beautiful than my master in this world. Although one can change their appearance in the wizard world, that kind of beautiful temperament is impossible to imitate," she said, a look of genuine admiration shining in her eyes. Chapter 496. Levi pondered whether Elena preferred women. The male knights of the human world would surely weep and suffer heartbreak at the news. Violet smiled, her expression earnest. "Sir Levi, are you traveling to the Star Tower? My master works there as the leader of a 5th Circle Wizard organization. I could introduce you when you have time. She seems to be searching for a legendary knight who shares her path. I believe she would be interested in meeting you, Sir Levi." Levi wanted to recruit the Flower Knight into the Twilight Knights, but he knew his current strength remained insufficient to handle her. He had no intention of meeting her now. She was a 5th Circle Wizard, an existence only one step away from becoming a 6th Circle high-level wizard. He worried that such an expert might see through his background, regardless of whether she harbored ill intentions. "I have urgent business in the human world this time," so I will not visit Lord Elena. I will definitely pay my respects personally when I have time in the future. Violet nodded, a flicker of disappointment crossing her features before she smiled again. Do not worry. My master possesses a gentle personality. Most of the 24 flowers are ordinary girls she took in from mortal lands. I am sure you know her reputation in the human world. Levi nodded. He had encountered many legendary knights from the human world and understood their virtues. People praised them for good reason. The courage of the Snowflake Knight, the chivalry of the Blood Knight, and the beauty of the Flower Knight defined their legend. Violet handed him a postcard bearing the name and address of her organization. It read, 5th Circle Wizard Organization, Sword Flower Oath Tower. That is a pleasant name. Levi pocketed the card. Over the following days, he continued his cultivation on the airship. They successfully changed flights and arrived at the Star Sea. Levi stood by the window, watching the islands scattered across the sea. In the distance, a massive steeple pierced the sky, rising from the center of his vision. He gazed upward, but the summit vanished into the clouds, as if the structure intended to touch the very edge of the world. Wizard civilization is truly magnificent. The airship reached the station, and the passengers disembarked. Violet and Levi exchanged final pleasantries. Sir Levi, you are welcome to the Sword Flower Oath Tower at any time. Goodbye, Miss Violet. Levi waved his hand. The trip had been short, but fascinating. He had inadvertently met the maid of the powerful Flower Knight. He hoped his system would guide the Flower Knight to him before long. The Twilight Knights desperately needed female legends, and in a world where the Goddess Knight had died, the Flower Knight remained the only woman Levi could reasonably hope to recruit. Knowing her maid was a promising start, he observed the prosperous Star Sea, breathing in the rich power of the water element. The power here explained why everyone craved the region for cultivation. The raw elemental energy dwarfed that of the outer circle area. Herbs and wizard resources here surpassed those of the outer sea region by a vast margin. Those who cultivated here were clearly the elite. Levi kept his perception retracted. Low-level wizards were everywhere. Powerful auras, comparable to his own tower master, swept across the sky with frequency. While low-level wizards had become common, intermediate wizards above the third circle still commanded high status. Levi felt like a traveler from the provinces stepping into a bustling metropolis. He needed to acquire supplies before leaving for the human world. A spirit-binding ring topped his list. It would prove essential if he wanted to capture a Blood Clan member alive. Such an item rarely appeared in the realm of Azure Cloud, but surely the prosperous Star Sea would offer one. He asked for directions and located the nearest Celestial Circle shop. Levi stepped into the shop, his attention immediately drawn to the revolving display window. The window spiraled like a long dragon, stretching throughout the steeple. High-end, elegant wizard tools filled the cases, and the price tags made Levi tremble. The third circle wizard tool, the Mad Lich hat, cost 40,000 ether stones. The fourth circle wizard tool, the Mini Meow Meow house, cost 200,000 ether stones. The shop treasure, a fifth circle wizard tool known as Gargamel's Book of Seals, demanded 5 million ether stones. A fifth circle wizard tool sat before him. It was exactly what one would expect from a celestial circle shop in the Star Sea. 5 million ether stones. He would have to save for 100 or 200 years, even without eating or drinking, and even if he robbed dark wizards daily. Unfortunately, such things as loans did not exist in this world. In the celestial circle shop in the 9th area, even second circle wizard tools had been unavailable. The disparity between the outer sea region and the Star Sea was immense. Chapter 497. Levi scanned the display windows. No sixth circle wizard tool or higher rested behind the glass. Common knowledge dictated that such artifacts vanished from the open market, too rare to be sold. Even if one surfaced, the owner would never release it. Tools of that magnitude usually rested in the hands of a few high-level primordial soul wizards, bound to their very essence. To claim one, a wizard would need to slay the owner and break the binding. The Mini Meow Meow house caught his eye. It functioned as a medium-sized spatial wizard tool capable of storing living creatures, much like a bug house. If he possessed it, he could house every transcendent creature on his island within its walls. Then, he considered the shop treasure, the Gargamel Book of Seals. It felt truly abnormal. The tome held 5 pages. The first page could seal a first circle creature, the second a second circle, and the fifth could actually contain a fifth circle creature. With such an artifact, the need for a spirit-binding ring would disappear. A single book could solve his current predicament. Envy filled Levi's heart. These 2 tools were exactly what he required. He lacked the funds, and he knew that by the time he finally possessed the wealth to afford them, he would likely have outgrown the need for them. This stood as the greatest frustration in the world. He eventually located the spirit-binding ring he sought. A first circle ring cost 8,488 ether stones, while the second circle version required 23,333 ether stones. The price of the second circle ring rivaled the cost of the lowest quality third circle wizard tool. The cost was absurd. He could afford the second circle version, as he held over 30,000 ether stones. However, he settled for the first circle spirit binding ring. After parting with the payment, he left the store. With the capturing tool secured, Levi bypassed any further delay and marched straight to a subdimensional portal station. 2 guards, dressed in unattractive robes, stood duty. He dared not act with anything less than perfect respect. To guard a location of such significance, they must hold at least a third circle rank. He spoke with care. "Lords, I request passage to the human world." One of the wizards demanded his identification. "Give me your membership card to verify your status." The guard snatched the card from his hand. After confirming Levi was no fugitive dark wizard, the guard gestured to a wall of text. "Before you teleport, observe the list of requirements. Take a look for yourself." Levi studied the notes. He realized the nearest destination placed him in the East Pole Empire, still thousands of miles from the Emerald Kingdom. He dismissed the concern, deciding his own speed would cover the distance easily. After the transaction, the wizard opened the portal. The door erupted with blinding white light. Excitement stirred within him. He drew a deep breath and stepped into the light. "I am back." The date was the Holy Brilliance calendar, year 1037, in the month of flowing fire. The location was the easternmost edge of the continent, the East Pole Empire. Within an uninhabited catacomb on a deserted island, ancient murals adorned the stone walls. The art depicted a holy angel, bathed in white light, descending from a gate of heaven. Suddenly, a portrait of a silver-haired man manifested in the center of the mural. The eyes of the painted figure spun. The man peeled himself from the stone, falling to the floor and transforming into a three-dimensional being. This mural serves as the anchor for the subdimensional portal. Levi stretched his limbs. His body felt sound, and his belongings remained intact. An old voice drifted from the stone wall. "Since you have arrived, do not linger here. Leave immediately." A face emerged from the solid rock, startling Levi. The old man bore age spots across his skin, his features withered. Levi had not sensed his presence at all. This man was an intermediate wizard, clearly of significant power. Levi stood his ground. "Are you the guardian of this gate? If I wish to return to the wizard world, must I seek you out?" "That is correct." The old face vanished back into the stone, seemingly unwilling to offer another word. "Thank you." Levi wasted no time and departed. Existences from the wizard world remained hidden in the human world, but they kept a low profile. They likely remained here only for special missions. Official wizards found no way to cultivate in this land. It remained a barren place. After clearing the island, he chose not to use his blood wings. Precautions remained necessary. He adopted the most primitive swimming method, cutting through the water in a straight line. Not long after, he spotted a fishing boat. A fishing boat indicates the mainland lies nearby. It must be the East Pole Empire. He dove deep, swimming rapidly along the seabed. 3 days later, he arrived at Flying Dragon City. After asking for directions, he confirmed it was a small seaside city along the coast of the East Pole Empire. Chapter 498. Levi entered the city and searched, but the Shining Tavern remained elusive. Disappointment tugged at him. While strolling through Flying Dragon City to purchase maps, he inadvertently learned that evil spirits, or members of the Blood Clan, were stirring up trouble in the capital of the East Pole Empire. Several nobles had fallen, and the topic dominated conversations throughout the city. Interest flared in Levi. One of his primary goals in the human world was to capture a Blood Clan member alive. If a primordial Blood Clan creature were lurking in the East Pole Empire, he would save himself the effort of an active search. With this thought, Levi headed toward Myriad Dragon City. He felt no urgency to return to Flower City. Having never visited the Empire in the Far East, he seized this opportunity to experience the culture of this foreign land, and hoped to acquire new breathing techniques. Dragon Plains stretched out before him, home to Myriad Dragon City, the first city of the East Pole Empire. Because of the dragon worship prevalent in the country, the cities bore names derived from dragons in various myths and legends. Levi remained uncertain if these dragons truly existed, or if the names were merely fabrications. Regardless, no city named Red Lotus Dragon appeared on his map. In the distance, the majestic city crawled along the ground. Strange, ferocious dragon statues and murals adorned the city walls. Levi infiltrated Myriad Dragon City with ease, his appearance shifted by the Thousand Faces technique. He walked straight to the Shining Tavern. He ordered a cup of Lion King spirit. He currently wore the face of Dinos, a handsome young man with blonde hair. As Dinos had never visited the human world, his identity remained unknown to the locals. He appeared as an ordinary Grand Knight, though in truth, he possessed the power of an overlord. The tavern owner, a young beauty, approached the counter. "Miss, I am a wandering ranger," Levi said, leaning against the bar. "I heard that evil beings have been causing trouble in the city recently." The owner glanced at Levi, her gaze lingering on his handsome face. "That is correct. It has been a month, and the business of this tavern is suffering. Many knights have temporarily fled the city to take refuge. They will return only after the church deals with the creature." The woman sighed. Only a few patrons remained in the Shining Tavern. The presence of the evil entity had clearly dampened the tavern business. "Do not tell me you are asking about this to get rid of the creature in exchange for a bounty," the owner said, looking him over. "King of 10,000 dragons, on account of your good looks, I advise you to leave as soon as possible. A few Grand Knights have already been killed in Myriad Dragon City. The evil creature this time is abnormally powerful. Those who have encountered it have all met their end." "I am just asking around," Levi said, taking a sip of wine and chuckling. "I cherish my life very much. By the way, has Master Golden Warhammer released any new works recently?" Levi asked. The owner smiled. "Do not even think about it. The work of Master Golden Warhammer, even if it is just a knight's sword, has already been sold for hundreds of gold coins. A set of armor is worth thousands of gold coins. Master is getting older and cannot smith as much as before. Levi sighed. Looks like I will not be able to buy any of Masterworks in my lifetime. He sat in the shining tavern, listening to the conversations of the other patrons. Something foul was indeed plaguing the city, though the nature of the threat, whether an evil spirit, a vampire, or some other monster, remained unclear. Levi found a small hotel and secured a room. He looked at the Dragon God Church standing in the center of the city, and the members of the Holy Dragon Knights who patrolled the streets. His heart remained as calm as an ancient well. He employed his top perception to scan Myriad Dragon City, but he found no clues pointing to the Blood Clan. He decided to cultivate the Saint Ape breathing technique while waiting for the Blood Clan to reveal themselves. With his current perception, he could detect any Blood Clan that stepped into his range. A week passed. The bad news was that Levi had not captured a Blood Clan member. The good news was that Levi had cultivated the Saint Ape breathing technique to its limit. Levi pushed the Saint Ape breathing technique to its peak at the 11th level. The Saint Ape breathing technique offered the special effect of long arm in its solid state. Levi stretched out his palm. His hand was as wide as a cattail leaf fan and covered in golden fur. It contained an incomparably violent power. Under the cover of night, he traveled to the wilderness far from the city where no one could watch. He slapped the ground with his palms, and golden light flared upon the surface of his skin. The ground trembled. Cracks spread outward from his point of impact. What great strength, Levi murmured. Moreover, that golden light seems to have a vibration effect. It is similar to my golden cross slash. These palms were the legendary organs born from the Saint Ape breathing technique. Levi called them the Holy Palm. The primary feature of this legendary organ was the massive increase in strength that granted his palms. The golden light served as a secondary benefit. The long arm special effect increased the strength of both arms, similar to the frost arm. However, the long arms could also extend, making Levi look like a gibbon. In terms of appearance, it was completely outshone by the frost arm. All in all, the Saint Ape breathing technique was not as powerful as Levi had imagined. It was merely average. When Emperor Mu claimed that the Saint Ape breathing technique was on par with the Red Lotus breathing technique, he had clearly been bragging and flattering his own family. Chapter 499. Perhaps the other special effects remained dormant, concealing the true strength of the Saint Ape. The Red Lotus breathing technique stood as the most powerful among the power breathing techniques he had obtained. There was no doubt about that. He decided to let the Saint Ape fuse with the giant to observe the mutation. Levi found a safe place and added some cushion breathing techniques before he initiated the fusion of the two. Within his chest, the Golden Saint Ape pounded its chest and stomped its feet. It began a fist-to-fist battle with the towering ice-blue frost giant. The two humanoid transcendent creatures clashed, their movements mirroring the patterns of human combat. With his previous experience from the Black Snake and Golden Horn mutations, the fusion proceeded smoothly. 2 days later, the process completed. Levi opened his proficiency panel to inspect his progress. His King Kong breathing technique reached level 11, with 1 out of 300,000 points toward the next level. The technique bestowed the solid state ability of Heavenly Cold Arms, along with Frost Heart and King Kong Wrath. Heavenly Cold Arms was an ability born from the fusion of the characteristics of the Saint Ape and the Frost Giant. He injected his King Kong power into his arms, which granted him terrifying strength comparable to the King Kong itself. His arms could stretch to twice the length of his body. His palms absorbed a trace of strength from the earth, which slightly increased his endurance and explosive power. He could also release extraordinary frost power through his palms. This special effect improved as his breathing technique increased in level. Inside his body, the power of the King Kong seed flowed into his arms. His limbs began to thicken and lengthen in a strange manner. Eventually, he could use his arms to support his torso while his feet lifted off the ground. These exaggerated, long arms were covered in layers of frost, and under that frost lay firm muscles that resembled solid rock. Wisps of cold air emanated from his heavenly cold arms, freezing the ground beneath him. It was summer in the world, yet Levi brought winter with him. Boom, boom, boom. Levi ran through the wilderness, his arms driving his movement. His speed eclipsed what he could achieve with his legs alone. He galloped through the wilderness like an ape. He spread his arms and destroyed all the trees in his path. Everything in his way was crushed by his momentum. Finally, Levi stopped and lay on the ground, panting slightly. This heavenly cold arms looked a bit ugly, but it possessed immense power. He felt capable of killing a second circle wizard with a single slap. Furthermore, he could draw strength from the earth. This appeared to be an ability of an earth element Saint Ape. In addition to the heavenly cold arms, the King Kong breathing technique gained a new special effect after the mutation. King Kong Wrath followed a simple logic. His strength increased as his anger rose. When his anger reached 100%, his strength doubled. However, he could not maintain the state of King Kong Wrath for too long, or he would lose his mind and succumb to complete irrationality. This special effect could not be improved. Rage points. The angrier he became, the stronger he would be. That was interesting. Levi tried his best to recall anything that might anger him, but he realized that he felt nothing. He recalled the days when the Duke of Montenegro bullied him, but he felt no anger at all. He felt relief that he had taken his revenge and wiped out the entire Montenegro mountain. It was over. He had become a robot. He lacked all emotion. Levi realized that he struggled to summon anger. The things he once hated no longer sparked any fire within him as time passed. What could he do to provoke himself? No one provoked him now, so he found himself unable to trigger his rage. He felt extremely vexed. Suddenly, a thought occurred to him. He began to reflect on memories from his previous life. Finally, he thought of the house prices. House prices were so damn expensive. Memories surfaced in his mind, vivid recollections of his life before he transmigrated. Levi hammered his chest with his cold arm. The sound echoed through the forest like a war drum, which startled countless birds. If not for that lousy house, he would not have needed to work so hard and write novels every day in his previous life. He lacked any time for entertainment and faced constant pressure to update his work every single day. He endured scolding from the haters who read his books. Damn it. Levi felt a surge of fury. The sound of war drums named wrath grew louder and louder. The blood of anger burned in his chest. It was not just his arms. Frost-colored hair began to grow all over his body, and he transformed into an ominous blue-haired old monster. His rage points reached 30%. Under the influence of his anger, Levi acted like an enraged ape. Terrifying power flooded his body. He leaped high into the air and smashed his fists down, as if he intended to crush everything before him. Die. Boom. The area where his fists landed filled with cracks. The ground spanned 100 feet wide. The deep pit collapsed, and the trees were reduced to dust by the shock wave. The cold frost blood flowed, and the chill surged into his mind, forcing him to stifle the anger he had yet to vent. His blue hair faded, and he returned to normal. He looked at the devastation he had caused. That was another form that greatly increased his strength. He could call it his fourth form. He had his first form, the Nine Swords form, his second form, the Red Lotus form, his third form, the Giant Whale form, and his fourth form, the King Kong form. In addition, his favored by the night ability only functioned at night. Levi felt his strength enhanced once again. Furthermore, the frost blood seemed to possess the hidden effect of a tranquilizer. In this way, it formed a perfect combination with King Kong wrath. Levi left the wilderness and headed toward Myriad Dragon City. Chapter 500. Levi returned to the hotel room. He produced the rolling crystal to check for alterations in his bloodline. The crystal surface displayed text indicating a 1% bloodline presence of an unknown mythical creature. The result matched his expectations. Because the King Kong mutation stemmed from the fusion of the Saint Ape and the Giant, the crystal database lacked a record of it. At least the golden snake still registered as a creature of the Dragon clan. The crystal simply classified this new mutation as a general mythical creature. The life school of thought classified all transcendent creatures within a scale from the first circle to the ninth circle. The ninth circle contained legendary creatures, which stood on par with a grand wizard. Beyond the ninth circle lay the realm of the mythical creature and the legendary wizard. In theory, the King Kong bloodline could potentially reach the level of a mythical creature. It might even surpass that. A mythical creature represented the highest tier within the current understanding of wizards, acting as an upper limit set by their own collective knowledge. Levi put away the crystal. The King Kong breathing technique had broken its previous limit and begun its ascent toward level 12. His 4 primary strength-based breathing technique systems were now clearly established. Red Lotus, Black Whale, King Kong, and Ostrich Mountain had all taken form. The Ostrich Mountain breathing technique remained stuck at the maximum of level 11, and Levi had yet to break through that barrier. He decided to wait. Perhaps he would encounter a perfect grade breathing technique capable of enhancing the strength in his legs. Then, he could imitate the Giant and the Saint Ape to forge a new mutated breathing technique. Mutated techniques consistently proved to be remarkably powerful. The following day, Levi wandered aimlessly through the streets. Curiosity gnawed at him. With his current range of perception, any Blood Clan member or monster hiding within Myriad Dragon City should have been impossible to miss. Yet, no monster aura had surfaced. This left only 2 possibilities. Either the creatures remained entirely absent from the city, or they occupied the center of Myriad Dragon City, a district he had yet to investigate. Levi glanced toward the Church of the Dragon God. He had deliberately swept his perception around the structure, fearing the power of the organization. He believed most monsters would be courting death by hiding within the church, but he could not rule out the possibility that the most dangerous place acted as the safest haven. The Blood Clan possessed the ability to alter their appearance at will. They might very well be hiding in plain sight within the church, Levi whispered to himself. He decided to focus his attention on the surroundings of the church to search for clues. 6 days passed. In the middle of the night, while Levi practiced his cultivation, he snapped his eyes open. A suspicious individual had emerged. For the past several days, he had maintained a vigilant watch over the church. He finally discovered a lead. Someone periodically slipped out of the church in the dead of night to leave the city alone. That person was Bancroft, the head priest of the Myriad Dragon City Church of the Dragon God. Levi frowned. It was strange, for he could not sense the distinctive aura of the Blood Clan. He had encountered the Blood Clan before. His Golden Snake transmission contained the scent of the Blood Clan. While every member of the Blood Clan carried a slightly different aura, his senses should have easily detected it. Either this head priest did not belong to the Blood Clan, or he possessed a high-end technique to mask his aura. Levi felt a jolt of anticipation. He prepared to exit his room and trail the priest. Just then, a second figure crept out of the church. Levi froze. This newcomer appeared burly, possessing the physique of a knight. Levi recognized him immediately. He served as the leader of the Holy Dragon Knights stationed in Myriad Dragon City. The man stood as an expert on PAR with the White Horse Knight, separated from the rank of Legendary Knight by only a single step. His name was Hog. On the surface, he existed as the strongest individual in Myriad Dragon City, and arguably the entire East Pole Empire. His status mirrored that of the Fist of the Empire. Because the captain frequently led the Holy Dragon Knights on patrols through the city, Levi knew him well. Based on the information Levi had gathered, Hog enjoyed an excellent reputation among the populace. He was a highly prestigious expert. Here were two men, the head priest and the leader of the knights, both sneaking out of the church in the middle of the night to head out of the city. Their behavior radiated suspicion. After waiting for a time, no one else emerged. Levi vanished into the night. Outside the city walls, the head priest moved through the darkness. He quickened his pace, soon dissolving into the black forest ahead. Moments later, Hog the Knight appeared at the edge of the same woods. Hog gazed forward with calm, firm eyes. He had received orders to investigate the truth behind the evil entities terrorizing Myriad Dragon City. After overcoming countless hardships and assembling the clues, he realized the evidence pointed toward someone he had never suspected. The head priest of the Dragon God Church, Lord Bancroft. The headquarters of the Church of the Dragon God sat not in Myriad Dragon City, but upon the towering Dragon King Mountain. Bancroft held one of the most senior positions among all the head priests within the church. He commanded the respect of believers and knights alike, a man of power who could converse and laugh with the ruler of the East Pole Empire inside the royal palace. To discover that this very man acted as the mastermind behind the recent evil deeds in Myriad Dragon City was something Hog struggled to accept. Yet, after his repeated investigations, the truth remained clear. To be continued. Hope you liked today's video. Join the community by subscribing and dropping a like. I'll be back with another update as soon as possible. See you then.